for the sect monks who have practiced secret techniques, or monks who have great opportunities. Ordinary monks simply cannot cross this great realm and kill the enemy. You two killed my Zhu family, Zhu Wang said coldly. A kind of pressure from the level of a fake Dan's and Ren emanated. Although the fake elixir is called a fake elixir, and it is not a true golden elixir, it is still much more powerful than the foundation building cultivators because they can already use third-order magic weapons and condense liquid magic power in their bodies into fake elixirs, whether it is fighting magic or their own magic power. They are more than one level stronger than the foundation building cultivators. It can be said that the fake Dan's and Ren can kill a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building with ease. Yi Fan, what's wrong with killing your Zhu family members? I'm going to kill you, old thief. He didn't expect that the fake Dan's and Ren, who was attracted by the killing of three Zhu family foundation building people, was Zutian, she's father Zhu Wang, the one who had offered a sky's reward for a Dan's spiritual object and had asked the entire family to hunt him down. After killing Zhu Qichan and the other two, when Shan King told him that he had the mark of blood and soul on his body and asked Yi Fan if he wanted her to remove the mark, Yi Fan said yes, but when Shan King told her that if she wanted to help, she would need to give him 10 medium-grade spirit stones. Yi Fan at that time. Now he has 11 babies to raise at home, including babies with natural and earthly spiritual roots. The amount of resources needed for cultivating immortals in the future is incalculable, and he is very stingy now. How could he be willing to give 10 medium-grade spirit stones just to remove the blood soul mark? After asking Wen Shan King about the reason for the blood soul mark, he tactfully said that it did not need to be removed. Even if a Jindan cultivator came to the Zhu family, he would not be afraid at worst. This human puppet would die. Moreover, the Zhu family has only one Jindan ancestor, who was frightened by the one-horned headed bird of Taoist King Long and hid in the rear. Naturally, he would not easily leave the camp to avenge the three family foundation building cultivators, otherwise he would definitely be locked down by Taoist King Long and others as soon as he came out. Therefore, it is highly likely that the person coming here will be a fake Dan Zen Ren. It's good to come to Jia Dan Zen Ren, and give you spirit stones. He likes it. Unexpectedly, he got a big surprise, the fake Dan Zen Ren who came was Zhu Wang. It's a good time to settle Liu and old grudges together. Zhu Wang, arrogant boy, today he will let you know that between you, who are just at the stage of building a foundation, and the level of a fake Dan Zen Ren, there is a long river that can never be crossed. Yi Fan received a voice transmission from Wen Shan King, Xiao Fan. Do you want to top up? It only takes 20 middle grade spirit stones, and Sister King will help you kill this official. Yi Fan's mouth twitched, and he sent a voice message back. I was just thinking about fighting with the fake Dan Zen Ren, so I won't recharge for the time being. As he spoke, Yi Fan slapped a talisman on himself, and suddenly, he disappeared from the spot. Zhu Wang. The small teleportation talisman is good, it does have some capital, but if you want to escape under the nose of me, the fake Dan Zen Ren, you are thinking too much. In the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, Yi Fan, who had already run to the second order beast trapping formation engraved with the three strange spiritual patterns of the small earth that he had set up in advance, was stopped by Zhu Wang. You arrogant boy, I'll see how you can escape. Die. Yi Fan sacrificed the prototype of a wood-type magic weapon that he had refined. He was now a second-ranked top-grade weapon refiner and could barely refine the prototype of a magic weapon. To make a complete third-level magic weapon, he needs to improve his weapon refining attainments to the third level. However, the prototype of the magic weapon is more powerful than the second-grade top-grade magic weapon, but the amount of mana required is also huge. An ordinary cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building cannot control the prototype of a magic weapon at all. However, Sutianshi's humanoid puppet is a body in the late stage of foundation building. In addition, he has practiced the King Yuan Sheng Gong under Yi Fan's control, so his magic power is enough to control the prototype of a magic weapon. Zhu Wang, I have something. I can control the prototype of a third-level magic weapon in the middle stage of foundation building. Your sword is mine. As he spoke, Zhu Wang summoned the magic weapon, the Fire Dragon Tower, and rushed towards Yi Fan. But when he was fighting with Yi Fan, he found that this body felt more and more familiar, but the aura of the soul was very unfamiliar. Suddenly his eyes widened. Zhu Wang roared furiously towards the sky. Chapter 199. This woman is the villain queen. My son, you died miserably. Who the hell are you? How dare you take over my son's body? Damn it, I will destroy your soul. Zhu Wang was like a raging lion. He just used his blood sensor to sense that this body was his son. Although Yi Fan made changes to the appearance of this body, the blood did not change in the world of immortal cultivation. The father-son relationship can be sensed through blood induction to sense whether the other person is one's own child. This is also why there are very few cases of people becoming fathers in the world of immortal cultivation. because by holding the child in his arms, the immortal cultivator can tell whether it is his own child through blood sensing. Blood induction has a certain distance limit, and it also needs to be actively stimulated. This is why, only now did Zhu Wanking discover that the body Yifan was using was that of his son Zhu Qianxi. When Shan King sent a voice message to Yifan, with an excited voice, Xiao Fanfan, it's time to recharge. Right? The other party is angry this fake pill is in the middle stage of fake pill, you can't beat him. You only need to recharge 50 middle grade spirit stones, and Sister King can help you kill this official with just one finger. Recharge, recharge, recharge. Yifan. The price suddenly increased by 30 medium grade spirit stones. She is truly my wonderful mother-in-law. Sister King, it's not necessary for now. Then, Yifan smiled coldly at Zhu Wanking. A mere fake deniers to fight with this ancestor. It is your son's blessing that I am using his body temporarily, why don't you submit to me immediately? As he spoke, Yifan activated the formation plate, and a light golden formation shield instantly rose up within a radius of 200 meters. There are seal characters flowing on the light cover. A second level. Inferior beast trapping formation. Although it is of the lower second grade, Yifan engraved the 3 earth level spiritual patterns on it. This formation is more than enough to trap the fake Danzhen Ren. Moreover, he also engraved the Gui Shui spiritual pattern on the beast trapping formation this time, which greatly increased the attack power. This set of formation plates was the spoils of war from a formation master named Gxiu who was killed in Wienx Inju before. The spiritual patterns were carved by Yifan himself later. Zhu Wanking looked at the formation rising up around him, and his black eyes gradually turned from scarlet to rational. What are the seal characters on the formation? I have never seen such an array with inscriptions engraved on it. But it be that the person in front of me is a nascent soul ancestor who has taken over another person's body? Only the nascent soul ancestor can take over another's body, but this kind of thing goes against the will of heaven and is forbidden in the world of immortal cultivation. Once it is discovered that someone has taken over the body of a cultivator, all major sects will hunt him down. Zhu Wanking's eyes were rolling around. In the end, it turned into anger. I don't care who you are. Even if you were once a Yuan Ying ancestor, you are now just a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. Your strength has not yet recovered, so you can die. Buried with my son. As he spoke, Zhu Wanking rushed over Yifan and immediately used the secret method of burning essence, which consumed 10 years of cultivation and increased his combat power to the late stage of foundation building. Zhu Wanking was furious. Damn it, you are not allowed to use my clan's secret method of burning essence, that is my son's body. Don't waste his lifespan. Zhu Wanking was bloodthirsty, and Yifan, who had been promoted to the late stage of foundation building, had great combat power and was more adept at controlling the prototype of the magical Kai Shao sword. Formation attacks, 3rd level attack and defense stainlessums, needles engraved with the broken blade inscription, and so on were all used together. When Shan King, who was watching from the side, let out an, and then smiled with satisfaction. Xiao Fanfan, you are really good. Very good at fighting. Use the formation to fight together. This fake Dan kid is already at a disadvantage. At this moment, in Wienx Inju, Su Lonyu came to find Yifan holding Bubio, with an anxious look on her beautiful face. Yifan, Bubio is not right, go and have a look. He hasn't woken up all day, and I can't wake him up, even if I call him. Yifan took Bubio and after checking it, he couldn't find out the cause. He thought of Shen Mailan and told Su Lonyu to take Bubio to see Shen Mailan. Shen Mailan is a doctor. Su Lonyu nodded. She originally wanted to go with Yifan, but then she thought of something and asked Su Wanli to accompany Yifan to Shen Mailan's Forget Your Sorrow Island, while she stayed on the Wienxan Island to take care of the other babies. Yifan and Su Wanli quickly fled to Wangyu Island with Bubio in their arms. Not long after they left, on an unknown island in the sea, a plain-looking cultivator received a communication talisman. He then said to a fierce-looking cultivator standing next to him, "Boss, Yifan and Axel Alida left Wienxan Island. Now there is only a group of key training cultivators on Wienxan Island." The vicious monk scowled. The 3rd level formation of Wienxan Island is still a problem. We don't have a 3rd level boundary-breaking talisman. After a cup of tea, the ordinary-looking male cultivator received another communication talisman, and then said with great joy, "Boss, I don't know what happened to Wienxan Island after shaking for a while. The 3rd level formation on it degenerated into a 2nd level medium quality formation." One of them immediately said with a fiery look in his eyes, "It must be that they don't have enough spirit stones. The 3rd level formation requires a large amount of spirit stones. Even if there is a 3rd level spirit vein below, without enough high quality spirit stones, it is impossible to activate the 3rd level formation all the time. God is really helping me now. The late and middle foundation building cultivators on Wienxan Island left long ago. Now Yifan and X slowly have also left. A formation has become a second-order medium-grade formation. We have a second-order medium-grade boundary-breaking talisman. Boss, take over the cozy island now. Even if we can't keep this island, we can still sell it to a cultivation family in need. That's a lot of spiritual stones. The ordinary-looking male cultivator said. Yes boss, let's get started. After we take over we annex an island. I will take over Lafang Island in the future. The entire Yanshu County will be ours. Also I heard from that stupid woman Kai, that Yi Fan's Taoist partner is extremely beautiful and can be called the most beautiful woman in the southern region. Although she is just a keep reigning cultivator, you can still enjoy her. In addition, this beauty can actually give birth to quintuplets. It is estimated that the family has the gene for multiple births. When the time comes, the boss will imprison her and let her give birth to a bunch of children for the boss. Among them, there will definitely be children with excellent spiritual roots. This male cultivator was none other than Wei Cheng or Yui, who had changed his appearance. The vicious monk was moved by the last two sentences and said immediately, let's go. Kill all the male monks on the island. For the female monks, kill the ugly ones and leave the pretty ones. Wei Cheng or Yui's eyes lit up. Yes. Immediately, a group of cultivators in the late foundation building stage, led by cultivators in the middle foundation building stage, early foundation building stage, and those who had completed the great perfection of key training, flew towards the Wianexan island at a rapid speed. Su Longyu, who had just coaxed Dabao and the others to sleep, sensed something and then curled her lips in a cold smile. Here I come. I'm in a bad mood and a bunch of people are here to die. Don't blame me for being cruel. At this moment, the vicious monks had already arrived in the sky outside the warm bureau. Wei Cheng or Yui then gritted his teeth and sacrificed a second-level intermediate-grade boundary-breaking talisman. A second-order formation that enveloped Wei and Xing shook violently and then broke open at a corner. Wei Cheng or Yui and others looked delighted. Kill all the men. Kill all the ugly ones, leave the pretty ones alone. However, the next second, the vicious monk, Wei Cheng or Yui and others all felt something was wrong. Wei Cheng or Yui, no. I've been to Wianx Inju before. The environment is very beautiful. It's not like this. Where is this place? He turned around to ask the vicious monk, but found that there was no one around. Suddenly he felt cold all over. Chapter 200 All Die. The scene in front of him changed again in an instant. The originally bare sand and gravel was gradually covered with a layer of blood mist, and a cold wind blew. The wind made Wei Cheng or Yui's scalp tingle. There's something strange about this cozy island. Escape. However, just as he took out the second-level boundary-breaking talisman, he found that after activating the talisman, he still could not leave this place. Isn't this a second-level formation? He suddenly woke up. Yifan set up a trap? Changing the original third-order formation into a second-order formation is just to lure us into the trap, so that they can destroy us all in one fell swoop? Just as he said this, he suddenly felt the blood in his body boiling uncontrollably. What happened? It's going to explode. I can't control it. His whole face turned red because of the boiling blood, and his hair was flying madly because he couldn't suppress the boiling blood. The next moment, his black pupils were gradually replaced by blood red. Immediately afterwards, his entire head exploded, blood gushed out of all his orifices, and he died. As soon as he died, a blood-red vine emerged from the ground and wrapped around Wei Cheng or Yui's headless body. Gradually, the body became dry, and in the end only bones and skin were left. The blood-red vine spewed out a stream of fire, burning the bones and skin. Such things not only happened to Wei Cheng or Yui, but also happened in other places. All the cultivators who entered the Wianxin island were dispersed by the third-order formation. They exploded one by one and died. Their blood was sucked out by the vines and they became dried corpses. Finally, they were burned into ashes by the fire and used as fertilizer for the trees. Especially the vicious monk who screamed in despair at the moment before his death. Demon! Demon, no! With a bang, he also exploded and died, with his head blown to pieces. The people living on the warm island did not notice such a bloody scene and still felt that today was the same as usual. On Su Longyu's side, a vine emerged from the ground. It was only the size of a willow branch, completely different from the size of a giant python when it ate people before. Su Longyu touched the vine and asked, "Are you enjoying the meal?" Ivy nodded. Su Longyu, still want to eat? Ivy nodded. Su Longyu, next time. The vines obediently burrowed back into the ground on the warm island. Everything was as calm as a sunny day, as if nothing had happened. This vine, named Demon Star Vine, is one of Su Longyu's combat pets, with peak third-level combat power. When Su Longyu bought this island, he settled down on the Wianxin island. This is a vine seed that Su Longyu accidentally picked up in the sex-forbidden area when she was a child. She has been cultivating it since she was young. Although it has demonic properties, it is controllable. After resolving these issues, Su Longyu called Yifan to send him a video message. At this moment, Yifan and his friends have arrived at Forget Your Sorrow Island. Sulon Yu, Yifan, how about Bubby-o? Yifan. Wife, don't worry, Dr. Shen has examined Bubby-o and said there is no problem. He said that babies within 1 month of birth sleep most of the time. I also told her that she couldn't be woken up by shouting at her, and that she would vomit when fed, and occasionally spit out water and so on. She said that this was related to Bubby-o's weak constitution. Bubby-o was still normal, and the nutrition in her body could provide her with what she needed, so she sometimes refused to drink milk. She said that when she was older, she would take the initiative to drink milk when she was hungry. Sulon Yu heaved a sigh of relief after hearing this. Okay, wait until Bubby-o is a little older. Give her some green herb pills to regulate her body. Although this is my second child, every baby behaves differently. When the quintuplets were just born, they couldn't be woken up without feeding like Bobby-o did. They slept all day, especially when Bobby-o not only refused to drink milk but also spit out water. She was really scared. I was worried that Bobby-o might have some serious illness. Yifan then told Sulon Yu that he would bring Bubby-o back and asked her if anything happened on the island. Sulon Yu glanced at the clear sky outside and said, more than 10 ribulation cultivators died. One of them is Wei Cheng Ui, who came with Fairy Kai last time. Although Wei Cheng Ui had changed his appearance, he could not hide from the eyes of Sulon Yu, who was in the late Jindan stage. After hearing this, Yifan's dark eyes instantly turned cold. There is indeed something wrong with Wei Cheng Ui, however. With Wei Cheng Ui's strength at the middle stage of foundation building, he dared to launch a sneak attack on Wei Nixon Island. He was simply courting death. On the side of the Zuqianshi puppet controlled by Yifan, Zhu Wanking was stabbed by the prototype of Yifan's Kai Xiao sword magic weapon engraved with the broken blade inscription. Immediately afterwards, Yifan controlled the formation to bring down storms and lightning towards Zhu Wanking. Then the whirlwind wrapped around the water thorns and smashed towards the direction of the lightning. Suddenly, the phenomenon of electrical conduction appeared. Zhu Wanking was hit so hard that his whole body was bathed in lightning silver. Blue threads of electricity flashed on his body from time to time. He was twitching all over and his hair stood up in the air. When Shan King was surprised again, Xiao Fanfan's combination of inscriptions is really good. Seeing that his body was about to explode, Zhu Wanking immediately used his secret technique, the secret technique of transforming into zombies. In an instant, a layer of black death already enveloped him. His bones creaked, his body gradually became stiff and hardened, and a thick layer of scales grew on his epidermis. These scales blocked the conductive phenomenon caused by lightning and water spikes. Two fangs grew out of his mouth, and his face turned pale like a zombie. When Zhu Yunzhang, who was chasing after him, saw this scene, he was struck by lightning and took several steps back with a pale face. He actually didn't know that Zhu Wanking practiced such an evil martial art. So horrible. But now Zhu Wanking is stronger, which is a good thing for him. Immediately he looked at Yifan with eyes as if he were looking at a dead person. Yifan looked at the zombie Zhu Wanking. Oh, a different way of body training? But this is useless. It will only hasten your death. What do zombies fear the most? Of course, it's the Peachwood sword and lightning. Immediately, Yifan changed to a second-grade top-grade spiritual weapon made of peachwood. The spiritual weapon was engraved with an enhanced version of the thunderstorm spiritual pattern consisting of thunderstorm inscriptions and whirlwind inscriptions. In addition, Yifan controlled the formation, which had a two-way effect. Thunderstorms fell from the sky and exploded towards Zhu Wanking, who had just recovered from his stiffness. Seeing this, Zhu Wanking, who had just had an expression that wanted Yifan dead, suddenly became terrified. He knew his son's abilities, but he didn't expect that his son would become so powerful after being possessed by someone else. Not only can he suppress himself in the fight, but he can also create so many terrifyingly powerful things. He was not a stubborn person. So he made a prompt decision, slapped a talisman on himself, and cast a second-grade top-grade boundary-breaking talisman in the air, ready to break through the air and leave. However, the second-grade superior-grade boundary-breaking talisman was completely useless and could not break the formation. He gritted his teeth and sacrificed a third-level lower-grade boundary-breaking talisman, cursing Yifan in his heart. Damn you, old Yuan Ying monster. Damn you for taking over my body. Why are there so many methods? Break it for me. At the moment when the formation was about to be broken, a huge hand suddenly appeared from nowhere and snatched away the third-level boundary-breaking talisman he had sacrificed, forcibly interrupting the input of mana. Chapter 201. Poking a nest of Yuan Ying ancestors. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Wen Chen King's voice appeared in the air. A big hand just now was from Wen Chen King. Seeing this, Zhu Wanking looked terrified. You. Isn't this a late foundation building cultivator? How could he snatch his third-order boundary-breaking talisman without knowing it? It can also fill in the broken corner of this third-order formation. What kind of old monster is this? Could it be that the friend of the Yuan Ying old monster, who possessed the body, is also a Yuan Ying old monster? Damn it, did he disturb the Yuan Ying old monster's lair? Why is he so unlucky? At this moment, he no longer had time to think, because the lightning hitting him was too painful. But once this secret technique of transforming into a human body was activated, it would take at least half an hour before he could recover into a human body. He now deeply regretted using the secret technique of transforming zombies, as it was completely accelerating the passing of his life. Thunder and lightning are too powerful for zombies. Zhu Wanking immediately knelt down in the direction of Yifan and shouted, "Senior, spare my life. It is my son's blessing that you like to use my body. I'm willing to offer all my storage bags and beg you to let me go and let me go like a fart." Yifan, it's too late to beg for mercy now. He is not a saint, and Zhu Wanking has always wanted to kill him. He is begging for mercy now only because he can neither defeat him nor escape. As for Zhu Wanking's storage bag, Zhu Wanking is dead, and his storage bag originally belonged to him. After he finished speaking, Yifan quickly summoned out 3 peachwood swords engraved with enhanced thunderstorm spiritual patterns to increase the output of lightning. Zhu Wanking was eventually turned into ashes by lightning. Only a storage bag and a storage ring were left. Zhu Yunzhang, who was outside the formation, was so frightened when he saw this scene that he immediately transformed into a beam of light and tried to escape. However, just as he turned around, a sword pierced his neck with a swish. There was lightning flashing on the sword. It was Yifan's peachwood sword. After throwing Zhu Yunzhang's body and the storage bag into the storage bag, Yifan cleaned up the battlefield. When Shan King came to Yifan and said with a smile, "Little Fan, not bad, you are getting better and better. I didn't even need to recharge, and I killed a fake den mid-stage by myself." Next, Yifan took Wen Shan King to kill people on the battlefield. It turned out that a big war was a great opportunity to get rich quickly. When the ancestor of the Zhu family learned that Zhu Wanking was dead, he was furious. However, after being furious, he did not leave the camp to kill the people who killed Zhu Wanking. Instead, he took the Zhu family members and fled with the Zhu family army overnight, claiming that the family's spiritual vein temple had been attacked. I don't know what kind of gossip they got, but before the Jindan warriors from the Yingzong branch could react, all the members of the Zhu family had disappeared. The Zhu family withdrew halfway, and the momentum of Qinglong Fairy City increased greatly. As for the incident of the Zhu family's spiritual vein temple being attacked, the people from the Yingzong branch checked and found no such incident. In the end, they were so angry that they cursed the ancestor of the Zhu family as a tortoise. The ancestor of the Zhu family did not respond, and even closed the mountain gate, not allowing any outsiders to enter the family's spiritual vein temple. Although the Zhu family has only one Jindan ancestor, it has many Jiadans and Renan foundation building cultivators. Although it is the weakest among the 3 alliances, it really cannot do without it. Because Qinglong Immortal City had brought in a friendly soldier with late Jindan combat power from Zongshu, and it was rumored that he was the former Taoist partner of Qinglong Taoist. As a result, the Yingzong branch and the Wu family were suppressed by the Qinglong Immortal City. Finally, the war ended after a law enforcement elder was sent from the Yingzong main sect to mediate. The shares of the Yingzong branch and the Wu family in Qinglong Fairy City increased a little, but not as much as they had requested before. Jiansheng made certain concessions. Although the war was over, the prices of resources such as magic tools, elixirs, formation plates, and talismans did not drop, but instead continued to rise. However, because the war was over, the issue of the robbery gradually subsided. Qinglong's Yansheng and Emperor Yingzong began to send law enforcement teams to maintain public order. After Yifan controlled the puppet to return to Yian Exon Island, he began to count the spoils of this battle. Because they didn't kill the Foundation establishment cultivators, most of the spirit stones they obtained were mid-grade spirit stones. And there were hundreds of mid-grade spirit stones. There are countless elixirs, talismans, magical instruments, spiritual tools, etc. And there are many secret methods. The most eye-catching of them is the secret technique of transforming zombies by Zhu Wanking, the fake elixir master. Once the secret technique of transforming zombies is used, the combat power can be increased several times. But there are several disadvantages. One of them is that after being transformed into a zombie, it will take at least half an hour before you can choose to restore your original form, as well as the zombie's nemesis, the Thunder Peachwood Sword. In addition, the secret art of transforming zombies can be practiced all the way to the nascent soul stage. You can even form a pill through the secret technique of transforming into zombies. However, if one forms a pill through this secret technique, he will not become a Jind and cultivator, but a third-order zombie king. He will be completely assimilated by the zombies. He will become a monster without his own mind. In addition to this secret technique, Zhu Wanking also has a high-value secret method of making elixirs in his storage ring. The secret method of transforming elixir is that the fake elixir master can transform the poor quality gray elixir condensed by himself into liquid magic power of the Foundation building realm. and try to form the elixir again. Using this method to condense the elixir again can improve the quality of the elixir and hopefully condense a real golden elixir. Unfortunately, this secret method of transforming elixirs is only incomplete, and there is only a 10 chance of success. Zhou Wanking has hidden the secret method of transforming the elixir, and has also practiced the secret method of transforming the zombies. It seems that he wants to transform his fake elixir and use the secret method of transforming the zombies to form the elixir again. This is fucking crazy. In order to achieve the goal of forming a golden elixir, I would rather be assimilated by zombies and become the zombie king. I won't use this method, but I can try it on the humanoid puppet to see how this secret method of turning pills works. Although I now have a top-grade spiritual root and my King Mu spiritual body has reached 50 completion, I still need to have more confidence if I want to form a golden elixir safely. Through this battle, Ethan also collected 60 of the auxiliary materials for the magic fairy pill. In the following days, Ethan continued to gain experience points in alchemy. Finally, after a month, his alchemy attainments were raised to the second level intermediate level. That day, Su Wanli ran out of Wenchan King's yard with her nose pinched, and complained to Su Longyu that her mother's yard was getting smelly and smelly. Sister, is it because I have been washing Dabao's and the others' diapers recently? So my yard is particularly smelly? The corners of Su Longyu's mouth twitched, and then she looked at Yifan. Yifan nodded. Afterwards, Su Longyu went to see Wenchan King alone. Mom, please sell me the baby's poop that you collected. Wenchan King immediately glared. What? What did you say? What am I going to do with the baby's poop? Isn't it embarrassing? Su Longyu really wanted to say, you are so ashamed that you still collect things every time you need to change the baby's diapers. You rush to do it, and you get angry if you are not allowed to do it. Su Longyu, Mom. Ethan already knows how to make the fertility pill. You can sell the baby's poop to me. The price is the same as Shen Maialan's. Wenchan King looked strange. Are you really paying with spirit stones? Ever since she heard Shen Maialan and Yifan talking about how the baby's poop could be exchanged for spiritual medicine or spiritual stones, she immediately started to think about it. The baby's poop is going to be thrown away anyway. So why not save it and exchange it for spirit stones? The gifts for Da Bao and his friends, their first birthday, and Liu Bao and his friends, their full moon, and so on, were so damn expensive. Should she open her mind? Make more money? So after returning from the battlefield outside Qinglong Fairy City, she began to hoard the baby's poop and urine. Now she has hoarded several large jars, and is preparing to find an opportunity to go to Wangyu Island to find Shen Maialan to exchange them for spirit stones. Chapter 202, The Pill for Prosperity and Fertility. Su Longyu nodded, and then Wenchan King took Su Longyu to the corner of the yard, where there were 3 large jars as thick as water tanks and 3 medium-sized pottery jars as thick as water tanks. These 3 big jars are for pee, and these 3 jars are for poop. It's all lessons. Without any other debris, Su Longyu used the breath-retaining technique to not smell the unique fermented smell, and said, I only want poop, not pee. Wenchan King, why? Boy's urine is very valuable. Su Longyu, to refine the fertility pill, urine is not needed. Dr. Shen said before that the urine of pregnant women and menopausal women can be used as medicine, but the urine of boys cannot. Wenchan King, mine is okay? Su Longyu, Mom, you are already an ace and soul patriarch, why do you need to excrete grain waste? Wenchan King, missed out on 100 million. Su Longyu? In the end, Wenchan King insisted that Su Longyu buy the boy's urine, so Su Longyu had no choice but to buy 3 large jars of boy's urine at the price of flour fertilizer. When boy's urine is diluted 20 times with water, it becomes a very good flour fertilizer, which is natural and pollution-free. Su Longyu really couldn't get used to the smell of fermented poop, so she asked Yifan to take these things to another yard to make pills. Su Wanli was very curious and followed him. Similarly, Su Wanli also practiced the breath-retaining technique. Otherwise she really couldn't stand such a strong smell. Yifan actually couldn't bear it, but he tried his best to earn spirit stones. Once this elixir that brings prosperity and fertility is produced in batches and put on the market, it will become a business. After all, in modern times, there are many infertility hospitals. Advertisements for infertility hospitals can be seen on the streets. In the world of immortal cultivation, there are also many cultivators who suffer from infertility and are extremely eager for elixirs to treat infertility. After all, except for those geniuses who are devoted to the Tao, ordinary cultivators, after knowing that they can no longer advance on the path of Tao, will choose to marry, have children, and establish a family to continue their bloodline. If they are unable to have children, then life will be hopeless for them. After all, if you marry, have children and raise your offspring, there is a possibility that there will be offspring who are better than you, who can not only inherit your mantle, but also realize your unfulfilled spiritual aspirations. And continuing the family line is also a major traditional concept in this world. 2 days later, Ifan refined 5 furnaces of multiplying children and blessings pills, a total of 100 pills, all of which were second level low-grade pills. As long as cultivators at the initial stage of foundation building or below take this pill, there is an 80 chance of curing infertility. Because there are many reasons for infertility, the formula for the elixir of fertility and prosperity that Ifan got can treat most of the infertility diseases. So there is a cure rate. But an 80 probability is already very high. The success rate of Shen Miaolan's elixir for fertility and prosperity is only 20. This recipe of his was found by Su Longyu, and he later modified it and input the magic power of Qinghui and Cheng Shengchong when refining the elixir, which greatly improved the success rate of the elixir of fertility and good fortune. Su only looked at the 100 brown pills in front of her, a little unbelievable. These are pills made from Dabao's father. Brother-in-law, will anyone eat it? Who eats shit? Ifan. Baba is just one of the medicinal ingredients, not all of them are baba. Su only, alchemy is really magical. It was originally smelly, but after it was refined into a pill, it actually had a medicinal fragrance. You can even tell that there is shit in it. Ifan. Can you please stop mentioning that word? Su only. Brother-in-law, how many spirit stones do you want to sell one pill for? Ifan touched his chin. 10 medium-grade spirit stones. 10 mid-grade spirit stones are reasonable, if they can help an infertile cultivator give birth to children and continue his bloodline. Su Wanli's eyes widened in shock. 10 pieces? Middle-grade spirit stones. Brother-in-law, the bubba you bought from my mother only cost 10 low-grade spirit stones. Now, you have refined 100 pills with only half a jar of bubba. Although other spirit medicines were also used, I think those spirit medicines are relatively cheap. If you sell a pill for 10 middle-grade spirit stones, no one will buy it. Ifan smiled and said, the demand will exceed the supply. Su Wanli, I don't believe it. Ifan, let's make a bet. Su Wanli's eyes lit up immediately. Okay. Let's bet on a top-grade spirit stone. Ifan, no problem. Top-grade spirit stones. He only has 20 to top-grade spirit stones in his hand now, 20 of which are system rewards, and the other 2, one comes from the fake pill master Lin Changfeng, and the other comes from the fake pill master Zhu W. Anking. Top-grade spirit stones are good things when you are trying to form a pill. You will have top-grade spirit stones to absorb, so you don't have to worry about not having enough spiritual energy during the process, as well as third-level formations, third-level puppets, etc. They all require high-quality spirit stones to use. In the law enforcement hall of Kongyingzong, there was a white-haired old man in the middle stage of the Jindan realm, and a man in fake green clothes. Handcuffed and kneeling on the ground with pale faces next to them stood Chun Yuzan, the law enforcement elder of Kongyingzong, a cultivator in the late Jindan realm. Sitting in front of Chun Yuzan was Xi Yanfeng, the headmaster of Emperor Yingzong, who was in the late stage of golden elixir and had reached great perfection. At this moment, Xi Yanfeng was shouting at the handcuffed middle stage Jindan cultivator with a righteous look on his face. Fan Yan, I never thought that you would secretly collude with the traitor Zheng Yuanzu, who was expelled from our Yingzong, and supports Zheng Yuanzu to rob and kill other cultivators. You are helping the tyrant to do evil. You deserve to be killed. As he spoke, Xi Yanfeng pointed at the man in green with an angry look on his face, and angrily cursed, Churong King, the sect has spent so much effort to cultivate you, but you actually colluded with Fang Yan. You secretly colluded with the robbery cultivators. Do you know your crime? Churong King kowtowed immediately. Master, I was wrong. In fact, among the 7 sects and the immortal cultivation families, there is more than one person who does the same as them. Things that they cannot do openly are left to the robbery cultivators to do, and then they use the tribute money from the robbery cultivators to bribe the upper levels to obtain a better status, or accumulate spirit stone resources for themselves to reach a higher realm and improve their status on the surface. They can also accumulate a good reputation, so why not do it? Generally speaking, even if the higher-ups in the sect knew about it, they would just turn a blind eye. However, Zheng Yuanzu's affairs were discovered by the law enforcement teams of the 3 upper sects after arriving at Yingzong. The law enforcement team began to investigate and finally threw all the evidence in front of their leader. He and Elder Fang Yan had already been confined to the sect and had no way to escape. Xi Yanfeng snorted coldly. It's no use knowing you're wrong. If you do something wrong, you must accept the punishment. Go to the prison of the 3 sects and reflect on your mistakes. After scolding him, Xi Yanfeng looked at the 3 elders from the upper 3 sects. Law enforcement team sitting on the upper left, his face changed instantly, and he said with a look of admitting his fault, I'd like to trouble you 3 seniors to come over. This time it was our fault for not supervising Yingzong properly. Please ask the law enforcement team to punish us. Chapter 203 Shocking, Yul Yangxuan cures infertility. The law enforcement department of the top 3 sects is composed of an equal number of people from each of the top 3 sects, Lan Yu sect, Lo Wo Yun sect, and Qi Yanji sect. Among them, the law enforcement elders are all nascent soul ancestors from the three major sects. Unless it is a major matter, the Yuan Ying Patriarch will not personally take action to resolve the affairs of the lower seven sects, and usually leave it to the younger generation to solve. This time, the incident involving Emperor Yingzong actually caused the three elders of the law enforcement department to come in person to enforce the law. The head sect leader Rek'Sai Enfeng was extremely terrified. I have thought of all kinds of speculations, but I would never have thought that this time's Engyuans robbed and killed none other than the youngest daughter of the leader of the Lanyu sect, and her future son-in-law. When Shan King had spoken. So naturally the law enforcement team was dispatched personally by the law enforcement elder. Although Wen Shan King is also in the nascent soul stage, she is the wife of the leader of the Lanyu sect, and her family has an ancestor who has reached the god transformation stage. Naturally, the law enforcement team will pay enough attention to Wen Shan King's words. Among these three law enforcement elders, one is Lanyu sect's supreme elder Tang Hong or Ui, who is in the middle stage of the nascent soul. After resolving the matter with Kong Yingzong, Tang Hong or Ui asked the other two law enforcement elders to take Fang Yan and Chu Rong King to the law enforcement headquarters, while he strolled around the border. Tang Hong or Ui came to King Long Immortal City. Every time he went to a place, he would wander around the nearby fairy city or market to see if there were any good things that could cure that disease. Because sometimes there really are good remedies among the people. After entering the Immortal City, Tang Hong or Ui displayed his cultivation at the middle stage of foundation building, which was neither too high nor too low and did not attract attention. The previous beast tied in King Long Immortal City, as well as the battles with the Yingzong branch, Wu family, and Zhu family, did not cause much impact on the buildings inside King Long Immortal City. Even if there were some damages, they had already been repaired by now, and the Immortal City is now bustling with activity. Not far from the gate of the fairy city, there is a large banner hanging, which is particularly eye-catching. It clearly says, "If you are infertile, please contact Yu Yangzhuan." There is also a line of small words below: continuous good luck in pregnancy, continuous surprises, many children and blessings. Next to the text is the Yu Yangzhuan trademark, a big moon with a sword piercing through the moon, which is very domineering. At the bottom, the address of Yu Yangzhuan and the contact person are Manager Fan. When Tang Hong or Ui saw the banner, he was stunned for a moment. And then he heard people around him discussing this matter. Yu Yangzhuan has actually developed an infertility pill? Is this true? I don't know. This banner was just put up today. I heard that it's expensive to advertise here. Yu Yangzhuan actually spent so much money to advertise here. This infertility pill should be real, right? Go and have a look. What the hell are you looking at? I'm not infertile. I already have a lot of sons. Can't you give birth to a child? What nonsense are you talking about? I haven't even found a Taoist partner yet. I'm sure I can have a baby. I'm not going to the Moon Pavilion to see this thing. In my heart, I went there quietly in the middle of the night. Damn it, I must not let anyone know that I went to Yu Yangzhuan to look for infertility pills. I hope I'm not lying. It's been 100 years and my wife is still not pregnant, while the dog's children have given birth to several puppies. Tang Hong or Ui withdrew his spiritual consciousness and uttered three words: Moon Pavilion. At Ynu, Song Nanyang brought Sun Guangda to see Yifan. Yifan arrived at the Immortal City the day before yesterday. The advertisements and slogans at the gate of the Immortal City were his masterpieces. As for the price of the advertising space, he didn't spend any money because the shop where the advertising banner was hung was his. No, now it belonged to his wife. When Song Nanyang arrived, Yifan was drinking tea in the yard. "Boss, this is Lao Sun. You have met him before. He is now the deputy manager of our material purchasing company," Zhong Nanyang introduced. Yifan looked at Sun Guangda and nodded. He had an impression of Sun Guangda. Sun Guangda's arm was chopped off by a cultivator who pretended to be Queen Yama. Now Sun Guangda's arm has been repaired. Sun Guangda bowed to Yifan and said, "Boss, the prices of monster materials purchased by our material store have been rising recently. In fact, not only the prices of monster materials are rising, but also the prices of elixirs, talismans, magic tools, array plates and other immortal cultivation materials are rising. Someone is secretly hoarding these things, although I don't know what their purpose is. I have an idea: should we form our own monster hunting team? In this way, we don't have to worry about the price increase of the monster materials we hunt ourselves." Later, Sun Guangda explained to Yifan that there was actually a reason. And it was because he had stayed in the early stage of foundation building for too long and had been unable to break through to the middle stage of foundation building. He was ready to take a chance and personally lead the team into the Lada Mountains to hunt monsters. Only by fighting war monsters would he have a hope of breaking through to the middle stage of foundation building at the critical moment of life and death. The way he leads a monster hunting team himself is different from the way he leads a monster hunting team for Yifan. If he leads the monster hunting team himself, he will be responsible for various follow-up matters, and because of money and fame issues, he will not be able to recruit many powerful combat masters. However, if Yi Fan leads the monster hunting team, he can continue to receive the benefits offered by Yu Liangzhuan, and secondly, he can recruit more outstanding combat masters through Yu Liangzhuan's fame. There are special people to handle many aftermath matters, and he only needs to lead the team to hunt monsters. He still prefers the latter one. As the saying goes, it's nice to sit under a big tree and enjoy the shade. Now Yu Liangzhuan has the potential to become a big tree. What's more, Yi Fan has a Jindan ancestor master behind him when he is hunting monsters outside. He is a deterrent to other cultivators. Because when hunting monsters in the mountains, one must not only guard against the monsters, but also be wary of fellow monks who may kill people and steal treasures. Yi Fan thought about it for a moment and agreed to the project. Because he had participated in the Great War between Xiansheng and the branch sect from Yingzong. When he came to Xiansheng, he went to the nearby black market to sell the stolen goods. Now, he had a lot of spirit stones in his hands. Moreover, he has opened the Yu Liangzhuan shop now. Yu Liangzhuan not only sells magical instruments but also sells elixirs, talismans, formation plates, and puppets. It is a comprehensive shop for supplies for cultivating immortals. Yu Liangzhuan materials purchasing store is also doing very well. If the source monster hunting team is also formed, the entire business will then complete a perfect closed loop. Especially since the Zhu family had previously teamed up with other material purchasing companies to suppress the Sang family. Their Yu Liangzhuan monster hunting team must be formed. Sun Guangda was very happy when the project was approved, and he immediately went out to work with full enthusiasm. Zhang Nanyan stayed in Yanyuju and talked with Yi Fan about recent current affairs. He said that although the war between Yingzong's branch sect and the Wu and Zhu families in Qinglong Immortal City was over, the situation of Taoist Qinglong was not good. It was heard that he was about to die, but he didn't know whether it was true or not. After all, it was rumored that Taoist Qinglong's war pet had died, but it suddenly appeared during the final battle. It was stronger than anyone else and killed the two Jindan masters with a surprise attack. In addition, some people were secretly hoarding supplies for cultivation, causing the prices of supplies to rise, giving people a feeling that a storm was about to come. Moreover, he sent people out to inquire, but he only found out that some people in the border area of the southern region were secretly hoarding supplies, and the prices of cultivation supplies in the central southern region and other areas were still fluctuating normally. Chapter 200 For shocked, this elixir is really effective. Late at night, Qinglong Fairy City fell into darkness, with only a faint light on the second floor of the Yu Liangzhuan main store. The second floor is dedicated to selling elixirs. At this moment, there were a dozen monks standing in the hall on the second floor. But no one spoke. Moreover, each monk was either wearing a mask, or had changed his appearance, or was wearing a black hat. In short, no one could know their real faces. There were even men dressed as women. Manager Fan seemed to have thought of such a situation a long time ago, so he was waiting here alone. He said to the people present, the fertility pill newly developed by Yu Liangzhuan can indeed treat male and female infertility. However, as you all know, nothing is absolute. Even the foundation building pill can only increase our success rate of foundation building by 20 to 30%. The fertility and fortune pills sold at other auction houses or by pharmacists also have a success rate of less than 30. But our Yu Liangzhuan's fertility and fortune pill has a success rate of up to 80. So the price is 10 mid-grade spirit stones per piece, no bargaining. If you want to buy it, please come and queue up here today. There are only 20 fertility pills left. If they are sold out, you will need to wait for the second batch. The time of the second batch is not yet determined. As soon as Manager Fan finished speaking, many people in the group began to exclaim in low voices. 10 middle-grade spirit stones, this is too expensive. But there is an 80 success rate. If it can really allow me to have a child, 10 mid-grade spirit stones don't seem expensive. But what if I happen to be in the 20 range where it's useless even if I take it? Wouldn't that mean all the 10 mid-grade spirit stones would be wasted? Everyone was talking in low voices, and among them, an ordinary-looking old man was the first to walk up to Manager Fan. Give me 10, said the old man. Manager Fan, okay. The old man took out 100 medium-grade spirit stones, bought 10 pills of fertility and fortune, and then left. The others were shocked upon seeing this, and some even thought that the old man was a stooge. However, when Manager Fan said that there were only 10 fertility and blessing pills left in this batch, the monk, who was a little more affluent and particularly obsessed with having children, gritted his teeth and stepped forward to buy one. Someone took the lead, and the rest were afraid that they would not be able to buy in. After all, the time of the second wave was uncertain. If they had to wait for 10, or even dozens of years, they could not afford it, so people immediately lined up to buy in. Someone bought 2. Soon, all 20 pills of the fertility and fortune pills were sold out. Su Wanli, who was next door, was shocked when she saw this scene. Oh my god, someone actually bought this pill that costs 10 mid-grade spirit stones each. And they were scrambling to buy it right up to the end. That was all made by Dabao and his parents, Dad. Thinking of this, Su Ali's expression became a little strange. It was really impossible to understand what these people were thinking, but because they had made a bet with Yifan, they could only reluctantly take out a top-grade spirit stone and compensate Yifan. Brother-in-law. You are so good at making money. You can even come up with this idea. How do you know this medicine is so popular? Speaking of which, there are actually people who can't have children. I always thought that as long as you want to have children, you can have them, it just depends on whether you want to have them or not. The old man who had purchased 10 pills of fertility and good fortune did not go far away. After leaving Yuliangxuan instead, he stood in one place and then locked onto 5 male cultivators who had also purchased the pills of fertility and good fortune. Leave a spiritual mark on them. This old man is Tang Hongyue after he has changed his appearance. That night, Tang Hongyue watched 5 live Taoist exchanges, of course. He only watched the first few sessions and not the last few because they were too shocking. He just wanted to make sure that they did that thing with their wives. 3 days later, his spiritual sense sensed something and he was slightly surprised. 4 of the 5 monks' companions are pregnant. This fertility pill really has a miraculous effect in treating infertility, and it's not an exaggeration. The probability of treatment is really high. He had sought medical advice for his grandson and purchased some elixirs for him before, but no matter how much he took, it was useless. His lineage was originally an only child, and he only had one son. The son took great pains to give birth to a grandson. But by the time of my grandson's generation, more than 200 years had passed, and he still couldn't have children. He had more than 20 wives and concubines, but not one of them got pregnant. He searched for all the famous doctors, but none of them could cure his grandson's infertility. If his grandson can't have children, their Tang family will be extinct in his grandson's generation. He didn't even dare to go to the underworld to meet the ancestors of the Tang family. I'm really lucky this time. I hope the 10 pills of Duoziduo Fu pills I bought this time can cure my grandson's illness. Tang Hongyue was about to leave when he suddenly thought of something and shook his head again. I have never seen this Yuliangxuan in other immortal cities. It is only opened in Qinglong Immortal City, which is a remote area. Let Xuener come to Qinglong Immortal City in person if he gets better after taking these 10 pills. That's fine. If not, then we can find the alchemist at Yuliang Pavilion who can make this kind of fertility pill and blessing pill and ask him to personally make a furnace of pills for Xuener. On Yifan's side, he arranged things in Xianchang and asked manager Fan to start selling the second batch of fertility and fortune pills in half a month. He would use the same method as the first time to control the quantity, and then arrange the third and fourth waves of sales, and so on. Similar to the selling principle of Hermes bags among modern luxury goods. The product is often out of stock, but is released occasionally to keep customers on edge and to establish the brand value of Yuliangxuan Duoziduo Fuden. Yifan also asked manager Fan to set up another store, named Xianxuan, which specializes in purchasing the poop of babies under 1 year old and the urine of pregnant women. However, Yifan set a purchasing standard for manager Fan, and only the poop and urine that met the purchasing standard could be purchased. After finishing these things, Yifan prepared to return to Xen Island. Just as he was about to go out, he met Gzi coming over. Gzi explained his purpose to Yifan, saying that he heard that Yuliangxuan sold pills for treating infertility, and that someone bought the pills and made his wife pregnant. Then he said that his sister had not been pregnant for decades and was very anxious, so he planned to buy one for his sister to try. Yifan suggested that he buy 2. Gzi. Why? Yifan, one for your sister, and the other for your brother-in-law. Sometimes the cause of infertility may also be on the male side. Gzi, okay. For Gzi, who is in the early stage of golden elixir and a disciple of Taoist King Long, he can still afford to buy 2 pills of prosperity and blessings. Yifan also gave Gzi a friendly price, 20 off. And the 2 pills cost a total of 16 medium-grade spirit stones. Before Gzi left, he told Yifan to stock up more supplies for cultivating immortals, saying that the top leaders in the southern region might very well launch a war in the world of cultivating immortals. Chapter 205 The mother-in-law who shows off her son-in-law. As for Wen Chan King, ever since Su only told her 2 days ago that Yifan sold the elixir made with Dabao's father for 10 medium-grade spirit stones each, and that they were sold out in an instant, she had a sense of pride that, my son-in-law is indeed so outstanding. Just now, after Shisha then called her via video to chat about business, she casually mentioned that although her grandchildren are young, some are only 1.5 years old and the other 2 months old, they already know how to make money. Shisha Ben, how do you make money when you are so young? Thinking of the last full month ceremony for the sextuplets, Shisha Ben felt a pang of pain in her heart. If she hadn't had to leave this remote place for the time being, she would have run away after attending Dabao and his family's first birthday celebration last time. Could it be that Wen Chan King has come up with another idea for hosting a party for the babies? Can you not do favors? When will my daughter get married and have children? When can I get the money back? Wen Chan King, what are you thinking? Did the babies earn the gift money? It's a favor between USD on T. Feel you're losing out when your Schwanner gives birth to a baby in the future. I'll give her some extra gifts in return. Shisha of N, even if I return the favor, 1 against 11. There is no way I can return the favor completely. And how do you make money? She would ask with a smile unless she was going to host a banquet. Wen Chan King immediately told him in a particularly pretentious way that the baby's poop could be sold for money. And that Yi Fan had refined the poop into pills, and how the pills were sold at high prices and had good sales, etc. I almost said directly, look how amazing my son-in-law's ability to make money is. After hearing this, Shisha then felt strangely sour, as if she had eaten a lemon. And immediately said, Chan King, you are so high profile now, and your whole family lives on Wienxin Island. Aren't you afraid of being discovered by the people from your Lan Yu sect? If the people of Lan Yu sect knew that you not only found a Taoist partner, but also gave birth to so many children, what do you think would happen? Then you'll be rich. There was already a hint of gloating in the last voice. Wen Chan King. Wen Chan King immediately retorted, some people are jealous of me for having such an outstanding son-in-law. Shisha then, why should I envy you? I wonder if your Su Changming will recognize Yi Fan after knowing this, or will he kill Yi Fan? I am reminding you specially for your own good, I am kind-hearted. Wen Chan King hung up the video call directly. Then he cursed, good intentions, Shisha of N. You bastard, you only know how to gloat over others' misfortunes, just wait. I will show Yi Fan in front of you again next time. Don't think I won't show off just because you're arguing with me. As for Su Changming, never mind him. It's better to stay in the secret realm for a few decades before coming out. When you come out, Yi Fan will definitely have formed the golden elixir. We can talk about it then. But the people of Lan Yu sect. Just as she thought of this, the communication jade token vibrated. When she took out the jade token and looked at it, her expression changed slightly. The information on the jade token was sent by Tang Hong Rui, the supreme elder of Lan Yu sect. The content was, a matter of Emperor Yingzong has been resolved. The masterminds were brought back to the law enforcement department for sentencing. Among them, the main culprit, Fang Yan, a cultivator in the middle stage of Jindan, was sentenced to death. It also detailed the charges and sentencing of several other major criminals. At the end, he asked Wen Chan King where she was, as he had something to give her. Wen Chan King replied and mentioned a place, Changyao Mountain, which was a day's journey away from Wienxin Island. After a while, the other party replied, saying that he was in King Long Ferry City, and was very close to Changyao Mountain where Wen Chan King was, and he would be there soon. After agreeing on the time and place for the meeting, Wen Chan King pondered for a moment, then went to Su Longyu and told her that she would be away for a while. She was very reluctant to hug and kiss each of her 11 precious grandchildren. In the end, he left with Su only, who refused to leave. Before leaving, she set up a 4th level formation for the 3rd level formation above Wenxinju, and then gave the formation plate to Su Longyu. Finally, this 4th order formation was hidden in this way. People below the nascent soul stage would only see the 3rd order formation. If people above the nascent soul stage wanted to use their spiritual sense to explore Wenxinju, they would find that there was a 4th order formation above Wenxinju, and it blocked the spiritual sense exploration of the middle nascent soul stage and below. This is to prevent Tang Hong Rui, who is in the middle stage of the nascent soul, from accidentally passing by here and discovering something unusual, and then finding Su Longyu taking care of the baby in this warm home. A few days after Wen Chan King left, a female cultivator in the early Jindan stage rode a flying sword and arrived above Wienxin Island. Looking at Wienxin Island, she suddenly frowned. This Wienxin Island is a bit weird. Then, with a stern expression, she sent out a communication talisman and flew into Wienxinju. After a while, a very handsome and elegant man walked out from the 3rd order formation. The person who came was Yi Fan. When the female cultivator in the early Jindan stage saw Yi Fan, her beautiful eyes were dazed for a moment. She had never known that there was such a handsome man in the world. But she was not a lustful person. She said sternly, Island Master Yi, I am Shen Ziyun, a disciple of the law enforcement hall of Qianji sect. Some time ago, Fairy King Luan and Taoist Chang, who lived in the autumn wind valley of Lanko County, were killed by robbers. Although they were expelled from our Qianji sect, we will not allow robbers to attack them. We must get to the bottom of this matter. This is a portrait of the leader of that group of robbery cultivators, Island Master Yi. Have you seen this person? As he spoke, Shen Ziyun took out a scroll of portraits and handed it to Yi Fan. Yi Fan took the portrait. The person in the portrait was none other than the fake Dan's Ren Lin Changfeng. Not only had he met Lin Changfeng, but his mother-in-law had also slapped Lin Changfeng to death, and Lin Changfeng's body was lying in his storage bag. However, He had obtained the Qionji sect's secret weapon refining techniques and notes the Qionji sect would definitely not let their sect's things leak out otherwise. After the death of the two men in Yufeng Valley, the Qionji sect would not have sent out a Jindan cultivator to deal with the matter. So Yi Fan returned the portrait to Shen Zhiaiyun, cupped his hands and said, "Senior Shen, I have never seen this person. But more than a month ago, a group of robbery cultivators did land on our Wienexen island, and we killed them on the island." As he spoke, Yi Fan threw the portrait of the vicious leader of the robbery cultivators to Shen Zhiaiyun. Then he said, "I don't know if they are a group of people." After Shen Zhiaiyun looked at the portrait of the vicious robber, he frowned and then shook his head. "They are not in the same group. It seems that the robbery repairmen near your Yunshu County have been very rampant recently. Master Yi, if you see Lin Shengfeng in the future, please let us know and we will kill him." Yi Fan. "Okay." And Shen Zhiaiyun thought of something and said, "Master Yi, I heard that you opened the Moon Pavilion in Qinglong Fairy City?" Yi Fan. "Yes." Shen Zhiaiyun. "Did you also carve the inscriptions on the magic tools and ropes?" Yi Fan. "Yes." Chen Zhiaiyun. "Island Master Yi, our Qionji sect is a major weapon refining sect. We have always been very welcoming to all disciples with weapon refining and inscription talents in the southern continent. I happen to have a Qionji token here. If you take this token to Qionji sect, you can directly participate in the Qionji sect's outer disciple test. After passing, you can become a disciple of Qionji sect. Chapter 206 Shock. Yi Fan, you actually refuse to join the top 3 sects. Qionji sect, one of the top 3 sects, is a major weapon refining sect. Most of the powerful magical instruments, spiritual instruments, magic weapons, true spiritual treasures, etc. in the southern region were refined by the Thousand Machine sect. On the Bai King list of the rankings of magical instruments, spiritual instruments, the top 500 are all occupied by the names of Thousand Machine sect's disciples. Their reputation is very prominent, and the monks in the sect are proud to find a Thousand Machine sect disciple to refine a weapon. However, in the original novel, 500 years later, when the protagonist Lin Aoten appeared, of the top 3 sects, the Lanyu sect was gone, the Woyun sect had fallen to the bottom 7 sects, and the Qionji sect had fallen to the end of the bottom 7 sects. It was even to the point where the sect was about to cut off its inheritance. The sect's spiritual veins in Taoist temples were completely devoid of spiritual energy. All the disciples of the Qionji sect had to rely on begging for spiritual energy from other sects to barely practice, which was particularly miserable. Yi Fan bowed to Shen Zhiaiyun and said, "Thank you for your kindness, senior, but I am not very interested in joining the sect for the time being. Not to mention that after entering the sect, in order to control some disciples, the sect will ask the disciples to leave their essence and blood on the sect's identity token. Once the disciple defected, if he did not steal his token from the Patriarch's Hall, even if he ran far away, the sect's law enforcement hall would be able to track his location through his essence and blood, and even use a secret method of the magic way to kill the opponent directly across thousands of miles. You get what you give. And there are also sect missions and so on. Not to mention, 400 years later, the Qionji sect was living a miserable life. Naturally, he would not go to Qionji sect to be an outer disciple. If he had to go, he would go to Lanyu sect to be the Holy Son. Although Qionji sect is also one of the top 3 sects, in terms of strength, Lanyu sect ranks first, Lanyan sect ranks first, Luoyun sect ranks second, and Qionji sect ranks third. When Shen Zhiaiyun heard Yi Fan's words, she was shocked. "I couldn't believe what I heard. In this continent of southern region, there are actually independent cultivators who refuse the invitation from their Qionji sect, Thousand Machine Gate, one of the top 3 sects. This is the holy land that countless casual cultivators and weapon refiners dream of." Yi Fan actually refused. Her expression suddenly became more serious. "Are you sure you want to refuse? You only have one chance. If you miss it, you will never have it again." Yi Fan still refused, and then returned to Wienexen Island on the pretext that he had something else to do. Shen Zhiaiyun didn't come back to her senses until Yi Fan disappeared, even a little frustrated after being rejected. Silver teeth clenched. "Good for you, Yi Fan. You don't even want this golden opportunity. This is the first time someone has rejected me." Then, when her gaze fell on the third order formation on Wienexen Island again, her expression shook slightly again. Perhaps Yi Fan has obtained a greater opportunity than becoming a disciple of our Qionji sect. What could it be? Very curious. After saying this, she turned her head unwillingly and disappeared in the form of a beam of light. 2 days later, after Zut Yanshi's puppet had been brushing puppet experience points day and night, Yi Fan's puppet attainments finally reached the 2nd level upper grade. It can refine late 2nd stage monsters. During the last beast tide, Yifan received a lot of second-level monster materials, but there were relatively few second-level late-stage monster materials, only 2 monster materials that could be used to refine puppets. One of them was the Earth Dragon King killed by Yifan. I couldn't refine the Earth Dragon Beast King before, but now I can start refining it. With one more Earth Dragon Beast King puppet, he will have more fighting power when he goes out. Even if he met an early Jindan cultivator who focused on refining weapons like Shenzi Chiyun, he would not be afraid. Cultivators who focus on refining weapons, refining pills, etc. are inferior to combat cultivators of the same level in terms of fighting, because they spend most of their time refining weapons and pills. Their fighting experience and their understanding of the way of heaven at life and death moments are much worse than those of combat cultivators. 3 days later, a roar was heard in the warm house, and the earth shook. The mortals in the mortal city all felt an earthquake. They were so frightened that their faces changed drastically. They prostrated themselves on the ground, praying to God that no major disaster would happen. At this moment, Yifan slapped the head of the Earth Dragon Beast King puppet that had just roared. "Why are you yelling so loudly? What if you scare the small fish and shrimps in the spiritual fields and the spiritual beasts in the mountains and forests?" Those are all his assets. The Earth Dragon Beast King puppet touched his head mechanically. Yifan put the puppet into his storage bag with great satisfaction. Then he took out Lin Changfeng's body. He had dealt with Lin Changfeng's body before and only refined some of it. Now that he is broken through to the upper level of the second stage, he can refine some more. However, before refining Lin Changfeng, Yifan gave him a makeover. Thinking of the last time Zhu Tianxi's father Zhu Wanking used the secret blood technique to sense Zhu Tianxi, Yifan replaced all of Lin Changfeng's blood with the blood of the Earth Dragon Beast King. After killing the Earth Dragon King, Yifan collected all the blood of the Earth Dragon King in a container in accordance with the principle of not wasting. Just a little of the blood of an Earth Dragon King would be enough for a human cultivator. As for whether there are any side effects of replacing human blood with animal blood, Yifan is also planning to do an experiment to see. 5 days later, Su Longyu found a pill recipe and told Yifan that it was the recipe that Shang Yiman passed down to her mother after it was refined. Giving Bubio a quarter a pill every day would make up for Bubio's weakness in the womb, and his body would gradually recover. After Yifan looked at the pill, he found that it was a second-level low-grade pill recipe, which was just right for him to refine. There were only a few medicinal ingredients on the pill recipe, many of which he didn't have. After checking the medicinal materials with Su Longyu, we finally found that one of the more important medicinal materials, Erythema confusa, was missing. Yifan asked Song Nanyang and found out that there was this kind of Nanxing grass in the Diapian Mountains, 5 days away from Wianexin Island. And a group of late-stage second-level monsters gathered there. Our demon hunting team had never been there either. When Su Longyu found out, she said she would go there. Yifan asked her to rest at home, saying that the babies couldn't leave her, so he would go. He also told Su Longyu about his current methods, and it would be no problem to kill the second-stage late-stage monster. Su Longyu was still worried, so she gave Yifan a pair of cloud-chasing moon boots, which was a third-level speed magic weapon. Barring these boots, Yifan's speed can be faster than that of a mid-stage Jindan cultivator. Su Longyu also gave Yifan some third-level defensive talismans, second-level top-grade offensive talismans, a third-level escape talisman, and a third-level transfer talisman. The last 2 talismans are both great tools for escaping. If it wasn't a third-level attack talisman, Yifan would not be able to use it, and Su Longyu would have to give it to Yifan. Because Yifan's strength is now in the middle stage of foundation building, if he uses a third-level attack talisman, once it is sacrificed, the power leaked from the third-level talisman will seriously injure him. Wearing the cloud-chasing moon boots, Yifan left Wianexin Island and headed for the Diapian Mountains. The news was similar to what Song Nanyang had said. There were Nanxing grass punctuations in the Diapian Mountains, and there were indeed some late-stage second-order monsters gathered there, but there were no groups. Only 2 or 3. It should be because of the last beast-tide incident. The death of the 4th-level monster king made these monsters feel scared and fled deeper into the mountains. Chapter 207 to Treasures. After Yifan killed 5 late-stage second-order monsters, he no longer saw any late-stage second-order monsters nearby. This time the harvest was good. Not only did we pick a batch of Nanxing grass, but we also harvested materials for 5 second-level monsters. Yifan was not planning to stay here any longer after all. After killing 5 late-stage second-order monsters in a row, it might not be long before a third-order monster would come and kill him. After leaving the Diapian Mountains, passing by a valley, I suddenly heard a familiar voice. "Wu Shifeng, you dare to kill me today? My master will definitely avenge me one day." This is GZ's voice. At this moment, in a flat valley, GZ, who was in the early stage of Jindan, was spitting blood on the ground. He stood on the ground with a sword in his hand, and his black eyes were staring angrily at Wu Shifeng not far away. "Wu Shifeng, the ancestor of the Wu family who was in the middle stage of the golden elixir realm. Wu Shifeng snorted coldly, "Your master is about to die, and he still comes to help you get revenge. I wonder if he dares to leave King Long Immortal City. If he dares to leave the city, I will kill him immediately at the gate of King Long Immortal City." Ever since the last war, when Taoist King Long's war pet killed the Wu family's golden elixir, the Wu family and King Long Fairy City have been completely feuding. Even after the two sides reached peace, the Wu family continued to eye King Long Immortal City. Now that he has learned that Taoist King Long is about to die, Wu Shifeng personally goes out to snipe Taoist King Long's Jindan disciple. Especially since GZ now had a golden elixir in his body, their Wu family would definitely not allow Taoist King Long to have another golden elixir disciple. GZ roared, stood up and said, "You are worthy of killing my master. You can't even kill my master's battle pet. You are a waste." Wu Shifeng chuckled. In short, don't even think about returning to King Long Immortal City with the golden core. You will die in this nameless valley. As he spoke, Wu Shifeng turned into a beam of light and rushed towards GZ. The two beams of light collided in an instant. And the magical power of the Jindan realm fluctuated, flattening the surrounding mountains. Swish, swish, swish. After a cup of tea, GZ's second stage late pet died in battle. He looked crazy and yelled, "Wu Shifeng, even if I die here today, you won't have an easy life. I will take half of your life with me." Wu Shifeng swallowed a mouthful of blood and sneered, "Want to take half of my life with you? You are not qualified." Although the gap between the early and middle Jindan stages seems to be only a small realm, the difference in magic power and skills is huge, especially since Wu Shifeng is 200 years older than GZ, and his fighting skills are very sharp. "Who's making noise here? You're disturbing my sleep." Suddenly, a pleasant but extremely displeased female voice came. Immediately afterwards, a graceful figure appeared in the air over the valley. The mana fluctuations of the middle stage of the golden core emanate. GZ and Wu Shifeng were both shocked. Queen Yama. Queen Yama. Queen Yama was notorious in King Long Fairy City and King Shufang. Even Wu Shifeng, who had never dealt with her, had seen Queen Yama's portrait. Not to mention GZ when Queen Yama killed all the cultivators of the Zhu family at the gate of King Long Immortal City. A Jindan cultivator flew out of King Long Mountain in the Immortal City and went to the city gate to announce that he was going to chase Queen Yama. It was GZ. Naturally, he recognized Queen Yama at a glance. The moment he saw Queen Yama, GZ felt sad, knowing that he was really going to die here this time. However, if he could use this opportunity to kill Wu Shifeng, the ancestor of the Wu family, he felt it was worth it. At least, in the future, my fellow brothers and sisters won't have to worry about being sniped by that old thief Wu Shifeng. Wu Shifeng's expression changed several times, although in terms of strength, he was also in the middle stage of the golden core and was not afraid of Queen Yama. However, there is still GZ who is determined to take half of his life. If I could join forces with Queen Yama to kill GZ. He immediately sent a telepathic message to Queen Yama. Wu Shifeng, Queen Yama, you and I have never met before today. I just want to kill the evil villain GZ. After I kill this villain, I will give you a gift. You just need to sit aside and rest and watch the battle. How about that? I've given you enough treatment as a queen, right? No one should object, right? The Queen of Hell curled her lips in a sneer. Wu Shifeng felt something was wrong when he saw Queen Yama looking at him without saying a word. He immediately turned into a beam of light, cast a teleportation talisman, and disappeared in an instant. Run away. He had to run. It was said that Queen Yama killed people in an unconventional way. He had not yet fully recovered from the injuries he suffered in the previous battle. With King Long Fairy City, he had just fought with GZ and was injured again. He was worried that he was no match for Queen Yama in her prime. He is the only Jindan in the Wu family, so naturally he cherishes his life very much. Let GZ go for now and kill him another day. Maybe there's no need to wait until another day. This time Queen Yama can't find anyone to vent her anger on, so she will most likely kill GZ. This is better. He doesn't have to do anything. How beautiful. After Wu Shifeng escaped, GZ cursed Wu Shifeng in his heart. Old thief, he ran faster than his grandson. But he didn't dare to escape. He was seriously injured and had no teleportation talisman on him. He had used other second level escape talismans when fighting with Wu Shifeng before, but he was still chased and killed by Wu Shifeng. He could not escape from the clutches of Queen Yama at all. Unable to escape. He recalled the scene he had seen in King Long Immortal City before, and immediately knelt on the ground sincerely. Junior did not know that the senior was resting here, and it is the junior's fault for disturbing the senior's sleep. This is the sincerity of the younger generation. Please forgive my unintentional behavior. As he spoke, GZ took out 2 jade boxes from his storage ring, and then removed the restrictions on the jade boxes. He respectfully used his magical powers to hold the 2 jade boxes above his head. Queen Yama used her magic power to attract the jade box into her hands. There were no restrictions on the 2 jade boxes. So Queen Yama probed her spiritual consciousness into them. In one of the jade boxes, there was a golden pill, which was the golden pill condensed by the spiritual object. It's still a top-quality golden elixir. It can increase the success rate of forming a pill by 15. Nice one. In another jade box, there was a piece of antique copper fragment, exuding an ancient atmosphere. As soon as the spiritual consciousness tentatively probed into it, it was repelled by a huge force. What is this? It looks pretty awesome. Take it back and show it to my wife. After putting the 2 jade boxes into the storage ring, Queen Yama snorted coldly, then drove the cloud-chasing moon boots, traveled 100 miles in an instant, and disappeared in a flash. GZ dared to look up only after he sensed that the pressure from Queen Yama was no longer there. As expected, the Queen of Hell had disappeared. He let out a long breath. As expected of the Queen of Hell, she is ridiculously strong. Her speed of escape is faster than Wu Shifeng, who is also in the middle stage of the Golden Core. Fortunately, I didn't run away at that time, but chose to apologize instead. Sure enough, Queen Yama is not really a bad person. She has her own way of doing things. As long as you apologize sincerely, she will show mercy. Although I lost the Jindan and the bronze fragment, my life was saved. Moreover, the Jindan didn't fall into the hands of the Wu family. In short, it's not a loss. I have to hurry back to Xiancheng and tell my master and brothers that the old villain Wu Shifeng is sniping at our Jin and disciples in Xiancheng. Chapter 208. The Opportunity of 5 Treasures. Spiritual Treasure Fragments. The Queen of Hell, who had been traveling far away, arrived at an uninhabited forest, waved her hand, and turned back into Yifan. The Queen of Hell just now was Yifan, wearing a mask of various shapes and sizes. 100 change mask is really awesome. The Wu family ancestor, who was in the middle stage of the Golden Core stage, was directly scared away by me. GZ is really honest. He contributed these 2 treasures, but it was totally worth it for him to save him from death. High risk, high reward indeed. At first, when Yifan passed by the valley, he was not going to meddle in other people's business. After all, if you meddle in other people's business in the world of immortal cultivation, you will most likely die. Not to mention that it was a battle at the Jindin level. However, he happened to hear the sound of a spiritual being condensing a golden elixir. Although he has been preparing the materials for the Ningjin pill and the magic immortal pill, up to now, the materials for these 2 kinds of pills had not been fully collected. Using the method of magic fairy pill to form the elixir is one of his ways of forming the elixir. Now that the quality of his spiritual roots has broken through to the top grade, he can also consider condensing the golden elixir. Make more preparations for Dinji to be on the safe side. In addition, he was wearing the cloud-chasing moon boots given by Su Longyu. Even the Wu family ancestor, who was in the middle stage of the Golden Core, could not catch up with him, not to mention other 3rd-level escape tailmisms and transfer tailmisms. And there is also the precious Zuantian mirror, which can withstand a single attack from a powerful Yuan Ying stage master. So when it came to running for his life, he was not at all afraid. After some thought, he found some free time, disguised himself as Queen Yama with a mask, and went there. Originally, he was planning to let GZ use the Ningjin pill as a reward, and join forces with GZ to repel the ancestor of the Zhu family. However, he did not expect that he did nothing as soon as he appeared. The ancestor of the Zhu family ran away. GZ took the initiative to offer the Ningjin pill and bronze fragments. Comfortable. After returning to Wien Xen Island, Yifan showed the bronze fragment to Su Longyu. After Su Longyu looked at it, she said, "This is a spiritual treasure, but it has an owner, and the restrictions on it cannot be erased with my strength. I will take it back to Lanyu sect and think of a way to deal with it one day. Although it is a fragment of a spiritual treasure, if the restrictions can be erased and it can recognize its master again, it will be very good." Ling Bao is a cultivator's weapon of a higher level than magic weapon. Yuan Ying Zan Jun can use Ling Bao. But Ling Bao is also an extremely rare and powerful weapon for Yuan Ying Zan Jun. Not every Yuan Ying Zan Jun has Ling Bao. Many do not have Ling Bao, or some of them are imitations of Ling Bao. Yifan, okay. At this moment, Wu Bao, who is sitting on a wooden children's chair and leisurely admiring the flowers, plants and blue sky, suddenly turned his head, and a flower-like smile bloomed on his cute round little face. "Daddy, Mommy?" Now the little ones are over 1 year and 7 months old. They are very skilled at calling Daddy and Mommy. Their voices are so sweet and especially pleasant to hear. Yifan walked over with a smile, picked up Wu Bao, and kissed her little face. Xiaoyan ran. "Daddy will take you for a walk, okay?" Wu Bao immediately shook his head. No, I want it." As she spoke, her cute little hand pointed at the bronze fragment in Su Longyu's hand. Su Longyu shook the bronze fragment in her hand and said, "Yinran, you want to play with this? And let Daddy take you for a walk. If you walk for a stick of incense, I'll let you play with it, okay?" The little girl is almost 2 years old now, but she still can't walk, which makes Yifan and Sulongyu worried. Wu Bao opened his eyes wide, as if thinking, then nodded his head obediently and said to Yifan, "Daddy, the way. The way." Yifan smiled and said, "Okay, Daddy will take you for a walk." Then Yifan put the 5 treasures down, turned around, put his hands behind his back and gave Sulongyu a thumbs up. There are not many things that can interest Wu Bao, and since Sulongyu finally came across one, she naturally wanted to use it. She was very worried that by the time the 11th baby could walk, the 5th baby would still not be able to walk. I don't know if Wu Bao particularly likes the bronze fragments that Yifan brought back this time when Yifan takes her for a walk. She doesn't need Yifan takes her for a walk. She doesn't need Yifan to hold her, and walks happily by herself. Yifan turned around and looked at Sulongyu. Both of them saw the helpless smile of, as expected, in each other's eyes. Look, Wu Bao doesn't really not know how to walk, he just doesn't want to walk. When you want to leave in no time and show them. An incense stick of time passed quickly. Wu Bao walked to Yifan happily and called out sweetly, "Daddy." Then he pointed his cute little finger at the bronze fragment in Sulongyu's hand. Yifan smiled helplessly and tapped her little nose, saying lovingly, "You little smart guy, you know that it's a good thing. You want to play with it, right? You can play with it." Sulongyu has checked this fragment of magical treasure. A magic power inside has not been activated, and it has no offensive power if it is given to a child who has not yet embarked on the path to immortality to play with. It is just like a piece of scrap copper and iron, there is no problem. Sulongyu placed the fragments on a small stool. Wu Bao immediately walked over happily, and sat on the small stool that Yifan brought to her. Her little hands excitedly grabbed the fragment, that was 10 cm in diameter and resembled a small round mirror. The bronze fragments were too heavy for the little girl to lift, so she could only feel them with her little hands. And he looked up and said excitedly to Yifan and Sulongyu, "I like it, I like it. Of course, I like it. Daddy." As if she knew that the treasure was brought back by Yifan, she started to act coquettously towards him again. Even though he is less than 2 years old, he is very smart. And I know that I need to find the right person to act coquettously. Yifan smiled and said, "Let Ran play with it for now, but you have to listen to your father and mother and what more, okay? This is definitely the one who loves lying down the most among all the children." Normally Da Bao and his friends would often fight, quarrel, pull each other, cry and scream, roll on the ground, etc. As for food, Wu Bao would always watch them quarreling quietly, and occasionally laugh, as if he was the only one sober while everyone else was drunk. Wu Bao nodded his little head excitedly, and then lowered his head and continued to touch the fragments of the spiritual treasure, as if he liked it very much. Da Bao and the others came running in from outside and saw Wu Bao playing with the fragments. They immediately ran to Wu Bao in a hurry. Now Da Bao runs away very quickly. Erbio and the others need to go slower. The 4 little guys surrounded Wu Bao in a swarm. When Da Bao tried to snatch the broken pieces, Wu Bao simply let go and blinked his cute big eyes, showing no intention of snatching from Da Bao at all. Da Bao grabbed the fragments and tried to lift them up, but found that he couldn't. Too heavy. Erbio curiously touched the fragments with his fingers. Sanbao just opened his big eyes and looked at the new toy curiously. Sibao came over, lowered his head and started to lick the remaining pieces. As for Sibao's habit of licking anything new he saw, Yifan and Sulongyu tried to teach him in various ways at the beginning, but they were simply unable to teach him well in the end. They could only leave it alone, as long as he didn't lick anything poisonous. After licking it for a few times, he found it unpalatable. Sibao immediately turned around and ran to Yifan with disgust. "Daddy, eat, Yi is hungry." Chapter 209, The Holy Son of the Moon-Grabbing Sect. In a courtyard in King Long Fairy City, Tang Hong or Yui's grandson Tang Fang Xuan arrived. Tang Fang Xuan looked like a middle-aged man in his 30s, with a slightly frown between his brows, as if he was troubled by something. He was in the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. Fang Xuan greets Elder Wen. Tang Fang Xuan cupped his hands and bowed to Wen Shan Qing, who was sitting in the first seat. Wen Shan Qing nodded. "Uncle Fang Xuan," Su only called out to Tang Fang Xuan with a smile. Tang Fang Xuan nodded, a smile forming on his lips. "I haven't seen Miss Wanli for many years. You have become even more graceful and elegant." Su only blinked mischievously. "I didn't expect Uncle Fang Xuan to have such good taste." After greeting each other, Tang Hong Yui eagerly called Tang Fang Xuan over and said, "Xuaner, Grandpa found a good elixir for you." As he spoke, Tang Hong Yui took out a jade box, inside which were the 10 pills of prosperity and blessings that he had bought from Yulian Xuan. Tang Fang Xuan took the jade box and asked, "Grandpa, why are you calling me here so urgently? What is this medicine?" Tang Hong Yui glared at Tang Fang Xuan. "What do you think?" Tang Fang Xuan thought of something. His expression darkened, and then he said, "I'm sorry to trouble you, Grandpa. Actually, my problem may really be insolvable. You don't have to go to so much trouble to search for elixirs for me. You little brat, you don't have any back pain when you talk while standing, do you? It was your grandfather who went down to the ground first, not you, so you don't have to be afraid of meeting our Tang family's ancestors. Okay. Eat one first. You brought your wife here, right? After you eat, go find your wife. Tang Hong Yui said with a grunt. Ang Fang Xun felt a little embarrassed this time. His grandfather had specifically told him to bring a wife or concubine with him. He had no choice but to bring his wife Shen Su Ying, who happened to be with him. However, because his wife was not from the Lan Yu sect, he didn't know why his grandfather wanted to see him, so he settled his wife in another inn in the Immortal City and came here alone. Su Only asked curiously. Grandpa Tang, what kind of elixir did you give Uncle Fang Xun? Tang Hong Yui smiled kindly and said, what do you, a little kid, know about this? How is your practice of 10,000 swords technique going? I, your Grandpa Tang, am here to give you some pointers. Su Only immediately raised her hands in surrender, indicating that she would not ask any more questions. Her main practice was not the Lan Yu sect's top-notch martial arts technique, 10,000 swords technique, but an ancient book, the axe technique of creation of heaven and earth, that she found in the sect's library and was suitable for her practice. However, everyone in the Lan Yu sect knows the 10,000 swords technique. But she, the daughter of the sect leader, doesn't know it, and is often brought up by the supreme elders. Seeing that Su Only was no longer curious, Tang Hong Yui turned around and glared at Tang Fang Xun. Tang Fang Xun sighed and had to open the jade box under the supervision of his grandfather. He took out a pill from the jade box. Ever since his grandfather found out that he couldn't have children, he had been finding all kinds of elixirs or detokins for him to take that could help him have children. He has been taking them for hundreds of years. From time to time, he would take him to see a folk doctor, and then he would eat and drink a variety of herbal elixirs and so on. There is even acupuncture and so on. After 20 years of unsuccessful attempts to cure his infertility, he had given up, but his grandfather persisted. From time to time, I would find some folk elixirs for him to take. Once he really didn't want to eat it, and threw one away. His grandfather found out and was furious. After that, every time his grandfather found the pill, he would personally supervise him and make him eat it in front of his grandfather to make sure he really ate it. At this moment, Su Only saw the pill in Tang Fang Xun's hand and recognized it at a glance. It was the elixir of fertility and good fortune refined by Yifan. Because she was right next to him when he was refining the elixir. Uncle Fang Xun. Su Only couldn't help but shout out. Tang Fang Xun looked at Su Only. Tang Hong Yui narrowed his eyes. Xiao Only, how is your practice of 10,000 swords technique going? Su Only immediately covered her mouth with both hands and shook her little head. Oh, my god. Her grandpa Tang was so cruel that he actually made Uncle Fang Xun eat the pills made by Dabao and the other's father. Should she remind him? Tang Fang Xun took a pill for fertility and good fortune, just like he did every time he took pills. Tang Hong Yui thought for a moment and said, to be on the safe side, take another one. Tang Fang Xun felt that the taste of this pill was okay, with a fresh herbal fragrance. It was not as bitter or spicy as the pills he had taken before, so he obediently took another one. At this moment, Su Only's mouth was wide open. When Shan King sent a telepathic message to Su Only, pay attention to your image, you opened your mouth so wide. Are you going to eat a cow? Su Only quickly closed her mouth, wanting to tell Wen Shan King 1,000 words in her heart that it was the pill made by Yifan. However, because of the presence of Yuan Ying Grand Elder Tang Hong Yui, she did not dare to send a message to her mother casually, because there is a high probability that Tang Hong Yui will hear it. Now that Tang Hong Yui was here, when her mother took her away from Wienxin Island, she also warned her in many ways not to tell anyone about what happened on Wienxin Island, and not to mention Yifan and the babies, and absolutely not to let anyone in the sect know that her sister and brother-in-law were not only together but also had more than a dozen babies. When Tang Hong Yui saw that Tang Fang Xun had taken to pills of prosperity and fertility, he nodded with satisfaction. Then he waved his hand and asked Tang Fang Xun to go find his wife, and reminded him not to delay the efficacy of the medicine, saying that this time the pill had miraculous effects. After Tang Fang Xun left, Tang Hong Yui sent Su Only out to play, saying that he had something important to discuss with Wen Shan King. After Su Only left, Tang Hong Yui complained to Wen Shan King about the problem of his grandson's infertility. The entire Lan Yu sect's top leadership knew about this, because Tang Hong Yui was really worried about this moment. Afterwards, Tang Hong Yui said to Wen Shan King with a gleam in his old eyes that it was a blessing that he came here to deal with things from Emperor Yingzong. Otherwise, he would not have come to King Long Fairy City, and would not have been lucky enough to buy the elixir for fertility and good fortune in the Fairy City. Wen Shan King, the pill for more children and more blessings, isn't the new type of elixir that Yifan sells in Yuliang Xuan called the pill of prosperity and fertility? Anghong or Yui nodded. Yes, I bought it in a relatively small store Yuliangshuan. I have verified that this elixir can indeed solve the problem of infertility for some people. Now I have to see if this elixir is useful for my ex-Yuaner. If it doesn't work, I will go and see the alchemist who made the fertility pill and ask him to diagnose my ex-Yuaner in person. If this trip can cure my son's infertility, it will solve the problem that has troubled me for hundreds of years. When Shan Qing's expression was a little strange. She finally understood why her little daughter looked so shocked when she saw the elixir just now, and why her mouth opened as wide as if she was going to eat a cow when she saw Ding Feng Xuan was about to eat the elixir. Now that she knew the details, she couldn't suppress it anymore. That elixir was made with Da Bao and his friend's poop. However, she controlled her expression very well, then changed the subject and asked Tang Hong or Yui what important matter he wanted to talk to her about. Tang Hong or Yui said seriously. Before I left the sect this time, the Supreme Elders held a meeting, but because you were not there at the time, they did not inform you. We're going to restart the show after you come back, so we can talk about that big thing first. Wen Shan King, what's the big deal? Hang Hong or Yui, the Saint Girl has already broken through to the late Jindan stage and will soon reach the Yuan Ying stage. Our Supreme Elders believe that it is time to select the Saint Son of our Lan Yu sect. Chapter 210. Selection Criteria for the Son of God. When Shan King almost dropped the cup of water in her hand. Seeing this, Tang Hong or Yui said, Junior sister Wen, there's no need to be so surprised. The Saint Sons of Luoyun sect and Qianji sect have already been selected, but the Saint Son of our Lan Yu sect has not yet started to be selected. It is indeed time to put it on the agenda. When Shan King coughed lightly and said, Brother Tang, if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have almost forgotten about it. Have you come up with any ideas on the selection criteria for this year's Holy Son? Ang Hong or Yui raised his chin and said proudly, the Saintess of our Lan Yu sect is so outstanding. She has already broken through to the late Jindan stage at the age of just over 20. It won't be difficult for her to become a god and transcend the tribulation to become a true immortal in the future. Of course, the Saint's son must be able to match our Saintess. In the last term, Junior sister, you were the saint daughter of our Lan Yu sect. To put it bluntly, your daughter Yu Yu's performance on the path of Taoism, as well as her mutated spiritual roots, are better than yours. Therefore, our requirements for the Saint's son are greater than the requirements for the sect master to be the Saint's son. First, the Holy Son must at least have mutant spiritual roots. We don't value natural spiritual roots. Second, he also needs to have a natural spiritual body. This spiritual body cannot be weak, it must be of the highest quality. Third, he must be at least 30 years old and his cultivation must be at least in the late Jindan stage. His cultivation cannot be lower than that of our Saint Lady. Fourth, Tang Hong or Yui counted on his fingers while talking about his requirements for the Holy Son. When Shan King's hand holding the water cup was shaking, it seems that, except for the age of 30 or below, Yifan does not meet the other requirements. I watched Tang Hong or Yui still counting on his fingers his requirements, including appearance, height, family background, character, personality, etc. When Shan King didn't hear much, raised his hand to interrupt, and said, Brother Tang, aren't the requirements for the selection of the Holy Son a bit too high? Tang Hong or Yui, who was speaking with great interest, was obviously stunned when he heard this. He first looked at Wen Shan King in disbelief, and then his image immediately became much higher. He stood on the moral high ground and educated Wen Shan King. Junior sister Wen, Yu is your biological daughter. In the future, the Holy Son is very likely to become your son-in-law. On T, you want your son-in-law to be better? What's more, Yu is so outstanding, and only a more outstanding Saint Son is worthy of her. Otherwise, none of us, the Supreme Elders, will do it. When Shan King realized that he had said something wrong, and said with a forced smile, I'm just worried that the requirements are too high. There are very few male cultivators in our sect who meet these requirements. Ang Hong or Yui immediately said in all seriousness, the Holy Son of our Lan Yu sect is 1 in a million. Naturally, the requirements are high. When Shan King said, Brother Tang is right. But my husband Changming has just entered the Tianzu secret realm for less than a year. For such a big event as selecting the Holy Son, should we wait until he leaves the Tianzu secret realm to discuss it together? Otherwise, I am worried that when he comes out, he will see that we have privately selected the Holy Son, and he will definitely be unhappy. After all, the Holy Son of our Lan Yu sect will most likely become my and Changming's son-in-law in the future. It would still be better if he, the future father-in-law, could pick it himself. Su Changming, you must stay in the Tianzu secret realm for 100 years before coming out. 100 years later, Yifan should, possibly, have reached the late stage of the Golden Core. Yimu Dharmakamaka should, possibly, have been cultivated. As for other requirements that are not met, we will find a solution when the time comes. This rigid standard must be met in order to be listed as a candidate for the Son of God. Tang Hong or Yui, I will discuss what you said with the Supreme Elders, but we can start selecting candidates for the Holy Son now. First, select a few candidates for the Holy Son. When the time comes, wait for the sect master to leave the Tianzi's secret realm, and then hold a ceremony to select the true holy son. When Shan King nodded in approval, then asked Tang Hong Yui about the last time they had a meeting and talked about several disciples who might be candidates for becoming the holy son. Tang Hong Yui mentioned 3 names. They are Gu Waianqing, Li Shuyan and Fang Shichu. These 3 people are the most outstanding geniuses among the younger generation of Lan Yu sect. When Shan King was worried about Yifan in her heart, I was thinking, very good, Gu Waianqing, Li Shuyan, Fang Shichu. Your ancestor has recorded you all in my little notebook. In the future, when there are dangerous secret trials or battles with geniuses, you all must go on the field. After discussing this matter, Tang Hong Yui then talked to Wen Shan King about another important matter that required him to do near King Luoyang Immortal City during this period of time. At this moment, in a deep mountain 1 month away from Wianxin Island, suddenly, a formation-like shield appeared, and then, in the middle of the formation, a male cultivator with tattered clothes and several scars on his face appeared. This male cultivator is none other than Ling Hukan, Fairy Kaier's husband who had been missing for a year. As soon as Ling Hukan came out, he immediately looked up to the sky and howled, "Damn it, I finally got out of that damn place." At this point, his expression suddenly changed, becoming extremely ferocious, gritting his teeth, as if he wanted to eat raw meat and drink blood immediately. Every word he uttered was filled with strong hatred. "Wei Cheng, are you I? How dare you trick me? I treated you as a good brother, but you actually cheated me like this. If it weren't for my incredible luck, I would have died in this secret realm. Wei Cheng, are you I? Now that I'm out, you must die." Just as he finished speaking, he sensed something and his face suddenly changed. He immediately turned into a ray of light and quickly fled in one direction as if escaping for his life. With all kinds of acceleration, talisman slapped on his body without pang. Fortunately, his Taoist partner, Fairy Kaier, was a second-level talisman master. She prepared a lot of talismans for him when he went out. This time the other cultivators who entered the secret realm with him were not so lucky. They could not resist one by one and died in the end. He was the only one who walked out of the secret realm alive. After Ling Hukan left, another person appeared above the formation where he appeared before. This person's appearance was very different from that of the cultivators in the immortal world. He was not wearing a robe, but a fur coa that was holding animal bones in his hands, and his hair was tied into small braids. Like someone who came out of a wild world. He looked in the direction where Ling Hukan left, but did not chase him rashly. Instead, he looked around, said a few obscure words that were not commonly used in the world of immortal cultivation, and then disappeared in the magic circle. The escaped Ling Hukan did not return to Lefeng Island immediately, but hurried to where Wei Cheng Yui lived. However, he was told that Wei Cheng Yui had left a year ago, and was said to have gone to Lefeng Island in Yanshu County. Upon hearing this, Ling Hukan suddenly thought of something. He was so angry that he blew up Wei Cheng Yui's cave and ran towards Lefeng Island. After more than a year of life and death escape in the secret realm, Ling Hukan's cultivation base increased rapidly. He broke through from the late stage of foundation building to the great perfection of foundation building and was about to form a pill. As soon as he returned to Lefeng Island, Ling Hukan saw Fairy Kaier with a bulging belly, and he was completely shocked. Chapter 211 Relics. As usual, Shen Mailan came to Wianxin Island to check on Dabao, Erbio 11th Bao and the others. I focused on Babio, because Yifan had brought back Nanxing grass from the Diapian mountains and refined Qingxing pills, which he gave to Babio to eat for more than 2 months. The weak symptoms that the little guy had suffered since he was born were greatly alleviated. Babio is now more than 4 months old. Although his weight is still not as high as his older sisters, the gap has narrowed compared to before. Shen Mailan prescribed some tonic medicines, and while drinking tea in the flower hall, she told Yifan and Su Longyu about an interesting incident that happened recently in Yanshu County. It is said that Fairy Kaier's husband, Ling Hukan, had gone to a secret realm and disappeared for more than a year. Many people thought that Ling Hukan died in the secret realm, and Fairy Kaier probably also thought that Ling Hukan was dead. Later, Fairy Kaier brought a male cultivator who was in the middle stage of foundation building and was quite good looking. His name was Wei Cheng Yui. He said that he was a good friend of Ling Hukan. It was also said that before Ling Hukan went to the secret realm, he asked Wei Cheng Yui to take care of Fairy Kaier. Afterwards, a calamity cultivator appeared in Yanshu County, so Wei Cheng Yui went to Lefeng Island to take care of Fairy Kaier. This Wei Cheng Yui, Island Master Yi and Fairy Yu, you two should have met before, Shen Mailan said after taking a sip of tea. Yifan nodded. Shen Mailan continued, then here comes the key point. A few days ago, Ling Hukan came back, and he broke through to the late stage of foundation building. The most important thing is that after Ling Hukan came back, he found that Fairy Kaier's abdomen was bulging, and she was about to give birth. Ling Hukan has been gone for more than a year, and Fairy Kaier is about to give birth again. She has been pregnant for 10 months. This child is definitely not Ling Hukan's. I heard from people on Lefeng Island that the child is Wei Cheng Rui's. Fan. It is true. When he first met Wei Cheng Rui, he felt that Ling Hukun's way of entrusting his wife to the care of his friends was too green. Unexpectedly, Ling Hukun was really cheated. Su Longyu ate a big melon and asked, then what? Next time, I can't entrust Fan to Chen Juaner's care. Lessons from the past. Remember. Beware of fire, theft and best friends. Chen Mailan said. Ling Hukun still loves Fairy Kaiyar. When he found out that he was cheated on, he didn't kill Fairy Kaiyar, but just controlled her. Then he searched the whole island for Wei Cheng Rui, but didn't find him on Lefeng Island. He searched the whole Yanshu County for Wei Cheng Rui, but still couldn't find him. Finally, Fairy Kaiyar told him that Wei Cheng Rui had been missing for several months. He then drove Fairy Kaiyar out of Yanshu County, and ordered her not to enter Yanshu County for the rest of her life. Finally, there's something even more exciting. Chen Mailan took another sip of tea. It was obvious that this girl also loved to eat melons. Chen Mailan. Last I heard from the monks on Lefeng Island that after Ling Hukun drove Fairy Kaiyar away, he castrated himself. He said that in order to form a golden elixir, one must first castrate oneself, cut off the ties of love. Fan took a breath. My goodness. This is such a huge stimulation. Fan touched his chin and thought of Zuchan, she's humanoid puppet. That puppet also lost the thing. It seemed that its cultivation speed was indeed very fast. Then he immediately shook his head. If a monk cannot overcome lust, how can he talk about achieving immortality? So it is best to be healthy. He is doing pretty well now. Not long after Shen Mailan left, Ling Hukun arrived at Wei Nxan Island. Seeing Ling Hukun, Fan smiled and said, congratulations to fellow Taoist Ling Hu for breaking through to the great perfection of foundation building. You will soon form a pill. Ling Hukun probably couldn't laugh, but he still managed to force a somewhat stiff smile politely. Thank you, fellow Taoist Yi. When talking about this, his face suddenly darkened again. Then he went straight to the point and asked Fan if he had met Wei Cheng Rui. And he briefly told Fan about the hatred between him and Wei Cheng Rui, including how he tricked him into going to the secret realm, and how he slept with his Taoist partner under the pretext of taking care of him and even got him pregnant. Finally he sighed again, saying that it was a good thing that Fan did not enter the secret realm with him that time, otherwise, he would not have said anything more. However, from the expression on his face and the 3 scars on his face, it can be seen that he must have been in danger and faced life and death many times to get out of the secret realm. Shen Mailan had told him about Ling Hukun before, so he knew that Ling Hukun would come looking for him. Therefore, he did not hide the fact that Wei Cheng Rui died on Wei Nxan Island. He immediately took out a jade slip and handed it to Ling Hukun. Wei Cheng Rui joined forces with a team of robbers to attack our Wei Nxan Island several months ago, and finally died on our Wei Nxan Island. When Ling Hukun's spiritual sense probed into the jade slip, he saw an ordinary-looking male cultivator with blood vessels swelling and floating on the surface, and finally bleeding from all 7 orifices. While bleeding from all 7 orifices, the male cultivator's facial features changed, and finally the true appearance of Wei Cheng Rui was revealed. Immediately afterwards, Wei Cheng Rui's head exploded with a bang. This is the scene recorded by Su Longyu when Wei Cheng Rui attacked Wei Nxan Island that day. Although the demon star vine did not appear in the scene, the symptoms that appeared to have infected Wei Cheng Rui, and his final self-explosion, also shocked Ling Hukun to the core. He knew that although Wei Cheng Rui was in the middle stage of foundation building, he was a second-level intermediate grade alchemist who could refine foundation building pills and had accumulated many means and trump cards. Even if he was in the late stage of foundation building and faced Wei Cheng Rui head-on, he might not be able to kill Wei Cheng Rui. But now, he has reached the late stage of foundation building, and has also gained some great opportunities in the secret realm. There is absolutely no problem for him to kill Wei Cheng Rui. However, it is impossible to make Wei Cheng Rui self-destruct like this. It feels that Wei Cheng Rui's death is somewhat demonic. Thinking of this, his consciousness withdrew from the jade slip, and then the look he gave Fan became different from before. With more respect. This is respect that comes from strength. Even though he has already achieved great perfection in foundation building, and is half a step away from forming a golden elixir, he cannot underestimate Wei Nxan Island. Fellow Taoist Yi, thank you for killing this evil villain. I feel much better knowing that he is dead. I was so blind that I actually befriended such a wicked villain. After complaining for a while, Ling Hukun told Fan about something. After hearing this, Fan was slightly surprised. There really is such a precious place. Ling Hukun nodded. It's full of precious spiritual medicines, and there are many third-level spiritual trees and spiritual fruits. The resources are very rich and the spiritual energy is sufficient. It is dozens of times more than the resources here. Many rare immortal cultivation resources that we don't have here are available there. However, there is a witch king in charge there, and there are many great witches. It is extremely dangerous. The witch king has the strength of our late Jindan ancestor. A great wizard has the strength of the foundation building cultivators here. It is indeed a ruins place that has not been developed for a long time. The area inside the ruins is also very vast anyway. I have escaped inside for a year and have not walked half of the place. That is not a small secret realm, it should be the secret realm of a certain large sect in the past, however. Because that large sect was destroyed or disappeared in the long river of time, that secret realm has not been opened for a long time. The resources inside are very rich. I even suspect that the reason why the witch kings inside did not break through to the nascent soul realm is because it is only in the secret realm, and the laws of heaven are not complete, so they cannot break through to the nascent soul realm, or there is some kind of mysterious restriction, etc. Otherwise, with the rich immortal cultivation resources in the secret realm, I think those witch kings can definitely break through to the nascent soul realm in the long river of time. The reason why he told Yi Fan about this was because Yi Fan, of his strength at the early stage of foundation building, caused Wei Cheng Rui, who was in the middle stage of foundation building, to die strangely, which made him unaware of Yi Fan's strength, and he wanted to establish a good relationship with Yi Fan. Secondly, the formation in the ruins was opened, and he escaped, and the witches in the ruins could also come out. Such a big event would definitely be discovered by the nearby sects soon. He could not keep this secret, so he might as well sell it to Yi Fan first. Chapter 212. Yuan Ying Patriarch comes to ask for pills. It has been more than 2 months since Tang Fang Xuan took the elixir for fertility and happiness, but unfortunately, Tang Fang Xuan's wife Shin Su Ying is not pregnant. During this period, not only did Tang Fang Xuan take the pill for prosperity and fertility, but Tang Hong Rui also felt, but the pill really had miraculous effects. He also tried to have Tang Fang Xuan and Shin Su Ying take the pill for prosperity and fertility at the same time, and then have sex immediately afterwards. However, Shin Su Ying did not get pregnant. Tang Hong Rui asked Tang Fang Xuan to call 2 more concubines, but still none of them got pregnant. This made Tang Hong Rui worried. 10 pills, I bought 10 duo pills. But Sunur's disease still cannot be cured. Others can make their wives pregnant by taking 1 pill. This pill is really effective, but just as the seller at Yu Yangxuan said, it only has an 80 success rate. My XUNR happens to be in the 20 range that cannot be cured. Tang Hong Rui sighed, but did not hesitate. He immediately changed his appearance again, and became the old man who went to Yu Yangxuan for the first time to buy the fertility and fortune pill. He went to Yu Yangxuan and found Manager Fan. Manager Fan was deeply impressed by Tang Hong Rui because when the first batch of fertility and fortune pills were sold, Tang Hong Rui was the first customer to buy it, and he bought 10 pills at once. Tang Hong Rui told Manager Fan that his grandson and granddaughter-in-law were still unable to conceive after taking the fertility and fortune pill. He then asked Manager Fan if he could recommend an alchemist who could make the fertility and fortune pill to him. While saying this, Tang Hong Rui stuffed a medium-grade spirit stone into Manager Fan's hands. Manager Fan did not accept the bribe, saying that he needed to consult the alchemist first, and that the alchemist did not meet people easily. Tang Hong Rui said yes. After Tang Hong Rui left, Manager Fan did not contact Yi Fan immediately and continued to do his daily work. A few days later, when he went to Yu Yangxuan material purchasing store to get his daily materials, he told Song Nanyan about this matter and asked Song Nanyan to convey the message to Yi Fan when he went to Wienxin Island to deliver magic tools and other supplies to Yi Fan. Half a month later, Zhong Nanyan arrived at Wienxin Island. First, he handed over the store matters to Yi Fan, and then told Yi Fan that an old foundation building cultivator named Tang had purchased 10 pills when Yu Yangxuan first sold the multiplication and blessings pill. After finishing speaking, he handed a jade slip to Yi Fan. The jade slip contained the appearance of Tang Hong Rui after he had his face changed, as recorded by Manager Fan. Manager Fan is a cautious person. Tang Hong Rui was generous enough to buy 10 elixirs of fertility and good fortune at one time. Now, he wants to find an alchemist who can make such elixirs. She doesn't know whether Tang Hong Rui is a real customer or someone else, such as an evil cultivator who wants to kidnap Yi Fan and imprison Yi Fan secretly to make elixirs for him for profit. In short, it's always better to be careful. After Yi Fan looked at Tang Hong Rui's appearance, he thought of something and asked Zhong Nanyan to go down and rest first. And then he went to find Su Longyu. Some time ago, when he was controlling Zhu Chunxi's humanoid puppet to train outside, he met his sister-in-law Su Wanli. Su Wanli sent him a telepathic message and excitedly told him that the grandson of their Lam, Yu Sec's supreme elder, had eaten the fertility and fortune pill he had refined. She also said a lot of things about how she saw the other party eating the pill with her own eyes, and said that the other party also bought a lot of fertility and fortune pills. He immediately thought of the old man in the middle stage of foundation building who was the first person to buy the elixir when he first sold it and who then bought 10 pills in one go. He was next door at the time, so he saw the other person's appearance. Thinking of how his mother-in-law would often go shopping in the Immortal City, and the marketplace to show off her cultivation level at the foundation establishment stage or the key refining stage, He guessed that the old man who bought the 10 pills was Tang Hongyui, the grand elder of the Lan Yu sect mentioned by Su Longli. After returning to Wenxin Island, he told Su Longyu about this. After Yi Fan met Su Longyu, he showed her the jade slip with Tang Hongyui's portrait recorded on it, and said that this was the old man in the middle stage of foundation building that he had told her about before. After Su Longyu looked at the portrait, she frowned and said, "This is indeed our Lan Yu sect's Grand Elder Tang Hongyui, Grand Elder Tang." Su Longyu had just confirmed this from Wen Shan King and was about to find Yi Fan to tell him, when Yi Fan happened to come over with a portrait of Tang Hongyui in disguise. "Yi Fan, don't worry, he doesn't know about us, he is really buying the elixir for his grandson." Then, Su Longyu told Yi Fan that Tang Hongyui's grandson Tang Fang Xuan had been unable to have children, and that Tang Hongyui had been worrying about this for the past 100 years. Finally, Su Longyu said, "Now that he has come to you and wants you to see his grandson in person, it's not a bad thing. If you really cure his grandson's infertility, he will definitely have a very good impression of you. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work, at least he confirmed that the elixir you make can indeed cure infertility. He got to know your ability up close." Yi Fan nodded, and then asked, "Who is more powerful, him or my mother-in-law?" Su Longyu, Grand Elder Tang is in the middle stage of the nascent soul. He is my mother's senior brother. He is more than 800 years older than my mother and has been in the middle stage of the nascent soul for hundreds of years. Yi Fan. Damn, is it that awesome? When one reaches the nascent soul stage, it becomes more difficult to kill enemies in a lower realm. Even a late nascent soul stage enemy can easily kill an early nascent soul stage enemy. The difference in magic power is huge. A few days later, Yi Fan and Zhong Nanyan returned to King Long Immortal City together, and Yi Fan met Tang Hongyui in Yuliangshuan. For a real person at the middle stage of the nascent soul realm, it was useless for him to change his appearance, as he could be recognized at a glance. Just like when he used a 100 changing mask to disguise himself as Taoist Chan Yan in the fake Den Renlin was recognized by his mother-in-law at a glance. Therefore, he directly communicated with Tang Hongyui using his real body. Tang Hongyui brought Tang Fang Xuan with him. This time Tang Fang Xuan did not change his appearance, but his cultivation level was at the initial stage of foundation building. Before coming to King Long Fairy City, Su Longyu had already introduced Tang Hongyui's family to him in detail, including their ancestors and descendants, including their realm, cultivation, personality, etc. So he knew that Tang Fang Xuan was a cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core. Fortunately, he had lived with his mother-in-law who was in the nascent soul stage for a long time before, and had been with Su Longyu who was in the late Golden Core stage day and night. So, even at this moment, he knew in his heart that Tang Hongyui in front of him was in the middle nascent soul stage and Tang Fang Xuan was in the middle Golden Core stage. He did not feel nervous at all, and it was very natural. Yi Fan is not a doctor, but he is now a second-level lower-grade alchemist. He also personally improved and refined the elixir that can bring prosperity and happiness, so he has done some research on infertility. While taking Tang Fang Xuan's pulse, he smiled inwardly. He can cure this disease by building a good relationship with the great elder of the Lan Yu sect who is in the middle stage of the nascent soul stage. You will have more connections when you run for the saint son of the Lan Yu sect in the future. After he was sure that it could be cured, his expression became more and more serious. Chapter 213 Earn a favor from the Yuan Ying Patriarch. This expression made Tang Hongyui a little flustered. A little bit of hope that Tang Fang Xuan had just ignited sank back to the bottom of the lake in an instant. During the more than 2 months he stayed in King Long Fairy City, he also found out that the fertility and happiness pills sold by Yuliangshuan are really effective in treating infertility. It's just a probability, but the cure rate is still very high. So when Tang Hongyui called Yi Fan to treat him this time, he still held a glimmer of hope deep in his heart. But when he saw Yi Fan's expression, he knew that his disease was really incurable. Tang Hongyui was more expectant, although he was a little nervous. He suppressed his panic and asked, "Master Yi Dan, how is it?" Yi Fan put down his hand that was feeling Tang Fang Xuan's pulse, frowned, and said seriously, "Your grandson's illness is indeed very serious." Tang Hongyui's heart skipped a beat. And he continued to ask, "Can Master Yi make a pill that can cure my grandson's infertility? Price is not an issue. As long as my Zuner's illness can be cured, I can accept any amount of spiritual stones." Yi Fan took a sip of tea, his eyebrows twisted into a shape, and said in a deep voice, "It's not that there is no way, but it will take a long time to successfully refine the elixir that can cure your grandson's disease. It may take half a year, several years, or even decades. I can't give a specific time limit. In fact, he could refine the elixir right now, because he only needed to add more longevity magic power when refining this furnace of elixirs. However, if he refined it so quickly, on the one hand, Tang Hongyui would definitely think that this was too simple, and would not take it seriously. On the other hand, It cured Tang Fang Xun's disease that had not been cured for hundreds of years in one goddess was not in line with his current low-key and steady approach. If you wait for half a year or two to cure it, it will be much better. When Tang Hongmui heard this, he immediately smiled and slapped his thigh hard, saying, Okay, time is no problem, we can wait for decades, or even hundreds of years as long as it can be cured. For months of their level, a retreat lasts for several decades. Master Yi, regardless of whether you can cure my Zuner stillness or not, these 3 high-grade spirit stones are my advance payment for the consultation. After you really cure my Zuner stillness, I will give Master Yi another 10 high-grade spirit stones. Also, I personally owe Master Yi a favor. Yifan didn't expect that Tang Hongmui, the nascent soul patriarch, would be so generous. He gave out 3 high-quality spirit stones at once. After recovery, there will be 10 high-quality spirit stones left. This medical fee already made Yifan happy. But he didn't expect to get an additional favor from an old ancestor in the middle stage of the nascent soul. This deal made a lot of money. If anyone dares to mess with me in the future, I will release the ancestor of the middle stage of the nascent soul directly. The alchemist's connections are indeed extraordinary. The connections of a powerful pharmacist are even more terrifying. No wonder his mother-in-law was shocked when the third-level pharmacist Zhang Heman wanted to accept him as a true disciple after he rejected Zhang Heman. His mother-in-law told him twice to reconsider it and told him about Zhang Heman's connections, etc. But he still refused at that time. Because there is a price to pay for gaining. And he has his own little secrets, so he doesn't want to become a disciple easily. A few days later, the news of the Xiaoshushan ruins spread like a gust of wind throughout King Long Immortal City, various major markets and among independent cultivators. The Xiaoshushan ruins are exactly the ancient secret place from which Ling Hukan escaped. Because the ruins are located at the border of the jurisdiction of Yingzhong in Qiuyue Valley, these 2 major sects were the first to discover the ruins after Ling Hukan came out. And they immediately sent disciples to surround the ruins. Casual cultivators can forget about entering. After Yingzhong and Qiuyue had a fight for the ownership of the ruins, and neither side was able to defeat the other, they sat down to talk. Because this relic appeared for the first time, and from the situation outside the formation it can be seen that this relic has existed for thousands of years, so it alarmed the nascent soul ancestors of the 2 major sects from the beginning. After the 2 Yuan Ying ancestors reached an agreement, they prepared to enter the ruins together and flatten the inside of the ruins first. But they found that neither of them could enter the ruins. There are restrictions within the ruins. The 2 sides conducted experiments many times and finally found that only disciples in the early Jindan stage or below could enter the ruins. Subsequently, the 2 sides began to form the first expedition team. Both parties are people of equal level. But the result shocked them greatly. The first expedition team had 4 people in the early stage of Jindan, 8 people in the late stage of foundation building, and 10 people in the middle stage of foundation building. However, within less than an incense stick of time after entering the ruins, all their soul lamps were extinguished. They had no idea what had happened inside the ruins. They only knew that all the members of the first expedition team that entered had died. The news inside the ruins cannot be transmitted to the outside. Even if a Jindan cultivator who entered the ruins brought a communication jade pendant, he would not be able to pass on any message. This discovery shocked and saddened the 2 major sects. After all, the death of 2 Jindan masters was a huge loss for their sects. Afterwards, the 2 major sects sent invitations to the other 5 major sects in the lower 7 sects, as well as the 3 major sects in the upper 3 sects, inviting them to jointly develop the Xiaoshushan ruins. On Lefeng Island, a powerful wave of magical power spread. Yifan, who had returned to Wienxin Island, took off into the air and looked towards the direction of Lefeng Island. Sulong Yu also came to his side. Looking at the vortex of mana above Lefeng Island, Sulong Yu said, Ling Hukan is trying to form a golden elixir. But if he can't form a high-quality golden elixir, he should be able to form a fake one. A fake pill is a gray pill of poor quality, that is condensed when trying to form a pill. 3 days later, the fluctuations of magic power above Lefeng Island dissipated as expected. Ling Hukan failed to successfully form a golden elixir and condensed a gray elixir, becoming a fake elixir real person. A few days later, a communication talisman emitting green light floated to Yifan's warm island. The first time he saw a communication talisman of this color, Yifan's mouth twitched slightly. He stretched out his right hand, and the spiritual energy turned into a huge illusory hand, which grabbed the communication talisman that was flying around in the air like a headless fly. When he opened it, he saw that it was a communication talisman sent by Ling Hukan. The content was that he had successfully broken through to the Jindan stage a few days ago, and was planning to hold a small Jindan celebration in half a month, inviting Yifan and his family to Lefeng Island to attend the banquet. Although the condensed pill was a fake one, it was still extremely impressive for a casual cultivator. So a banquet is held to celebrate. If a golden elixir is condensed, it is the elixir forming ceremony. Condensing a fake pill is Shao King's pill formation. There are also some rules in how to express it. Ling Hu-kun gave himself a Taoist name, Green Light Immortal. When Yifan saw this number, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. It seems that fellow Taoist Ling Hu was deeply hurt by Fairy Kai. Even such an important Taoist name was directly named after the green light, to warn himself not to forget the shame of being cheated on. Chapter 214 Shock, Yifan, you are a second-level intermediate puppeteer. Ling Hu-kun has a top-grade spiritual root. And he also obtained a lot of treasures in the Shaoshu Mountain ruins. I didn't expect that this time when he tried to form a pill, he would only form a fake pill. It is extremely difficult for the immortal cultivators to condense a golden elixir. But I am still young, less than 20 years old, and my spiritual roots have already broken through to the upper grade. I also have the spiritual objects to form the golden elixir. And the materials for the magic fairy elixir are also being collected one after another. Moreover, my spiritual root points are also increasing day and night among the cultivators who form the golden elixir in the southern region. There must be a place for me, Yifan. Half a month later, because Su Lan Yu liked quietness, Yifan went to Lefang Island alone. Many cultivators were invited to Ling Hu-kun's Jindan celebration this time, including Du Yi, whom he had not seen for a year, Chen Mialan from Wang Yu Island, other unknown foundation building cultivators, and some cultivators from sects. After Yifan arrived at Lefang Island, the female warrior who was in charge of reception on the island enthusiastically took him to where Du Yi and the others were staying, and told Yifan that their island master was a little busy and would come to receive Yifan in person later. Yifan nodded. After the female receptionist left, Chen Qiaolan and Di greeted Yifan, and then Shen Mialan said, I didn't expect that fellow Taoist Ling Hu, after being betrayed by his friends and Taoist companions, was not affected by his state of mind and directly broke through to the false pill. Fake elixirs are also something that casual cultivators greatly desire. Although he could no longer break through after forming a false pill, his lifespan was much longer than that of a foundation building cultivator, and his combat power also achieved a qualitative leap. Because the magic power of the foundation building cultivator is still in liquid form, the fake pill real person has condensed the liquid magic power into gray pill, making the magic power more thick and solid. 3 fake elixir cultivators are comparable to an early golden elixir cultivator. Be thought of something and asked Shen Mialan, Dr. Shen, can self-castration really speed up the cultivation of male cultivators? Yifan heard this. Shen Mialan looked a little strange. Friend Du, don't let it get you down. He seemed to know something, then he looked up and sighed, I only have a middle-grade spiritual root. It is difficult for me to cultivate to the late stage of foundation building in this lifetime, let alone hope for a fake pill. Fake Dan. Chen Mialan also looked a little confused. Fake pill. Not long after, Ling Hu-kun came over with a high-spirited look on his face. The gloomy look from before due to being cheated on was gone, and his face was full of joy. Fellow Taoist Yi, fellow Taoist Du, fellow Taoist Shin. After saying hello, Ling Hu-kun told Yifan and the others about the Shaozhu Shan ruins. I'm sure all of you Taoist friends have heard of this relic, right? Shen Mialan nodded. Du Yi, well, Ying Long Immortal City also got to places, but these are matters for large sects and large chambers of commerce, and have nothing to do with us casual cultivators. Ling Hu-kun said. I got for places. Shen Mialan and Di looked at Ling Hu-kun in unison. Ling Hu-kun then said that he was able to break through to the fake pill this time because of an opportunity he got in the Shaoshu Shan ruins, otherwise he would not have been so successful in forming the pill. He then said that he had handed over some of his discoveries in the ruins to Emperor Yingzong, and exchanged them for 4 places to enter the ruins. I'll use one fellow Taoist Yi. Fellow Taoist Du, fellow Taoist Shen, are you interested in entering the ruins? In a month and a half. The lower 7 sects and upper 3 sects will send out the first expedition team to enter the ruins at that time, King Long Immortal City, the Chamber of Commerce. And those of us who have obtained quotas will follow them into the ruins, and our safety will be greatly guaranteed. After all, this time we have the Jind and early stage cultivators from the top 3 sects leading the charge. He immediately said excitedly, thank you, Senior Ling Hu, I'll go. I am now a second-level mid-grade formation master. Ling Hu-kun formed a fake pill, and according to the rules of the immortal cultivation world, the foundation building cultivators called him senior. Ling Hu-kun nodded, then looked at Shen Mialan. Shen Mialan seemed to have made some important decision, and finally gritted her teeth and said, Senior Ling Hu, I will go too. Although I am a second-level pharmacist, I am also a second-level intermediate poison master. Ling Hu-kun nodded, then looked at Yifan. Yifan, Senior Ling Hu, I have too many babies at home. Although there are no calamities now, I still don't feel comfortable with my wife taking care of the babies alone at home, so I won't go. Ling Hu-kun was a little surprised, but then he thought of how rich and ruthless Yifan's Taoist partner was, and he could understand it. Who would want to lick blood from the knife when they can just live off others? There was a flash of envy in his eyes as he looked at Yifan. The Yi and Shen Mailan also looked at Yifan in surprise, but Shen Mailan seemed to know something, so she didn't say much. The Yi persuaded Yifan to take part in the exploration of the Xiaoxushan ruins, saying that this opportunity was too rare and that ordinary cultivators usually had no chance to participate in such a secret realm with rich resources. Moreover, Ling Hukun did get a great opportunity to form a golden elixir in this secret realm. If they, the independent cultivators, enter the Xiaoshu mountain ruins this time, they may also be able to get a great opportunity to form a golden elixir. Forming the elixir, even if it turns into a gray pill or a fake pill, it will still be a big boss, and the lifespan can be increased by 150 years compared to the late stage of foundation building. Yifan still smiled and shook his head to refuse, and wished them a successful start. Yi thought about how Yifan had chosen not to go despite having been offered opportunities many times before, and in the end he could only shake his head helplessly and stop persuading him. After all, this trip to the Xiaoxushan ruins is indeed extremely dangerous. The first expedition team formed by Yingzong and Qiyu Valley was wiped out within a stick of incense after entering the ruins. However, independent cultivators are meant to fight against the heavens, so he would not miss this opportunity. After talking about this, Shen Mailan asked Ling Hukun about his experience in forming the elixir, and Ling Hukun generously shared some of it. After the party, Yifan was about to return to Yanexin Island. Yi sent him a message. Fellow Taoist Yi, wait a moment. Yi chased to Yifan's flying boat, and then chatted with Yifan, preparing to buy another batch of magic weapons and a spiritual weapon for the initial stage of foundation building from Yifan. Yifan sold a batch to him at the end. Yi scratched his head and asked Yifan if he had any puppets to sell. He said that the second level inferior green wolf monster puppet he bought last time was very powerful. It helped him kill the enemies by surprise during the three-way battle between King Long Immortal City and Emperor Yingzong. But now that puppet is scrapped, so I want to buy another one from Yifan. Yifan took out a second-level medium-quality blue wolf puppet that he had eliminated, and sold it to Yi at a friendly price in front of Yi's shocked expression, with only one condition, that is, if Yi could get out of the Xiaoxushan ruins this time, he would give priority to selling materials, elixirs and other resources. Yi agreed without hesitation, and said with an extremely excited expression, "Fellow Taoist Yi, you are really a hidden talent. Not only is you a second-level weapon refiner, but you are also a second-level mid-grade puppeteer." Chapter 215 Shen Xuan'er returns, the little ones call her godmother. After Yifan returned to Yanexin Island, he told Su Longyu what happened on Lefeng Island, including Ling Hukun's invitation for them to participate in the Xiaoxushan ruins, which he refused. Su Longyu nodded. The Xiaoxushan ruins are indeed too dangerous. The great elder of our sect who is at the level of God transformation used a secret treasure to test the Xiaoxushan ruins. The most powerful cultivators in the ruins are only at the late Jindan stage and have reached the great perfection stage. There are no cultivators or monsters with the combat power of the Yuanyin level. We have already communicated with the demon beasts and cultivators in the late Jindan stage in the ruins. When we send people into the ruins, they will not take action. Plus, this time we have a Jindan early stage cultivator from the top 3 sects leading the team, so the danger will be much lower. If you don't want to miss this relic, you can let your puppet go. As for the number of places, I'll tell my mother. Ethan didn't expect to get more information about the Xiaoxushan ruins from Su Longyu. She is worthy of being the empress. It's so cool to have a wife who is an empress. There is so much news. Yifan, wife, after hearing what you said, I think we can definitely go to the Xiaoxushan ruins this time. Okay, then I'll control the puppet over there. I am outside accompanying my wife and children, and raising funds. When everyone comes out of the ruins, I can buy a large number of materials from the ruins. Before in the Immortal City, GZ suggested storing more supplies for cultivating immortals, saying that the top leaders of the southern region were very likely to launch a war in the immortal world. From then on, he asked manager Fan Izong Nanyan to start selling things while stockpiling some supplies. Although the decision of the top management is likely to change, it is definitely a good idea to stockpile more supplies as long as it does not affect the operation of shops. Moreover, the Grand Elder of Lan Yu sect has come to King Long Immortal City and has not left. My mother-in-law has not left this border area since the Beast Tide ended last year. It seems that their upper echelons have been making preparations in secret for a long time. This battle for the ruins is a good opportunity to collect and stockpile supplies for cultivating immortality. 5 days later, a powerful cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core arrived on Yanexin Island. It's really cool to see it falling from the sky. It fell in front of Dabao and the others who were rolling happily in a puddle. Dabao and the other little clay figures climbed out of the puddle, raised their hands to wipe the mud around their eyes, and then looked at the woman with a confused look on their faces who was looking at them in surprise after she landed on the ground. Brother, who is she? Erbio asked, pointing at the beautiful woman in a pink and white dress. Dabao shook his head. Sanbao? Looking for daddy. Sibao shouted loudly, report to daddy and mommy, there is a bad silver intrusion. Wu Bao, who was not rolling in the mud with his brothers and sisters on the shore, blinked his cute big eyes and shouted, Godmother. The person who came was none other than Chen Chuaner, who had been in the secret realm for more than a year. Because Chen Chuaner's father, Chen Jie Yushan, discovered that Chen Chuaner would make calls to the outside world every day, and felt that this would affect Chen Chuaner's efficiency in killing monsters and practicing. He directly used a formation to block the transmission of information within the sect's secret realm, so that Chen Chuaner was unable to communicate with Su Longyu for 8 months. I haven't seen my godson and godraider for 8 months. And there are the 6 godchildren whom I have never met. Chen Jie Yushan's move was really ruthless originally. It would take Chen Chuaner at least 3 years to get out of the secret realm, but due to her extreme longing for her godson and godraider, she completed all the levels in just 8 months and left the sect's secret realm ahead of schedule. Her father was planning to hold a grand banquet for her to show off that his daughter had finally made it big. But she directly refused and rushed to Wienexin Island without stopping. But who would have thought that when she just arrived at Wienexinju, her godsons and goddaughters didn't even recognize her. Oh, godmother is so sad. Fortunately, Wu Bao recognized her in the end. What a sweetheart of my godmother. Zhao Yin ran. Chen Chuaner shouted excitedly. Godmother. Wu Bao happily ran to Chen Chuaner and hugged her. Godmother, it smells so good. Chen Chuaner bent down and picked up the soft and milky Wu Bao, and kissed him heavily on the face. Oh, little Yin Ran is really my godmother's sweetheart. Here, this is a gift from your godmother. As she said that, Chen Chuaner took out the heaviest gift in the storage bag and gave it to Wu Bao. Wu Bao happily kissed Chen Chuaner. Thank you, godmother. The 4 little clay figures also realized now that this was their godmother. They all ran towards Chen Chuaner, especially Dabao. When he saw Wu Bao got the gift, he immediately rushed towards Chen Chuaner like a small cannonball and shouted, Godmother, I am Dabao. I want a gift too. Although the little ones didn't recognize Chen Chuaner as their godmother, which hurt Chen Chuaner's heart, but after all, they are her lovely godsons and goddaughters, so she should just spoil them. So she didn't run away, she put down Wu Bao, squatted down, and hugged the 4 little clay figures who were running towards her happily without any disgust. Then he helplessly tapped their muddy little faces and said, Aren't you afraid of being spanked by your parents for doing this? Dabao, fun. Erbio, godmother? Is this true? Now the little ones can speak a lot of words, but some of them cannot be pronounced clearly. Chen Chuaner can roughly understand the meaning of their words. Chen Chuaner, of course it's me, your godmother apart from me. Your godmother, who else is as beautiful as you? Si Bao, my mother is the prettiest. Sanbao tapped his little clay figure's head vigorously. Chen Chuaner took out 4 gift bags and pretended to be angry and said, Do you want gifts? Dabao immediately flattered her. Godmother is beautiful. Erbio nodded vigorously. Sanbao nodded vigorously. Si Bao, my godmother is pretty. Chen Chuaner was smiling happily. She used the cleansing technique on them one by one, and also used the cleansing technique on herself. Everyone was clean now. Then she gave the gifts to the 4 little ones one by one. It's only been 8 months since I last saw you, and you've all grown so cute and beautiful. Dabao corrected him. I am handsome. Sanbao nodded. Daddy said we are handsome. Chen Chuaner was so amused by their cute words that she was laughing uncontrollably at this moment. Yifan and Su Longyu also came over. The 5 little darlings immediately ran towards Yifan and Su Longyu happily, pointing at Chen Chuaner as they ran. Daddy, mommy, godmother. Godmother? Chen Chuaner looked at Yifan, and was then surprised that Yifan had actually broken through to the middle stage of foundation building. Yifan, have you been taking drugs? How long has it been? In just over a year, you've actually broken through from the early stage of foundation building to the middle stage of foundation building. Although Yifan showed his strength in the early stage of foundation building to the outside world, Chen Chuaner, who was in the middle stage of golden elixir, could see his true realm. Chapter 216 Bobbio calls daddy. Su Longyu, isn't this normal? Chen Chuaner opened her red lips in shock. Her big pomelo lips trembling with intense emotion. You're telling me this is normal? When I broke through from the initial stage of foundation building to the middle stage of foundation building to the middle stage of foundation building, I didn't achieve this fast, even with drugs. What's more, her aptitude is much better than Yifan, who only has middle-grade spiritual roots. I didn't say this out loud to avoid Su Longyu's glare. Su Longyu, that's your dish. Chen Chuaner. Well, it seems that it is indeed my dish. She thought of a question. Yifan's cultivation speed was so fast now, so wouldn't he be able to surpass her soon? No, I also need to speed up my training to catch up with you, and not be caught up by Yifan. Otherwise, she would lose all her face as the godmother. Chen Xuaner didn't want to talk about the sad topic of cultivation progress, and instead said with anticipation that she wanted to go see Liu Bao and the others. When Liu Bao and the others were born, she had lost contact with Su Longyu, and she hasn't seen them until now. All I know is that Su Longyu was pregnant with 6 doublets during her second pregnancy. When Su Longyu and Yifan took Chen Xuaner to see 6-month-old babies sitting on the carpet in the living room playing with toys, Chen Xuaner's face was shocked again. There really are 6. Wow! You, these 2 babies look exactly the same, really exactly the same. I can't even tell which one is which. They are so cute. Are these identical twins? At this time, Chen Xuaner was looking at 2 identical baby boys, Jie Bao and Shi Biao. Although Babio and Shi Yibao are identical, they have very different physique. Shi Yibao is particularly strong and Babio is thinner than Shi Yibao. So even though the 2 little guys look the same, they are easy to tell apart because of their different weights, and they don't look exactly the same. But Jie Yibao and Shi Biao are so accurate that even their weight and height are the same. Even the 2 little ones feed at the same time, sleep at the same time, and wake up crying at the same time. Su Longyu looked at her children with a gentle gaze. Well, this is Jie Yibao and Shi Biao. Then, she began to introduce the babies to Chen Xuaner one by one. The 6 little ones opened their cute eyes and looked at Chen Xuaner curiously. Oh my, each one of them is so cute. Looking at them, I feel like my girlish heart has returned. And she showed the most loving smile on her face and said to the 6 little babies, "My babies, I am your godmother. Although I was not present when you were born nor when you were 1 month old. But godmother has prepared gifts for you, both a meeting gift and a full month gift." As she spoke, she took out 6 storage bags with cute decorations. "These are yours, Liu Bao. This is from Shippo. This is from Babio." Liu Bao and Qibao both grabbed the storage bag cutely with their hands. Because there is space inside the storage bag. The storage bag is actually not heavy and the little ones can hold on to it. When Chen Xuaner was about to give him the 8 treasures storage bag, the little guy hid his hands behind his back, with a smile on his face, but refused to take it. Chen Xuaner was stunned for a moment. "Babio, this is a gift from your godmother. There are a lot of good things in there." Babio looked towards Yifan and made Dada sounds first, and then made a series of baby sounds, daddy 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 daddy, and added a baby language sound at the end which no one could understand. Very cute. Yifan was overjoyed when he heard this. "Babio will call me daddy." He walked over with a smile, bent down to pick up Babio, kissed Babio on the face, and said with a smile, "Babio is awesome, you can call me daddy now. Babio, this is a gift from your godmother. We, Babio, will accept it, okay?" Babio looked at Yifan cutely, and Chen Xuaner smiled and put the storage bag in Babio's arms. This is a storage bag she bought specially for babies. It is not only cute in appearance, but also very small babies can hold it with their own hands. Its appearance is different from that of adult storage bags. Yifan smiled and nodded to Babio, who then looked down at the storage bag in his arms. He grabbed the handles of the bag with his 2 little hands and kept pulling at it, finding it very fun. When Chen Xuaner saw Babio accept the gift, she immediately smiled and continued to gifts to Jie Bao, Shi Biao and 11 Bao. When 11th Bao is at home, he always dominates the 6 little ones. Even when he meets 2nd Bao, 3rd Bao and 4th Bao, he can still overpower them. Only in front of Dabao and Wu Bao is she a well-behaved little sister. Bao directly used his fist to show his status. He didn't hit Shi Bao with his fists, but just smashed some things nearby with his fists to scare Shi Bao. Yifan and the others had not figured out how the 5 treasures suppressed the 11 treasures. In short, the 11 treasures are afraid of the big treasure, and they are even more afraid of the 5 treasures. When she was making a noise, Wu Bao only needed to give her a look and she would immediately shut up and behave herself. After giving gifts to the 6 babies, Chen Xuaner asked Su Longyu if she had named the babies. Last time, in order to remember the names of the 5 babies, she specially wrote the names on jade slips and looked at them every day in the secret realm before she was able to match the names of the 5 treasures with their faces. Now she has 6 more godsons and goddaughters, including Babio and Jie Bao who look exactly like her. It will be even more difficult for her this time to match the names with their faces. Su Longyu, it hasn't been decided yet. My mother said she will come to name them this time. She said she missed out on naming Dabao and the others last time, so this time she, the grandmother, must come. Speaking of this, Chen Xuaner immediately sent a message to Su Longyu. "How is it? Did your mother accept Yifan?" Before her father cut off her contact with the outside world and the secret realm, she only knew that Aunt Wen knew that Yifan and Su Longyu had a baby together, and that her mother had attended the baby's first birthday party. As for whether Aunt Wen approved of Yifan, she didn't know yet. But seeing that Aunt Wen has taken on the task of naming Liu Bao and the others, I guess Aunt Wen should be in the stage of observing Yifan, right? Su Longyu transmitted, "Yifan is so outstanding and so handsome, there is no reason for my mother not to accept him." Chenjuaner was shocked and continued to transmit. What? Ant 1 accepted Yifan so quickly? She was still thinking that Yifan would have to go through many trials and tribulations, and it would take at least 100 years before he could be recognized by his mother-in-law. Ant 1 unexpectedly. Only 8 months later, Ant 1 recognized Yifan as her son-in-law? This is not right. Ant 1's requirements for her son-in-law must be extremely high. After all, only the holy son of the Lan Yu sect has the opportunity to become Yui's husband. With Yifan's spiritual aptitude and cultivation level, it would be a problem for him to become the holy son of the Lan Yu sect, let alone enter the Lan Yu sect as an outer disciple. Chapter 217. While the babies are young, trick them into investing in their dad. Su Longyu, my mother has already accepted the betrothal gift, what do you think? Chenjuaner was shocked again, then she looked at Yifan with a look of awesome in her eyes. It's amazing that he can deal with the mother-in-law of the Yuan Ying patriarch, especially since this mother-in-law is very stubborn and stingy. I don't know how much Yifan paid as a betrothal gift. I guess it emptied Yifan's storage bag, plus various future bills. Isn't Yifan extremely poor and in debt now? Wouldn't that make life hard for my godchildren? No, then I have to work harder to earn spirit stones and materials for cultivation, otherwise Yifan alone won't be able to support my 11 godsons and goddaughters. In the evening, Chenjuaner pulled Su Longyu aside and wanted to chat with her all night. Yifan is responsible for putting the babies to sleep tonight. The 5 little guys including Dabao lined up and stood in front of Yifan, holding in their hands the storage bags given to them by Chenjuaner, which were filled with the love of their godmother Chenjuaner. Dingyan Luxi. Yiciue, Yinran. The storage bag you are holding now contains many gifts given to you by your godmother. As he spoke, Yifan used his spiritual power to take out the things in their storage bags one by one and suspended them in front of them. There were 3rd-level demon pills, 3rd-level demon beast materials, 3rd-level black iron stones, 3rd-level spirit wood, spirit bamboo, spirit fruit, etc. There were so many things to see that Yifan's eyes narrowed. This godmother is very competent. The gifts she gave were more valuable than those given by her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Wow! Dabao and the others' eyes lit up. When Sibao saw the spiritual fruit, his mouth started watering. Yifan smiled and said, "Do you like the gift your godmother gave you?" The 5 little ones nodded their heads in unison. Like. Yifan, is this a lot of gifts? 5 babies, more. Yifan, do you remember what daddy told you about investment? The 5 little babies had confused expressions on their faces. Yifan smiled lovingly and said, "Now that you have so many gifts, you can invest them in daddy first. After a year, daddy will give you more gifts than these? How about that? The store is getting bigger and bigger, the funds occupied are getting bigger and bigger, the working capital required is also getting bigger and bigger. And in addition, they have started to stockpile strategic materials for cultivating immortals, which is another huge sum of money. The little ones can't use these gifts now. So let's invest in them as their father first and give them more in the future." Nothing wrong. Dabao, it sounds like it makes sense. Herbio, daddy, will you give me more nests in a year? As she spoke, Herbio was still afraid that Yifan didn't understand what she said, so she used her little hand to draw a big circle in the air to express more meaning. Yifan, of course. Daddy never tells lies. Sanbao, nest is fine. Sibao, daddy, Yi wants to eat this first. As he spoke, the little fellow pointed his little finger at a 3rd-level spiritual fruit floating in front of him that was emitting a soft pale yellow light. Yifan smiled and said, "Yi, the energy of this fruit is too great, you can't eat it for now, but you can eat this first." As he spoke, Yifan took out 5 ordinary spiritual fruits, one for each of the 5 little treasures. After eating the fruit, Sibao nodded immediately and agreed to invest the gift in his father. Abo and Herbio got together and spoke baby language, probably to communicate. After the 2 finished communicating, they also agreed to invest the gift in Yifan. Yifan finally looked at Wu Bao. Wu Bao shook his little head. Ran is grown up now. Accept the gift and send it to me for safekeeping. Yifan knew, but Gigi meant himself. And he also knew that his 5th daughter had been a smart kid since she was young. He smiled and touched her little head, saying, "Okay, our Ran is a little adult now. You should keep the gifts you received yourself. But you can't just eat anything inside." Having said that, Yifan and Su Longyu used their magic power to isolate the things that the babies cannot eat or use. For example, the gifts floating in the air now, babies can only see and touch a layer of light, but not the real objects. To prevent them from eating or using these things indiscriminately and causing harm to them. Wu Bao grinned cutely and nodded his head. Wu Bao and the others cannot express their thoughts, so the 6 storage bags are naturally in Yifan's hands. However, Yifan also agreed with them that this is an investment for daddy, and daddy will give them more after a year. The 6 little guys had no idea about storage bags. After Yifan gave them better and newer toys, they immediately forgot about this somewhat novel storage bag. After Yifan coaxed the 11 babies to sleep, he came to the study, took out a blank jade slip and a recording pen, and then began to write down on the blank jade slip the investment items he received from W others today, as well as today's time, and the price at which these materials would be exchanged for spirit stones in the future, and then give the corresponding rewards based on the price, etc. Ever since Chenjuaner came to Yanxinju, Yifan basically couldn't get close to the babies. Chenjuaner could play with them 24 hours a day. 5 days later, Fatty Wang came to Yanxinju and told Yifan about the ruins of Mount Biyushu. He said he wanted to go. But when he thought of Yan Zhiyi who died during the last beast tide, he hesitated and prepared to come over to talk to Yifan to see if he should go. This time when going to the secret realm of Mount Biyushu, in addition to the early Jinn and cultivators, there are also foundation building cultivators and key training cultivators. Fatty Wang has now broken through to the 9th level of key training. He has also heard that there are abundant resources in the ruins of Mount Biyushu, so he really wants to try his luck. Fatty Wang, Yifan, do you think I should go? Yifan, it depends on you. He couldn't give any advice on this matter. After hesitating for a long time, Fatty Wang finally stomped his feet and said that he would not go anymore. He would rather break through to the foundation building stage first, entering the ruins of Mount Biyushu before the foundation building stage would be simply courting death. Yifan took out a jade box and handed it to Fatty Wang. When Fatty Wang opened the jade box, he was immediately shocked by the light that burst out from the jade box. He was so shocked that he couldn't speak clearly. Is this a genuine foundation building pill? Yifan. Yeah. This genuine foundation building pill was exactly one of the pills in the furnace of foundation building pills he had refined some time ago. The pills from that batch of foundation building pills were very good, with 2 genuine foundation building pills and 1 premium foundation building pills and 1 premium foundation building pill. At Ji Zibing's last foundation building banquet, Fatty Wang prepared a foundation building pill for him, although it was only a second-grade foundation building pill, considering Fatty Wang's status and financial status in the Yingzong clan at the time. It was already the best foundation building pill that Fatty Wang could get at the time. Yifan naturally remembered this kindness. In addition, in the past 2 years, Fatty Wang helped him sell a lot of magical instruments and spiritual instruments from Yingzong and other sects, so the money he earned was enough to buy at least 20 high-quality foundation building pills. Although he would give Fatty Wang commission was commission. Reward should be given at the appropriate time, so that if Fatty Wang succeeds in building a foundation, the contact between the two will be longer lasting in the future, and Fatty Wang's dealer line can also develop in the long run. Because he is now a second-grade top-grade weapon refiner, he no longer refines first-grade magic weapons himself, but only refines second-grade spiritual weapons. In the future, they will have to refine third-order magic weapons, and the cultivators who can use magic weapons are fake Danzen Ren and Golden and cultivators. Among these cultivators, only the insignificant ones are independent cultivators in the southern region's immortal cultivation world, and 99.999 of them are distributed in major sects. Chapter 218 Yifan, you are such a late bloomer. Fatty Wang immediately closed the jade box and stuffed it into Yifan's hand. This is too valuable, I can't accept it. Yifan handed the jade box back to Fatty Wang and said that it was made by himself. To him now, the foundation establishment pill was nothing. This shocked Fatty Wang. Yeah, Yifan, are you a second-level alchemist? Oh my god, my childhood friend is such a late bloomer. It is extremely rare for a casual cultivator to reach the level of being his childhood friend. Not only is he a second-level weapon refiner, but he is also a second-level alchemist. Refining elixirs is more difficult than refining weapons. Correspondingly, the status of an alchemist is higher than that of an equipment refiner. It is difficult for an ordinary cultivator, even a disciple of a sect, to practice a cultivation skill to the second level, but Yifan actually practiced the skills to the second level at the same time. It shocked him so much. How much is there that my childhood friend doesn't understand? After being shocked, Fatty Wang accepted the foundation establishment pill but still asked to buy it at the price of the genuine foundation establishment pill so as not to let Yifan suffer a loss. Yifan said that Fatty Wang had also given him a foundation establishment pill before, and if Fatty Wang still wanted to buy it at the full price, it would mean that he did not consider him, Yifan, as a friend. After saying this, Fatty Wang finally accepted the foundation building pill, drank a glass of wine in one gulp, and said to Yifan that he would never let Yifan down, and would definitely succeed in breaking through the foundation building stage and try not to fall too far behind Yifan. He also told Yifan the news he had heard from the sect, that there would likely be a great war among the immortal cultivators in the near future. As for the exact time, it has not been determined and needs to be decided by the upper-level decision-makers. It is also said that it is very likely that a war will not happen. In short, everything depends on the decisions of the top few people. However, it is still recommended that Yifan stockpile strategic materials to be prepared for any eventuality. Especially this time Xiaoxushan ruins. This time the lower 7 sects and the upper 3 sects will join forces to enter the Xiaoxushan ruins. And hundreds of people will enter at that time. Yifan can be near the ruins and purchase materials from people coming out of the ruins. He also said that he would try to build good relationships and let the people he knew sell the materials to Yifan first. After Fatty Wang confirmed with Yifan that he would not go to the Biyushu mountain ruins, he left because the Biyushu mountain ruins were about to open. He had to make arrangements in advance. A day after Fatty Wang left, Wang Chan King sent a message to Su Longyu, telling her that when Yifan's puppet enters the ruins alone, it will not be able to be used normally because of the isolation formation of the ruins and will become a piece of scrap metal. He said that if they wanted to go, Yifan himself must go, or the real body must go with the puppet. The real body and the clone must be in the same space. Otherwise the puppet cannot be controlled. Su Longyu found Yifan and told him about this. It just so happened that at this time Sibao and Wu Bao were looking for Yifan to make cakes for them. Wu Bao's big round black eyes rolled around. And he hugged Yifan's thighs with his little hands. He raised his cute round face and said, "Daddy, I want to go to my aunt's house." Relics. Yifan and Su Longyu looked towards Wu Bao. Wu Bao blinked his big cute eyes, drew a circle in the air with his 2 little hands, and explained, "Su, Tong Tong said it wants to go. Let me tell Daddy." Yifan, Tong Tong said. Ever since Wu Bao got the bronze fragment last time, Dao Bao and his friends came over to watch the excitement. But in the end, they found out that they couldn't move it and it didn't taste good or look good. So Dao Bao and his friends quickly lost interest in the bronze fragment, and it became Wu Bao's exclusive toy. Although Wu Bao couldn't hold the bronze fragment, she placed it on the head of her bed and often played with it. Tong Tong is the name given by Wu Bao to the bronze fragments. Wu Bao nodded his head vigorously. Yes, Tong Tong can talk. Su Longyu disappeared in an instant, and when she returned to the kitchen, she was holding a piece of bronze fragment in her hand, which was the one placed on the head of Wu Bao's bed. After Su Longyu examined the fragment, the information she received was the same as before. There was no breath of life, no spirit of the weapon, etc. She shook her head at Yifan. Yifan frowned, then squatted down and asked Wu Bao what else Tong Tong said. Wu Bao said that Tong Tong was talking directly in her mind, that Tong Tong was a chatterbox and loved to talk, and that she was the spirit of the bronze fragment. Because the little one is not yet 2 years old. Although he is usually more lively than Abao and the others, he still cannot say many words. As they talked, they began to speak in baby language that Yifan and the others could not understand. Finally she probably realized that her parents couldn't understand what she said. So she lowered her shoulders, poked the bronze mirror and said, "Tong Tong said she wanted me to take her to my aunt's house." Yifan. This matter is too serious, can I let Dad and Mom discuss it? Wu Bao nodded his head obediently. Sibao hurriedly said, "Daddy, cake? Yifan. Okay, make a cake for Yi first. Now he is a 2nd level alchemist. The alchemy fire in his body is vigorous. He can use the alchemy fire to bake the cake, and it will be done quickly, instead of the 45 minutes it takes today." After bringing a small piece of cake to Sibao and Wu Bao, Yifan and Su Longyu went to the room. Su Longyu said that when Wu Bao was communicating with the bronze mirror just now, she did not sense any fluctuations in the bronze fragments. He said that this bronze fragment might be an innate spiritual treasure, which contained a spirit of the weapon, and this spirit of the weapon was quite famous. When Yifan was making the cake just now, he was also thinking about the plot of the original novel, and he did not remember that there was a treasure like the bronze fragment in the original novel. Now the bronze fragment should be bound to his 5th daughter, and he also asked his 5th daughter to take it into the ruins. Could there be fragments of it in the ruins of Mount Biyushu? This bronze fragment fell from a magical treasure, and other fragments of this magical treasure are scattered around the world. Su Longyu nodded. It's most likely, but it's too dangerous to let Wu Bao enter the ruins. But this bronze fragment obviously doesn't want to communicate with anyone other than Wu Bao. If you don't bring Wu Bao into the ruins, I'm worried that this fragment will cause trouble and eventually trick Wu Bao into entering the ruins alone. You should go in with Wu Bao. I will prepare some more life-saving methods for you. This may also be an opportunity for Wu Bao. After thinking it over, Yifan nodded carefully in agreement. Originally, when he learned that Su Tianxi's puppet could not enter the ruins and operate alone, he had no intention of entering the ruins, and now Wu Bao wanted to go, and Wu Bao got the chance to get the bronze fragments, so as his father, he naturally had to help. He brought Su Tianxi's puppet and other late-stage second-order puppets, plus a series of life-saving methods given by Su Longyu. Even if he encountered a Jindan cultivator in the ruins, he would not be afraid. Chapter 219, The Good Intentions of Grand Elder Chan King. A month later, Yifan arrived at the ruins of Biyushu Mountain with Wu Bao, who was just 2 years old. When they came over, quite a few people had already arrived. The luxurious flying boats from the Yingzhong and Qiuyi Valley sects had already arrived, as well as people from the Qinglong Immortal City and some large chambers of commerce. In addition, other sects will arrive within these 3 days as the journey is quite far. Yifan drove an ordinary flying boat, changed his appearance, and arrived here in a low-key manner. Yifan changed his appearance and used the face of Zuqianshi's humanoid puppet, named Wang Fuguai. Because Wu Bao looked so much like Su Longyu, he also changed his appearance. Both he and Wu Bao used the 2 top-grade magic weapons given by Su Longyu for changing their appearance. This top-grade magic weapon only has one function, which is to change one's appearance. Because it pursues the ultimate in this function, although it is only a 3rd-grade magic weapon, it can achieve the miraculous effect that people in the middle stage of nascent soul and below cannot see their true faces. Hey! Why did that foundation building senior bring a little baby with him? When Yifan set up camp on the spot and prepared to make a fire to cook, an immortal cultivator looked in their direction with a look of surprise on his face. One cultivator said, "Maybe they just came here to watch the fun, or wait for the sect disciples to come out of the ruins to buy materials." That's right. The Biyushu mountain ruins were widely publicized in this area this time. And many independent cultivators and sect disciples who did not qualify to enter the secret realm also came to watch the fun. Of course, there are many people who come here to do business. The next day, Zhong Nanyan came with a caravan. Now Yifan's Moon Pavilion has begun to take shape. It has its own monster hunting team, its own material purchasing company, and its own store that sells comprehensive immortal cultivation resources. The scale has also expanded. There are 12 moon pavilions in Qinglong Immortal City, and 4 moon pavilions in the nearby market. There are already prototypes of caravans. As soon as Zhong Nanyan saw Yifan, he immediately told a few words to the people around him, then came to Yifan with a smile on his face. "Friend Wang, long time no see. Hey, why do I feel like your cultivation is stronger than mine? Could it be that you have broken through to the middle stage of foundation building?" Yifan nodded. Yeah, it was he who asked Zhong Nanyan to come here. Originally, he was planning to come here to purchase materials by himself, but now he wants to enter the ruins, so he asked Zhong Nanyan to lead the team here to wait for the purchase of materials. By the way, I also brought a batch of spiritual tools and other supplies for cultivation. I can sell a batch of supplies before entering the ruins. Zhong Nanyan. Fellow Taoist Wang, you have all broken through to the middle stage of foundation building. I am under great pressure. Did the boss let you come here this time? Yifan, I'm going into the ruins. Zhong Nanyan, the quota given by the boss. The boss refers to Yifan. Yifan, yeah. Zhong Nanyan was shocked at first, and nodded and said with envy, "The boss is really capable. He can even find such a scare spot for you." No, I have to work hard on my training. I have to find a way to reconnect my arm. Otherwise, when all of you advance by leaps and bounds, I will still be at the initial stage of foundation building and will be eliminated. Some time ago, when Sun Guangda was fighting with a 2nd stage middle stage demon beast king in the Lagu Mountains, at the critical moment of life and death, he broke through the bottleneck on his own without relying on elixirs to break through the stage, and broke through to the middle stage of foundation building in one fell swoop. But he envied Wang Fuguai, who was also in the middle stage of foundation building. Now he was not envious, but full of a sense of crisis. Yifan looked at Zhong Nanyan's arm and said nothing more. After the Biyushu Mountain secret realm ends, if Zhong Nanyan performs well, he may be able to reattach Zhong Nanyan's arm. After all, the stronger the fighting power of your capable men, the better. Daddy, I'm hungry. Wu Bao walked out of the tent. The little guy was very cute. When Zhong Nanyan saw Wu Bao, he was stunned and looked at Yifan. Friend Wang, you are going into the ruins, and you are bringing your daughter with you? Children under the age of 5, except for the geniuses in the big sects, are all mortals and have not yet been able to detect their spiritual roots for cultivation. Yifan, yeah. Zhong Nanyan was shocked and advised Yifan not to take his daughter in. He also said that the ruins of Biyushu Mountain were very dangerous and asked Yifan to leave the 5 treasures with him and he would help take care of them. He also has a daughter and can't bear to see the baby get hurt. Yifan rejected Zhong Nanyan's kindness. Zhong Nanyan still wanted to persuade him, but he thought of something and decided not to say much. After all, he had been slapped in the face during the beast tide. It hurt so much. Fortunately, he listened to the advice and at least turned a house. But every time when Manager Fan had a party and drank, he would slap himself in the face and ask why he was so stupid at that time and did not listen to fellow Taoist Wang's advice to buy a house at the lowest price. In the past 2 days, the other 5 major sects of the lower 7 sects have come one after another, namely the Beast Taming Sect, the Wuji Sect, the Wind Sword Sect, the Broken Soul Mountain, and the Li Huo Sect. When the Li Huo sect's luxurious flying boat arrived, a green fairy standing on the bow glanced in the direction of Yifan, and then shifted her gaze away, as if nothing had happened. On the 3rd day, The supergiant luxury warships and flying boats of the top 3 sects, Qionji sect, Luoyun sect, and Lanyu sect, arrived. A whole scene was like covering the sky and blocking out the sun, extremely cool and magnificent. Yifan was dazzled by what he saw. When I watched the original cartoon, I didn't see the top 3 sects at that time have such a domineering flying boat. It seems that the production team of the cartoon still needs to be re-rolled. The difference between the upper 3 sects and the lower 7 sects is really huge. Rumor has it that the founding ancestors of the lower 7 sects were all inner disciples from the upper 3 sects. Whether in terms of cultivation or foundation, they are far inferior to the upper 3 sects. At this time, they were on the treasure ship, warship and flying boat of the Lanyu sect. A group of foundation building disciples have not yet reacted. They don't know why such an opportunity to enter the Buyushu mountain ruins has fallen upon them. Originally they all thought that they had absolutely no chance of being selected. After all, the number of places is limited, so the selection will definitely be based on the inner sect foundation building disciples with the highest ranking. After all, the 3 in the early Jindan stage are all direct disciples of the Supreme Elders. Each of them is extremely powerful and has great fighting skills. When selecting the foundation building cultivators, they chose this group of outer disciples. And I heard that it was the Supreme Elder Chan King who said that opportunity should not only be given to the inner disciples, but also appropriate opportunity should be given to the outer disciples. Then, the 20 places for foundation building fell to this group of outer disciples. Although they were all in the late stage of foundation building, they were no match for the late stage of foundation building from the inner sect in terms of fighting skills, age, and mana. They couldn't even beat the middle stage of foundation building from the inner sect. Grand Elder Chan King is really good. He finally knows that these outer disciples also need opportunities. When they were kneeling in their hearts to thank the Supreme Elder Chan King, when Chan King flashed and appeared beside Yifan, then he took Yifan and Wu Bao onto the Lanyu sect's treasure ship arc. Chapter 220. When Chan King is so bold. After arriving at the inner room of the boat, a girl in a blue skirt, about 14 years old, came in and greeted Wen Chan King respectfully. Master. When Chan King nodded and introduced Yifan that this was her 7th disciple, named Ziyuo Kiki, one of the 3 early Jindan cultivators who entered the Shaoxushan ruins this time. Then he introduced Yifan and Wu Bao to Ziyuo Kiki. Yifan's name was Wang Fuguai and Wu Bao's name was Wang Yinran. After the introduction, when Chan King said to Ziyuo Kiki, "These are the 2 people that Master mentioned to you before. Well, it's okay, you can go down." Ziyuo Kiki bowed. Yes. After leaving the room, there was no change in Ziyuo Kiki's expression, but her inner thoughts were very rich. Those are the 2 people that Master asked me to protect? Oh my god, why is there another one that's a baby? Master, what exactly is this going to do? But the man is indeed very handsome. Why would Master ask me to protect these 2 people? Moreover, Master, who has been extremely stingy, actually lent me a top-grade magic weapon this time when I entered the ruins, and he didn't charge me for rent. Master, did you lend me the ultimate magic weapon for free? Not because I'm cute? I'm motivated, I'm excellent, but because of Wang Fuguai and Wang Yinran? Why does Master treat these 2 people so favorably? Could it be? Oh my god, I discovered a shocking secret. My master has just entered the Tianzu secret realm, and it is unknown how many years it will take for him to come out. Therefore, Master took this opportunity to add to more people from outside the sect to the list of Lanyu sect members entering the Shaoxushan ruins. He also told me that my main mission when entering the Shaoxushan ruins this time is to protect Wang Fuguai and Wang Yinran, and everything else is secondary. Oh my god, Master. This is too bold, isn't it? I wonder what would happen if Master Saint Tess and Wally knew about this. Thinking of this, Ziyuo Kiki felt a chill in her heart, but her expression was still as cool and steady as usual. I don't know anything. I won't ask any questions, won't talk too much, and won't ask too many questions. Junior sister Ziyuo. A man stopped immediately when he saw Ziyuo Kiki approaching, bowed and greeted Ziyuo Kiki with a smile. In fact, his cultivation is in the middle stage of the Golden Core, one small realm higher than Ziyuo Kiki. But when he saw Ziyuo Kiki, he was very respectful. Ziyuo Kiki nodded coldly, said nothing, and walked over. Although Ziyuo Kiki is only in the early stage of the Golden Core, she is the direct disciple of the Supreme Elder, and she is only 14 years old, so she has a bright future. Therefore, even this male cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core realm had to be respectful and polite when meeting Ziyuo Kiki. Because he was only a middle stage Jindan from the outer sect, and he was almost 300 years old. After Yifan boarded the Lanyu sect's treasure ship, because Wu Bao still needed to eat, Yifan took Wu Bao back to the camp on the ground. After a while, Jizi from Qinglong Immortal City came to his tent. Friend Wang, I didn't expect to see you here, Jizi said with a smile. Yifan nodded. After Jizi smiled and said a few words to Yifan, He told Yifan that he had just seen Yifan getting off the treasure ship of the Lanyu sect and asked Yifan if he knew anyone from the Lanyu sect. Yifan did not deny it and said that he knew an elder and had just visited him. He also said that he was able to enter the ruins thanks to the help of this elder. When Jizi heard this, there was an obvious flash of shock in his eyes. In his heart, he is worthy of being Yifan's cousin. His luck is the same as Yifan. Wang Fuguai actually has an elder from the Lanyu sect. No wonder he invited Wang Fuguai to join Xiansheng before, but Wang Fuguai refused. And he began to tell Yifan that he would also enter the Shaoxushan ruins this time and asked Yifan if he wanted to go in. Yifan nodded. Jizi immediately gave Yifan a report on the situation inside the ruins, saying that it was written by a cultivator who had entered the ruins before and came out alive, which listed some medicinal herb picking points inside the ruins, as well as marking points where treasure houses existed, some precautions, etc. The information Jizi mentioned was much more specific than what Ling Hukun gave him. Before, Ling Hukun only gave him a general account of the situation in the Shaoxushan ruins, such as the cultivation system of the Great Wizard and the Wizard King, etc. He did not tell him specific details such as the location for picking elixirs and the marking points of the treasure house. Presumably, this should be the information provided by Ling Hukun and Kong Yingzong in exchange for places. Although King Long Fairy City had fought a war with the King Shufeng branch of Kong Yingzong before, it did not have a bad relationship with the main Kong Yingzong. In addition, Taoist King Long should have also released people in Kong Yingzong, so it should not be difficult to obtain this information. The next day, the Shaoxushan ruins were officially opened. Therefore, everyone waiting to enter the ruins stood on their own arcs. At this time, Yifan also stood in the foundation building formation of Lanyu sect with his 5 treasures. Although the monks of Lanyu sect were very surprised at the sudden intrusion of the father and daughter, their years of education made them say nothing and look straight ahead at this moment. Following the words of the Yuan Ying patriarch, "Go!" hundreds of people transformed into colorful rays of light and fled towards the light of the ruins formation. When an old ancestor in the nascent soul stage standing on the Luoyan sect's warships saw Yifan taking the 5 treasures and transforming into a beam of light and flying into the formation, he finally disappeared in the light of the formation. He blinked in surprise. What is the Moonland sect doing? That little girl is only 2 years old, right? How can they let her enter the secret realm at such a young age? Could it be that the Lanyu sect has produced another genius who defies the heavens? As he spoke, he turned to look at Shishaoven, who was standing next to him with a suspicious expression on her face. Junior sister Shi? What happened to that 2-year-old baby in Lanyu sect? Do you know? Shisha then retracted her gaze and blinked her watery eyes. How would I know? It seems that you, junior sister, don't know either. By the way, I heard that the saint girl of Lanyu sect has broken through to the late Jindan stage. When did our saint girl break through to the late Jindan stage? I heard that she just came out of the sect's secret realm. Why did she disappear again after I came out? Asked Shu Yanliang, the middle stage nascent soul ancestor. Shisha then coughed lightly and said, "Oh, I saw Chen King. I'll go talk to her and ask the 2-year-old girl what happened." After saying this, Shisha then disappeared in an instant. Zhu Yanliang looked at the place where Shisha then disappeared, shook his head helplessly, and sighed heavily. Our Luoyan sect is not inferior to the Lanyu sect at all. How come the saints of these 2 sessions are not as good as those of the Lanyu sect? After the Shaoxushan secret realm ends, we have to change the feng shui of the ancestral temple when we return. On Wen Chan King's side, Tang Hongyui looked at the direction where Yifan disappeared, frowning slightly. I always feel that the spiritual auras of that outer sect man named Wang Fuguai is somewhat familiar. But I can't find the right person. Chapter 221. The 5 Treasures of a Partial Dad. At this moment, Shisha then came to find Wen Chan King. Although she did not directly mention the matter of Yifan and Wu Bao to Wen Chan King, the look in her eyes clearly showed that she was asking about this matter. Wen Chan King nodded. There was no change on Shisha then's face, but she was extremely shocked in her heart and looked at Wen Chan King in disbelief. Fuck, Chan King is so awesome, he actually dared to let Yifan and Wu Bao in right under the nose of Lanyu sect. My god, isn't Chan King afraid that Yifan and the others will be discovered? This is really courageous. Suddenly, a female cultivator wearing the colorful costumes of the Thousand Machine sect appeared in the void in front of Wen Chan King and Shishaoven. His face was filled with an expression of watching a play. Wen Chan King, is there no one left in your Lanyu sect? You actually let a 2-year-old girl into the Shaoxushan ruins. Don't you let her die once she enters? As soon as these last words came out, Wen Chan King rushed over immediately. The 2 extremely terrifying nascent soul ancestors' pressures collided, and the foundation establishment and key condensation cultivators below were all frightened and immediately prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling all over. The defense shields on the arcs of major sects, immortal cities or large chambers of commerce were automatically activated in an instant to resist the aftermath of the pressure. All she could hear was Wen Chan King's shout, "Lu Sai Yo." I'm going to tear your mouth apart today. Lucia, oh, Wen Shan King, are you crazy? I just said the truth and you bit me like crazy. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Inside the Shaoxushan ruins, before entering, when Shan King gave Yi Fan and Wu Bao each a jade pendant after entering the ruins, the father and daughter were teleported to a place. The others all dispersed. This was different from the way the first expedition team sent by Kong Yingzong and Qiyu Yiku entered that time. They entered the same place and were sniped and killed by the indigenous people guarding there. This time, the Lan Yu sect's ancestor Hua Shen negotiated with the strong men in the Shaoxushan ruins and optimized the method of entering the formation, transforming it into a secret realm that is more suitable for disciples to train. Daddy, have we entered my house yet? Wu Bao looked around with his big round eyes. There was no childish curiosity in his eyes, but there was scrutiny. Yi Fan nodded. Yes, of course, follow Daddy closely. At this moment, there was a light flickering in Yi Fan's storage bag. This was a communication jade token given to him by Wen Shan King, which could be used to contact Ziyuo Qi. Yi Fan took out the jade token. Ziyuo Qi, friend Wang, there was an error in the transmission. I saw where you and Yin ran, or you two should wait for me there. I will be there in half an hour. Yi Fan, okay. Daddy there. Wu Bao pulled Yi Fan's hand with his little hand, then raised his hand and pointed to a pond in front. There are lotus flowers blooming in the pond, and the broad green lotus leaves make the entire sky look extremely beautiful. Wu Bao, do you want to go there to play? Yi Fan asked. Wu Bao shook his little head. Tong Tong said there is a treasure there and asked me to go get it. At this moment, the spirit in the bronze fragment fell head first to the ground upon hearing Wu Bao's words. And he yelled in Wu Bao's mind, Yi Yin ran. Are you stupid? I told you to go. How are you going to tell your father? Your father is a bad guy. He even cheated your brothers and sisters of their cultivation resources. If you tell him this, isn't it the same as giving it away for free? Wu Bao ignored the spirit of the weapon. Yi Fan released Zhu Tianxi's humanoid puppet, then controlled Zhu Tianxi and jumped above the pond looking down. Zhu Tianxi soon saw a faint colorful light blooming under a huge lotus leaf in the middle of the pond. This is the 7-colored lotus. It can be used as the main material for making the 3rd level early stage breakthrough pill. It's really a good thing. When Zhu Tianxi went to pick the colorful lotus, a large water snake of the 2nd stage rushed out from the bottom of the pond, but it was no match for Zhu Tianxi and was killed directly by Zhu Tianxi in order to make it easier to recognize Yi Fan and the puppet. The puppet will be named Zhu Tianxi for the time being. It's worthy of being a secret realm that hasn't been opened for thousands of years. The resources here are really rich. As soon as I came in, I harvested a 7-colored lotus and the corpse of a 2nd stage late stage monster. It's great. Just as he put the colorful lotus and the monster corpse into the storage bag, two beams of light flew over. A woman in green and a male cultivator in blue robe. Both of them were in the late foundation building stage and were wearing the robes of Qianji sect. Hey, where's the colorful lotus? It's gone. My rock rat just told me there is a 7-colored lotus here. Then, the woman looked at Yi Fan and Zhu Tianxi with burning eyes. You stole my colorful lotus? The green-clothed woman said, hand over the colorful lotus and you can leave. Neither Yi Fan nor Zhu Tianxi were wearing the sect's robes. Yi Fan had done another cosmetic adjustment on Zhu Tianxi's appearance, turning him into another thin male cultivator with an ordinary face. In the eyes of the woman in green, Yi Fan and the others were casual cultivators. Naturally, he didn't take Yi Fan and the others seriously. What's more, in terms of cultivation, they crush Yi Fan and others. Yi Fan, what if we don't hand it over? It's funny, all the money has gone into my pocket. Yi Fan, and you still want me to spit it out? If an old man at the nascent soul stage comes, I will still consider it. The people who are only in the late stage of foundation building dare to make trouble. The green-clothed woman and the blue-robed male cultivator looked at each other and laughed out loud, as if they had heard the funniest joke in the world. The green-clothed woman said, Are you sure? Can't you read? Can't you see that we are disciples of Qianji sect? Yi Fan, what about the 1,000 Machine sect? Is it very cool? He wanted to invite me to join before, but I refused. Hundreds of years later, your entire sect will have to go to other sects to beg for spiritual veins. Did I tell you that? The blue-robed male cultivator's face turned cold. Why are you talking nonsense to a mere casual cultivator like him? He really thinks that he came to the secret realm to do good deeds. Just kill him. Just keep the little girl. My rock rat told me that this little girl has a treasure. Wu Bao was not afraid either, and looked at the two of them with an expression that showed he was enjoying a good show. The woman in green was extremely displeased by Wu Bao's look. I thought you were just a kid and didn't want to kill you, but the look in your eyes offends me. I'm going to dig out your eyeballs. Yi Fan, die. Yi Fan was about to take action when suddenly a voice came. Friend Yi, wait a minute. Leave it to me, don't dirty your hands. As soon as the voice arrived, a powerful pressure from the Jindan stage came like a gust of wind. And a huge ice blue hand that covered the sky and the sun came from far away and slapped the green-cloaked woman and the blue-robed male cultivator on the head. Before the two of them could react, they were slapped to death. And when they were dying, they only saw a fairy figure in a blue skirt floating from a distance. The blue skirt seemed to be the sect robe of the Lanyu sect. The Jindin cultivator of the Lanyu sect came to the aid of two casual cultivators and a little girl, and beat to death two inner disciples of the Qionji sect. Chapter 222. Take advantage of the weapon spirit just awakening and fool it. The person who came was Zuokiki. Xiaobai came out from the lotus leaves, swam around for a while, held the storage rings in its mouth, climbed onto Yifan's shoulder, and spit the storage rings into Yifan's hands with a flattering look on its face. Yifan touched its little head lovingly. Friend Zuo, you arrived at the right time, Yifan said. Zuokiki breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, she arrived in time. If Wang Fuguai and Wang Yinran had died in the ruins, she would probably have died to atone for her sins. Zuokiki's gaze fell on the two storage rings in Yifan's hands. Yifan took one and handed it to Zuokiki. Everyone who sees it gets one. Although both of them were killed by Zuokiki. If Zuokiki had not come, he could also have killed the other one. Thinking that Zuokiki was his mother-in-law's favorite disciple and his mother-in-law's attributes, Yifan gave Zuokiki a storage ring. Sure enough, after Zuokiki took the ring, there was an obvious flash of joy in her beautiful eyes. Although the little girl hid it well, Yifan still discovered it. Yifan's inner thoughts, as expected, I have the same personality as my mother-in-law. I love money. Zuokiki put away the storage ring and said, let's go. Yifan nodded. Not long after Yifan and the others left, a third-level wizard king with a powerful aura appeared in this place. The Witch King's face was painted with various colorful patterns. He wore a feather crown, animal skins on his body, and had dark skin. Her eyes were particularly bright, and her curvy figure looked even more upright against the backdrop of the animal skin. If one ignored the black skin and the colorful patterns and only looked at her facial features, this Witch King was extremely beautiful. The Witch Queen looked in the direction where Yifan and the others left, said a string of incomprehensible words, and then disappeared from the spot. After Yifan and his companions fled for a distance, they stopped and Zuokiki took out a scroll of animal skin. This is a map of part of the ruins. Unlike the rough map that GZE drew for him, this map covered a larger area, had more marked places. There are a total of 8 treasure houses marked, and the markings on the 8 treasure houses are different colors. For colors, red, orange, yellow and green. Wu Bao's white and tender little hand directly touched the largest treasure house mark in the red color, then looked up at Yifan and blinked his cute big eyes. Daddy, can we go there? Zuokiki was about to say that it was very dangerous here, but then she thought of what her master had said. Let her be responsible only for protecting Wang Fuguai and his daughter, and not to interfere in other matters. She closed her mouth again. Yifan did not agree immediately, but asked Zuokiki what the difference was between the color marks of the treasure house on the map. Zuokiki explained that the colors of the treasure house are graded according to red, orange, yellow and green, with red being the most dangerous and green being the least dangerous. The larger the red area, the more dangerous it is. Yifan was in deep thought. Wu Bao didn't say anything more. At this moment, Wu Bao's mind was in turmoil, filled with the sound of the bronze fragments rolling around. I don't care. I'm going here. Ask your father to take you there. You have a Jindin bodyguard. It's totally safe to go here. Ian ran. Tell your father that you want to go here. There is a great treasure here. Wu Bao ignored her. In Wu Bao's mind, the spirit of the bronze fragment was a cute 2-year-old girl. Seeing that Wu Bao ignored her, she rolled around and made a noise. But Wu Bao remained unmoved. When Tong Tong made more noise, Wu Bao's mental image slapped Tong Tong to the ground. Shut up! Tong Tong blew bubbles in grievance. After careful consideration, Yifan decided not to go to this huge red treasure house for the time being, although he knew that Wu Bao suggested going here because of the bronze fragment spirit. Zuokiki said that this was the most dangerous treasure house and there must be a third-level wizard king in it. So, I'd better go to other places to look for opportunities first, and then talk about it later. Because there was something he wanted to confirm. After all, for Wu Bao, the bronze fragments are 50 chance, and 50 possibility is that Wu Bao and himself are being treated as tools. As soon as he made his decision, he heard a faint telepathic message. The voice was childish, but pretending to be that of an adult. Ian Ran's father, let's talk. There was a fleeting smile in Yifan's black eyes. It seemed that this red treasure house definitely contained what the bronze fragment wanted. Probably its other fragments. Yifan, no. Tong Tong. Let me introduce myself first. I am the spirit of the bronze fragment you brought back. I am an innate spiritual treasure. If you help me find all the fragments, I will restore my peak. Yifan, what does that have to do with me? Tong Tong was so angry that she almost vomited blood. They were indeed father and daughter. They were alike. When ordinary monks heard this, shouldn't they be excited and help him collect the fragments immediately? Tong Tong, Yi Yin Ran and I have signed a contract. I am her contracted spiritual treasure. Yi Fan. Oh, what does it have to do with me? Sure enough, Wu Bao of my own has good fortune. She is worthy of being Yi Fan's daughter. Tong Tong. A great evolution sword dart you practiced is not complete. It is only the lower part. Once you practice to the nascent soul stage, you cannot practice any higher, but I have the spiritual transformation chapter. How about it? Yi Fan, very good. It seems that this weapon spirit is really an antique. And it even knows the great evolution sword dart divine transformation chapter. It was indeed as Tong Tong said. Sulong Yu also told him later that the day in divine art could be cultivated to the nascent soul stage. After the nascent soul stage, one would need to create one's own, or go to other places to find the cultivation method of the Dayan sword dart. After the nascent soul stage, Sulong Yu will become a true immortal empress in the future. She has practiced the Dayan sword technique until she reached the level of a true immortal. As for how she obtained the subsequent practice methods, it is not mentioned in the original book. However, Sulong Yu will definitely find a way to get it. So Yi Fan, transformation into a god. Do you think I have a chance to become a god in this lifetime? Tong Tong almost vomited blood. Tong Tong, your top great spiritual roots cannot really be cultivated to the level of a spirit being, but there is still hope for Yi Yin Ran's mother. Yi Fan, this cake is too big. My mother is only in the late stage of golden core now. Tong Tong. Then what do you want in exchange for your willingness to go to the Crimson Treasure House? On this side, Yi Fan took advantage of the fact that Tong Tong had just woken up and was still immature and continued to trick it into negotiating. Outside the ruins, Wen Shan King and Lu Xiao were pulled apart. However, Lu Xiao's hair was pulled out and her mouth was slapped several times. When Shan King put her hands on her hips, it looked very fierce. If the ancestor in the late nascent soul stage had not held her back, she would have hit Lu Xiao. Oh, how could an early nascent soul cultivator who mainly refines weapons be a match for an early nascent soul cultivator of swordsmanship? When a sword cultivator becomes powerful, he is really powerful. After Lu Xiao spat out a mouthful of blood, she said indignantly, "When Shan King, don't you rely on the fact that you are a sword cultivator? Do you dare to wait for me to make a bet, this time when we enter the ruins? The resources that our Qianji sect disciples bring out are definitely more than those of your Lanyu sect." Chapter 223. The 5 treasures have secrets. When Shan King, let's bet, who's afraid of you? After the two of them agreed on the bet, Lu Xiao was no longer angry. With a wave of her hand, her messy hair and swollen mouth instantly returned to normal, and she regained her fairy-like charm. I told Wen Shan King that since the bet had started, I would display the soul lamps of the two sects, and they could also see which sect had more disciples surviving in the ruins. Wen Shan King agrees. As soon as the soul lamps of the two families were displayed, two soul lamps of the late foundation building stage of Qianji sect went out with her. Lu Xiao's face changed slightly. When Shan King put her hands on her hips and laughed, "Lu Xiao, is that all? It hasn't even been more than an incense stick of time since we entered. And you've lost to foundation building disciples from Qianji sect. You still dare to compete with me?" Inside the ruins, in a green-marked treasure house, disciples of Qianji sect, led by their sect's Liyun Zhi, who was in the early stage of Jindan, captured the treasure house. It is also the lowest level treasure house marked on Zuo Kiki's map. Zhi grabbed the corpse of a third stage early wizard king, took a look, and said, "The cultivation methods of the natives here are indeed very different from ours." She broke through to the third stage, Wizard King realm, through the treasure pattern magic power of body. Refining his corpse is a good material for refining the 5 soul banner. When the other disciples saw this, several of them shook in fear unconsciously, but on the surface, they all said, "Senior Brother Liu is so awesome. Senior Brother Liu is so domineering. Congratulations to Senior Brother Liu for refining the 5 soul banner." By then, Senior Brother Liu will definitely be ranked in the top 50 on the 100 use list. Zhi waved his hand, and everyone immediately fell silent. He murmured, "Why hasn't Yu Jing arrived yet?" As he spoke, he took out the communication J token and prepared to contact his younger brother Liu Yujingji. But after sending the message, there was no reply. Without thinking too much, he went to search the treasury first. When he came out after the raid, he opened the communication J token, but still hadn't received any news from Liu Yujingji. By this time, Liu Yujingji had already turned into lotus fertilizer and was buried in the lotus pond. Liu Yujingji was just about to kill Yi Fan and the others, but was slapped to death by Zuo Kiki, a blue-robed male cultivator in the late foundation establishment stage. Liu Zhi sensed something was wrong. His eyes instantly became extremely gloomy, and his thin lips were tightly pursed. On Yi Fan's side, he reached an agreement with Tong Tong after Tong Tong paid a copy of the Great Evolution Divine Art and a promise made to 100 years later. Yi Fan proposed to Zuo Kiki to go to the Crimson Treasure House at the 5 treasures point, marked as Treasure House No. 1. Yifan and his companions took Ziyuokiki's spirit boat to Treasure House Snow. One on the spirit boat, Yifan opened the storage ring of the green-clothed woman he had obtained. Inside was a third-level refining inheritance, a note from a third-level refiner, and a lot of second-level refining supplies, second-level spiritual wood, spiritual materials, monsters, and so on. There is a pile of medium-grade spirit stones, about 200 in total, and 3 red high-grade spirit stones, and a beast-controlling card. As expected of an inner disciple of the Thousand Machine sect of the upper 3 sects, he's just fat. Sure enough, killing people and stealing treasures is the easiest way to get rich. Before, the green-clothed woman sensed the aura of treasures on the 7-colored lotus and the 5 treasures. The treasures she was talking about should be the bronze fragments. The green-clothed woman could sense these because of the effect of a rock rat, and this beast-controlling card is used to drive the rock rat. However, this beast-controlling card looks different from the beast-controlling cards that he had seen at the auction before, which were matched with the Spirit Beast Control Sect. The Beast Control Sect. The beast controlling cards produced by the Beast Control Sect have the 3 big characters Beast Control Sect engraved on the card surface, but this one does not. This is not a beast controlling card produced by the Beast Control Sect. Thinking of the great war that will break out in the immortal cultivation world in the near future, could it be that the Thousand Machine sect? And he shook his head. A small casual cultivator like him didn't need to waste his time thinking about these major events. They had nothing to do with him for the time being anyway. If a war really broke out in the world of immortal cultivators, he could make a fortune from the strategic materials he had stockpiled. Use the beast card to summon a rock rat. As soon as the little thing appeared and saw Yifan, it immediately bared its teeth at Yifan. Don't be mean to daddy. Wu Bao, who was standing nearby, immediately walked up to Yifan, stretched out her 2 little hands, protected Yifan in a protective posture, and glared at the rock rat. The rock rat seemed to have sensed something. Its previous arrogant attitude completely disappeared, and it began to tremble and crawl on the ground. Yifan saw this scene and touched his chin. My 5th daughter has a secret. There is definitely a secret. This rock rat has a top-grade bloodline that is even stronger than Xiaobia's. Late 2nd stage. My 5th daughter only has an ordinary low-grade water-attributed spiritual root, but even Dabao, who has an earth-attributed spiritual root, does not have this opportunity. Dabao also touched the bronze fragments at that time. There is also 11th treasure. A man with natural spiritual roots in the family. Although 11th treasure is still young and has never touched the bronze fragments, if the bronze fragments really want to choose a little master, 11th treasure's qualifications should be the most suitable. But the bronze fragments chose 5 treasures. And at this moment, the 2nd stage late-stage rock rat with heavily bloodline was trembling after being scolded by Wu Bao. Was it suppressed by its bloodline, or something else? When Wu Bao saw that the rock rat was behaving well, she squatted down and touched the rock rat's back with her little hands, and the rock rat trembled even more violently. Little mouse, you better behave yourself, or I'll ask daddy to steal you. The rock mouse was trembling so much that its hair began to fall off, and its little head kept nodding like a chick pecking at rice. In fact, without the 5 treasures, Yifan had practiced the beast taming technique and was already able to subdue the early 2nd order monsters after many trainings. He could still subdue this late 2nd order monster, but not as fast as he is now. My daughter is still awesome. You are really daddy's good daughter. Ziyuoki leaned against the cabin holding the sword, watching the scene silently. She said nothing and her expression didn't change, but her inner thoughts were very rich. Oh my god. This little Yinran actually shot to 2nd stage late stage heavily grade rock rat. I wasn't this powerful when I was 2 years old. I have a natural spiritual root. What kind of spiritual root does this little Yinran have? No wonder Master dared to let Xiao Yinran take them into the ruins when she was only 2 years old. Yifan's spiritual root aptitude is ordinary. I guess Xiao Yinran must have inherited Master's aptitude, right? Otherwise, Master wouldn't have to take such a big risk and send Xiao Yinran into the ruins. If Master leaves Tianzu's secret realm ahead of time, it will cause a big commotion. Don't ask. Shut up and talk less. 5 days later, Yifan and his team arrived at the outskirts of Treasure House Snow. As soon as they arrived here, Wu Bao frowned slightly and patted his head. Tonton immediately stopped making noise as if he had experienced a tsunami. Ziyuoki looked at the formation at the entrance of the treasure house, frowned, and said, "Wait. I will break the formation." However, Ziyuoki spent 2 hours and still failed to break the formation. She was puzzled. She is a 3rd-level formation master and is well versed in the art of formation. How come she can't break this 3rd-level formation? Moreover, this formation is very strange. Some things go against the knowledge of formations, and it cannot be solved by conventional methods. Wu Bao came to the formation and shouted, "Sister Ziyuo, this is easy. Come here." Chapter 224, 5 Treasures of the Rich Baby, Make a Fortune. Ziyuoki's expression was obviously stunned for a moment, and before she could react, her body had already moved to the side. Wu Bao came in front of the forbidden formation and without thinking, he walked according to a certain pattern. Ziyuo Kiki was about to say, no, thinking that Wu Bao was being too reckless however, before she could finish her words, Wu Bao had already walked into the treasury without disturbing the formation. This is, breaking the formation and entering directly. Moreover, he entered the formation without disturbing it, which is more difficult than directly breaking through the formation. Because breaking the formation by force will cause fluctuations, it will attract the attention of those who are guarding the formation. But if Wu Bao walked in quietly like he did now, the people guarding the formation would not notice it, the formation would not give any warning. Daddy, Sister Ziyuo, come in, Wu Bao waved cutely towards Yifan and Ziyuo Kiki. The cultivators have very good memories. Yifan and the others remembered the steps that the 5 treasures took in the formation just now. After a while, both of them came to Wu Bao without disturbing the people guarding the treasure house. Yifan, of course, how do you know how to break this formation? Wu Bao opened her big cute eyes, pointed at the road she had just walked with her white and tender little fingers, and said innocently, Daddy, it's very simple. There is an arrow mark there, follow the arrow mark and you can enter the formation. Ziyuo Kiki opened her spiritual eyes and looked again at the road she had just walked, but did not see any arrows. Yifan didn't see it either. However, Yifan did not ask any more questions. He knew that perhaps it was a hint given by Tong Tong. Or perhaps it was the mysterious companion treasure that came with Wu Bao that neither he nor Su Longyu had checked, allowing her to see the arrow that could break the formation. After all, if something like his traveling through time could happen, then anything else could also happen. Yifan touched Wu Bao's little head lovingly and said, Wu Bao is so smart, Daddy didn't even notice this. Wu Bao grinned, then turned and looked towards the door to the treasury. Ziyuo Kiki consciously performed his duties as a bodyguard, pushed open the door, and became more and more curious about Wu Bao. I wonder if the sect's holy girl had the same magical powers as Erbio when she was 2 years old. This is definitely a magical power. The supernatural power to see through the secrets of the formation. As the bronze gate was pushed open, the scenery inside came into view. The first thing was a road paved with jade, and there were many tall racks on both sides of the road. On the shelves, there are rows of treasures emitting various colors of light. Ziyuo Kiki's eyes lit up instantly. There are a bunch of high-level monster materials on the shelf. Both second-level and third-level ones. There are also spirit woods. There are early, middle, and late third-level ones. There are also blue crystals, Fujin fruit, fire berries, and Tianxiaoyu lead and spiritual objects. There is even the 7-colored lotus, which is the main material for refining the Kingalinji pill, and the Kingalinji pill is a breakthrough pill for those who are in the early stage of the golden core to break through to the middle stage of the golden core to break through to the middle stage of the golden core. Although she doesn't know how to use the elixir of breaking through rank, it doesn't prevent the 7-colored lotus from being precious in the high price at auction. They are all spiritual stones, Moreover, even though she was a direct disciple of the supreme elder of the upper 3 sects, she couldn't get the 7-colored lotus just by wanting it. He also needed to exchange it with contributions to the sect. And here, there are actually 10 colorful lotuses. However, the forbidden formation in front of the treasure house door was broken by Wang Fugui's daughter. She could only suppress the urge to snatch it away and looked at Wang Fugui with burning eyes. When Yifan saw Ziyuo Kiki's eyes, he smiled inwardly. This place is indeed worthy of being called treasure house. No. 1. With such rich materials. If these immortal cultivation resources were placed outside the ruins, they could definitely be auctioned off for a large sum of spirit stones. Even the 2 late foundation building masters from Qionji sect wanted to kill him for a 7-colored lotus, but there were 10 of them here. There are actually 4 types of spiritual objects that can form elixir. Looking around, you can see a row of shelves filled with red fruits of various years. From 100 years to 800 years, we have them all. There are at least dozens of them. Eating shu fruit can improve the cultivation level of immortal cultivators. The dragon fruit that Su only bought from Wenchan King before was one of these spiritual fruits, and it was 500 years old. Yifan was naturally not polite. He collected half of these treasures and put them into his storage ring. Then he said to Ziyuo Kiki, Senior Ziyuo, anyone who sees them gets a share. The rest is yours. Ziyuo Kiki really wanted to nod. Her head was almost nodding without her mind being able to control it. However, at the critical moment, she still held her head and said 2 words with great difficulty, against her nature. No. Are you sure you don't need it? Yifan asked. There are so many treasures here. Although the spiritual objects for forming the golden elixir are of no use to Ziyuo Kiki, who is in the early stage of forming the golden elixir, it does not prevent Ziyuo Kiki from giving them to her relatives or selling them. Moreover, there are 800-year-old red fruits and 7-colored lotus, treasures that even Jindan cultivators would be jealous of. Ziyuo Kiki shook her head in a very noble manner. Well, she is very noble. Inner drama. I'm about to cry. I really want it, but I can't have it. I didn't break this formation, and considering your identities in my master, I don't dare to take it. I'm afraid I'll have the life to take it but not the life to spend it. Why don't I work hard to improve my attainments in formations and raise them to the 4th level, otherwise, I will also have a share of all the treasures here. Woyuyu. Crying. Seeing Zuo Kiki shaking her head, Yifan thought that perhaps the direct disciple of the Grand Elder of the Lanyu sect would not be short of these things. After all, he is the direct disciple of the top 3 sects. Yifan, then I won't be polite. Yifan immediately put all the other things into the storage ring, including the shells, because these shells were actually made of 3rd level spiritual wood. I can only say that the original witches in the ruins are so damn rich. It is indeed a relic that has not been developed for thousands of years. My own 5 treasures are really awesome. Fortune baby. After collecting the treasures, Yifan took Wu Bao to the wall that he had been looking at. Then picked up Wu Bao and brought him to the wall. Wu Bao's little hands were placed on a piece of jade wall next to him. Immediately, the jade wall made a mechanical sound, and the jade wall that Wu Bao had let go of began to vibrate slowly, and then a 40 cm square crack appeared. Then, the square cracked jade rose upwards, revealing the niche inside. In the niche, there is a very simple white jade box. Wu Bao's little hands couldn't hold the white jade box, so she looked at Yifan and said, "Daddy, help me get it." Okay. Yifan put down the 5 treasures and took out the white jade box. At this moment, Tong Tong in Wu Bao's mind was urging excitedly, "Hurry up. Open it, open it." Wu Bao put his little hands on the jade box and opened it. Inside the jade box, there was a bronze fragment similar to the previous one, but this fragment was not as big as the previous one. It exuded a mysterious and ancient atmosphere. Under the bronze fragments, there is a piece of animal bone as black as ink. Chapter 225, Just You, Want to Kill Me? Yifan took out the bronze fragments, then took off the small crossbody backpack that Wu Bao was wearing, took out the storage bag inside, and then took out the bronze fragments inside the storage bag. Put this small bronze fragment on the bronze fragment. In an instant, the bronze fragment emitted an icy blue light, and the cracks at the joint disappeared, replaced by a whole piece of merged bronze fragment. Wu Bao, Tong Tong has grown up. At this moment, the image of Tong Tong in my mind is no longer the 2-year-old girl as before, but a 3-year-old chubby little girl who has grown 1 year older. Yifan knew what his daughter meant, so he put the bronze fragments back into Wu Bao's small cloth bag. And he picked up the animal bone and looked at it. He couldn't see anything special about this ink black animal bone for the time being, so he planned to study it carefully after returning. Yifan and his party entered Treasure House No. 1 openly and left Treasure House No. 1 openly without making any noise from beginning to end. At this moment, in another part of the ruins, Liu Ziyun roared in disbelief. "What? My brother is dead? Impossible. I don't believe it." The grey-robed monk standing in front of him bowed his head and said, "Really, senior brother Liu? We saw it from afar. Not only did senior brother Jingyan die, but senior sister Naran also died." Liu Ziyun roared loudly. And instantly no grass grew around him. The other cultivators from Qionji sect were so frightened that they quickly put up protective shields to resist the terrifying pressure from the golden elixir. Liu Ziyun looked ferocious. "Who is it? Who killed my brother?" The grey-robed monk trembled as he told Liu Ziyun what he had seen, and took out a jade slip and handed it to Liu Ziyun. The jade slip contained the images he happened to have taken at that time. This includes the scene where Liu Jingyan and Kong Narong were about to kill Yifan and Wu Bao, and were finally slapped to death by Zuo Kiki. After Liu Ziyun finished reading the contents of the jade slip, he gritted his teeth and said, "Lanyu sect, Zuo Kiki, how dare you kill my brother? I will kill you. You died in the ruins. Even if your master knew you were dead, he wouldn't know that I killed you. The other 3, all of them will be buried with my brother." Not long after Yifan and his companions left, the person guarding Treasure House No. 1 pushed open the door of the treasury during his routine patrol and was stunned on the spot. Then there was deep fear. Everything in the treasure house disappeared out of thin air. Even the wooden floor was pried away. Who is so crazy? He was so scared that he immediately crawled to report when the Witch King, who owned the treasury, was informed that his treasury had been emptied. He immediately arrived at the treasury. When he saw the things in the treasury, even the shelves where the treasures were placed and the wooden floor were missing, he was so angry that he killed all the people who were guarding the treasury. Afterwards, he immediately went to the place where Wu Bao had found the niche before, and found that the white jade box in the niche was also missing. His expression changed drastically and he let out a long roar of unacceptability. He then summoned his men and issued orders one by one. Search the whole city for the celestial being. Celestial beings is the unified name used by the witches and people in the original novel to refer to cultivators like Yifan who came from outside, and it has been passed down from thousands of years ago to the present day. On the flying boat, Yifan ate 3 500-year-old red fruits in succession, and his cultivation level broke through to the third level of the middle stage of foundation building after eating another red fruit. He found that his cultivation level could not improve any further, as it had reached its limit to move forward further. He needed a breakthrough in his state of mind. He didn't waste any more red fruits. This shoe fruit is really a good thing. After finishing his training, Ethan took out the ink-black animal bones. He stroked the bone with his fingers. This is a skull. I don't know what kind of monster it belongs to, but it must be an extremely powerful ancient monster. I input magic power into the animal bones, but found it useless. Wu Bao touched the animal bones, but they still showed no reaction. After Ethan used many methods he had read in fantasy novels to activate treasures, he finally stepped on an animal bone accidentally. This inky black animal bone actually burst into a golden light that shot up into the sky. As the golden light disappeared, the entire animal bone shed its skin and turned into a piece of white bone with some patterns engraved in gold lines on it. Looking at these patterns, Ethan was surprised. They are very similar to inscriptions in the spiritual patterns I created, but they are much more complicated than spiritual patterns. He suddenly thought of something and his eyes lit up instantly. Is this a treasure pattern? Ethan studied it for several days but couldn't figure out what kind of treasure pattern it was. He spent a day engraving it but couldn't successfully engrave it onto the spiritual weapon or the formation plate. After a few more days, he made a simplified version of the treasure pattern, the spiritual pattern. Although it was a simplified version, it took Ethan 7 days to carve the spiritual pattern onto his own day and Wuji sword. Ethan then tested the effect of the spiritual pattern attached to this sword. It was discovered that this spiritual pattern was extremely terrifying and could cause a level 3 early stage wizard king to be severely poisoned. If not treated in time, the opponent would be poisoned to death. But there is a limitation: the spiritual pattern disappears after being used once. It is equivalent to a one-time spiritual pattern. This effect is amazing. I'll call it the poison wind spirit mark. Half a month later, Ethan had prepared the meal and was eating with Wu Bao and Ziyu Okiki. Ziyu Okiki refused to eat when she first entered the ruins, but later when she saw Ethan and Wu Bao eating with relish, and the aroma of the food made her swallow her saliva unconsciously, she also tried to eat a little, and then officially became a freeloader. Every time I eat, I am so happy that bubbles appear in my eyes. I feel that this task given to me by my master is so comfortable. I really didn't expect Wan Fugui's cooking skills to be so good. No wonder, even though my master is such a good man, my master still feels that he is not enough and has to keep another one outside. Zuo Kiki, a beam of light flew over, and then a man wearing a high-level robe of Qionji sect stood not far in front of Ethan and the others. The male cultivator had a ferocious expression on his face, and he looked at Ethan and the other three as if they were dead, with his gaze focused on Zuo Kiki. This person is Liu Zhiyun. Zuo Kiki seemed to know Liu Zhiyun. After taking a look at him, she said nothing and continued eating. Liu Zhiyun was angered by Zuo Kiki's expression of disregard. Zuo Kiki, my brother didn't provoke you. You actually killed my brother for the people who were not from your Lanyu sect, Liu Zhiyun shouted angrily. Zuo Kiki finished the last grain of rice, put down the bowl, wiped the corner of her mouth, then stood up and looked at Liu Zhiyun. She didn't reply. As soon as their eyes met, the two Jindan cultivators instantly turned into a rainbow light and collided with each other. Under Zuo Kiki's deliberate guidance, she and Liu Zhiyun fought in a direction far away from Ethan and Wu Bao. Bang bang bang. The violent collision caused the rocks to collapse. While Zuo Kiki and Liu Zhiyun were fighting, another cultivator in the early Jindan stage came to Ethan and Wu Bao. This early Jindan cultivator was none other than another early Jindan cultivator from Qionji sect, named Lin Shucheng. I didn't want to kill the little baby, but you killed senior brother Liu's brother. And he wanted to vent his anger. Lin Shucheng looked at Ethan. You, hand over the 7-colored lotus, and I can give your daughter a painless death. And you, I must tear you into pieces, only then can senior brother Liu appease his anger. Ethan smiled coldly. Just you, want to kill me? Chapter 226, Killing Jindan. After hearing what Ethan said, Lin Shucheng was stunned for a moment, then laughed and said, how dare you, a mere cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building, say this to me? You must have blown all the bulls in the sky up to the sky. I'm going to expose your bullshit right now. As he said that, Lin Shucheng called out his third-tier magic weapon, ready to crush Ethan to death in an instant. However, he didn't expect that Ethan was wearing the cloud-chasing moon boots, and his speed couldn't even be caught up with by a mid-stage golden corel, and Shucheng's magic weapon didn't hit him at all. Ethan was already holding the Day and Wuji sword engraved with the broken blade inscription and slashing towards Lin Shucheng. What Lin Shucheng didn't expect was that this sword actually ignored his own defensive shield and hit his shoulder. While he was shocked, Ethan had quickly changed to a Day and Wuji sword engraved with the poisonous wind spirit pattern, and healed the wound again. Then he immediately stepped back. Lin Shucheng was furious when he saw that he was injured by a mere mid-stage foundation building cultivator. He wanted to summon his magic power to kill Yifan in an instant, but why can't the magic power be gathered? No, the magic power in my body is dissipating. I'm poisoned. What's going on? He immediately took out a third-level detoxification pill, which could detoxify most poisons. However, after taking the detoxification pill, the loss of mana in his body did not slow down. Instead, as the poisoning time prolonged, the loss of mana became faster and faster. He stared at Yifan in the air with bloodshot eyes. Take out the antidote. I can grant you a dignified death. Yifan, want the antidote? Cut off your head and give it to me. Lin Shucheng, are you looking for death? Even though his magic power was leaking out, reducing his combat effectiveness and making him unable to use many powerful spells, and his combat power was reduced to the initial level of condensing the golden elixir, it was still more than enough to kill a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. Swish, 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 swish. 6 puppets appeared around Yifan. One of which was a late-stage second-order Great Perfection Earth Dragon Beast King. The other 5 were 2 late-stage second-order Blue Wolf Demon puppets on the ground and 3 late-stage second-order Cold-Winged Bird puppets flying in the sky. Lin Shucheng was slightly surprised. You are also a second-level top-grade puppeteer? But even so, you will die today. Due to the scarcity of puppeteers, the status of a second-grade top-grade puppeteer in the sect is equivalent to that of a fake Danzan Ren. If he is a third-rank puppeteer, then his status is higher than that of a pure combat cultivator in the early Jindan stage. After all, a third-level puppeteer can continuously produce puppets with combat power comparable to that of a third-level puppeteer. Yifan smiled coldly. You can leave your last words now. After he finished speaking, the 6 puppets formed in array, using themselves as flags. And because puppets are used as formation flags, this formation is different from the formation with flags inserted on the ground. The formation with flags inserted on the ground cannot be changed. But the formation with puppets as formation flags can be moved. Because puppets can move, the formation that Yifan Lai used was a small third-level beast trapping formation given to him by Su Longyu, in order to prevent him from encountering a third-level Great Witch King in the ruins and being unable to defeat him. This formation can be used to temporarily trap the Great Witch King, making it easier for Yifan to escape. But Yifan will not run away today, because Lin Shucheng was poisoned. As long as Lin Shucheng could not leave the formation, his magic power would continue to dissipate, and his magic power could not be restored without detoxification. He waited until Lin Shucheng's combat power was reduced to the late stage of foundation building, and then he attacked and killed him. Although he can kill the fake Danzan Ren now, it consumes too much mana and even some of his lifespan, so there is no need to do so. He can wait until Lin Shucheng is reduced to the late stage of foundation building, and then kill him with the Day and Wuji sword engraved with the 3 strange spiritual patterns of the earth. How comfortable it would be. Lin Shucheng never expected that the puppets summoned by Yifan did not attack him, but formed a formation and trapped him inside the formation. And this formation is actually a third-order small-scale beast trapping formation. He knows nothing about battle tactics. Focus on refining equipment. Our Qionji sect's main and minor subjects are both weapon refining. Normally refining equipment already consumes a lot of their time, and they also have to practice, so they don't have any extra time to practice other skills. But he has a third-level forbidden breaking talisman. However, when he used the third-level forbidden breaking talisman, he was unable to break the formation, because when he offered the talisman, Yifan controlled the puppet, adjusted the formation, and changed the position of the formation, so the ban-breaking talisman became ineffective. Lin Shucheng was shocked and started to panic. After he threw a few more talismans and still failed to break the formation, he changed from being arrogant and domineering at the beginning to gradually and calmly negotiating terms with Yifan, saying that he had no grudge against Yifan, was just helping Li Ziyichayan to take revenge. He said that if Yifan gave him a detoxification pill and removed the formation, he could lie that Yifan and Xiaoyan Ran were rescued by other Jindan cultivators of the Lan Yu sect. Yifan chuckled and naturally disagreed. Puppet corpses are so scarce nowadays, especially the puppet corpse of the Jind and cultivator. Seeing that the talks failed, Lin Shucheng began to threaten Yifan, saying that Yifan was just a casual cultivator and he was the direct disciple of the elder of Qionji sect. If he, Yifan, dared to kill him, Qionji sect would never let him go, etc. Yifan was not afraid at all, because he was now facing Wang Fuguai's face. The one who killed the disciple taught by the elder of Qionji sect was Wang Fuguai. What does that have to do with Yifan? At worst, after we get out of the ruins, we can give Zuchanshi's puppet another name, Li Fuguai. Lin Shucheng is dead. He was killed by Yifan with one sword. At this moment, Wing Chan King, who was yawning outside the ruins, saw the highest soul lamp of the Qionji gate opposite go out. She immediately became energetic and laughed. Lu Xiao, your Jindan disciples are not good enough. How long have they entered the secret realm? In just 1 month, a Jindan disciple has already died. Lu Xiao's face turned very ugly, especially when she saw the 3 soul lamps on the top of the opposite land sect burning very vigorously. She turned black, and then she thought of something and snorted coldly with a sense of superiority. This relic is extremely dangerous to begin with. And only one Jindan disciple died. This means that my disciples went to a place with more resources. The resources they will bring out at that time will definitely be very rich. I just hope that when someone loses the bet, they won't refuse to pay. When Shan King laughed loudly, in my dictionary, when Shan King, there has never been the word lose. It was like this back then, and it is still like this now. When Lu Xiao thought of what happened that year, her face changed again. She snorted coldly and went back to the cabin. Before Yifan killed Lin Shucheng, he cried for help. When Yun heard the cry and arrived, Lin Shucheng had already been killed by Yifan. He happened to see Yifan picking up Lin Shucheng's body and putting it into the storage bag. In an instant, his eyes were bloodshot, but Siyu Okiki had already caught up with him. His eyes suddenly changed color, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He immediately did not hesitate to sacrifice his lifespan, used the blood escape technique, and quickly escaped. Before escaping, there was only one sentence in his mind. There is something very strange about the father of this little baby. Chapter 227, Fame. Siyu Okiki came to Yifan, looked at him in surprise, and looked at the 6 puppets beside him and the deep pit on the ground that was struck by lightning. Then he looked up at Yifan again. He actually killed Lin Shucheng, who was in the early stage of Jindan. When she sensed that Lin Shucheng was coming, she wanted to get rid of Liu Ziechaiyan and save Wang Fuguai and his daughter. But Liu Ziechaiyan entangled her and she could not split herself. She felt that Wang Fuguai and Wang Yinran were doomed this time, and she would be hacked to death by her master when she returned. But what was unexpected was that Yifan actually killed Lin Shucheng, who was in the early stage of Jindan, alone. Although Lin Shucheng's strength is not as good as Liu Ziechaiyan's, and he is only at the 2nd level of the early stage of the Golden Core, he is still not someone that Wang Fuguai, who is at the middle stage of the foundation establishment, can kill. In his heart, Joe Horrible, Master really has a sharp eye. The man he chose is not a pretty boy at all. When he takes it out, it's bigger than anyone else's. Oh my god. Even if it was the sex Moon Say-Tess, when she was in the middle stage of foundation building, she wouldn't be able to kill an early stage Jindan so easily, right? Does Wang Fuguai also have the same innate magical power as Xiao Yinran? He must have. Otherwise, how could he kill the enemy across such a huge realm? Oh my god, Master's position is a little bit in danger. Don't ask, don't talk. You know nothing. At this moment, the rock rat came over with Wu Bao on his back. When Wu Bao saw Yifan, who was completely intact, he immediately shouted, "Daddy?" Yifan used a cleansing spell on his body to clean it up. Then came to Wu Bao, bent down and picked up the little guy, and said in a doting and steady voice, "Don't be afraid. Daddy is fine. Daddy has driven away the bad guys. Wu Bao, Daddy is awesome. Daddy is the best." Yifan, of course. When Yifan killed Lin Shucheng, there were actually other disciples of Qianjin and lurking not far away. When they saw Lin Shucheng being killed by Yifan and Liu Ziechaiyan escaping, they also immediately fled away at high speed. Not long after, the news that Wang Fuguai, who was in the middle stage of foundation building, had killed a real person in the early stage of Jindan from Qianji sect of the upper 3 sects spread among all the cultivators in the ruins. Yi? The name Wang Fuguai sounds familiar. Chen Mailan, isn't this the one who was called the Turtle Foundation building during the last beast tide? Ling Hu Kun. Killing a Jindan Zenren in the middle stage of foundation building? How is it possible? And he is a Jindan Zenren from Qianji sect. Their magic weapons are awesome. I still don't have a magic weapon, but I heard that each of the fake Dan Zenren from Qianji sect has 3 magic weapons, and Jindan Zenren has even more magic weapons. How could he be killed by someone in the middle stage of foundation building? Du Yi, I'm not lying, it's spread everywhere. If it were a lie, the people of Qianji sect would never allow anyone to make up stories about them like this that would crush the dignity of the sect. If it gets out, everyone would be a joke. Ling Hu Kun, Wang Fuguai, I'll remember this next time I see you. I'll stay away from you. Another place in the ruins. See Les Wang, Wang Fuguai? Is that the Wang Fuguai I know? It seems possible. He was only in the early stage of foundation building, but he was able to kill the late stage 2nd stage Earth Dragon Beast King. It seems possible to break through to the middle stage of foundation building and kill the early stage of Golden Elixir. However, this is the early stage of the Golden Core of the 1000 Machine sect of the upper 3 sects. I heard that the 3 Golden Cores selected by the 1000 Machine sect this time are not ordinary Golden Cores from the outer sect, but the Golden Cores of the inner sect's direct disciples. These Golden Cores are not only powerful in combat, but also have countless treasures in their hands. He was killed by Taoist fellow Wang. Friend Wang is really awesome. Oh my god, I have to practice hard too. I must break through to the late stage of foundation building this time. GZE, who had just hunted down a third-level monster, was stunned when he heard the news. Fellow Taoist Wang killed Lin Shucheng of Qianji sect. In an instant, the joy of killing the third-level monster was instantly gone. They deeply regretted not offering a skyked price at the beginning, and tried their best to invite Wang Fuguai to be a guest official of their Qinglong Fairy City. Otherwise, their Qinglong Immortal City will have another fighting force. Green Fairy Sang's Yanyu. Wang Fuguai killed Lin Shucheng of Qianjimen? Is he so powerful now? And I kill the intersect Jin and disciples of Qianji sect? A voice in my head said, in a few years. Sang's Yanyu, but now Yifan can. In my mind, stay away from him. I haven't recovered yet and can't see through his secrets for the time being. After the news of Wang Fuguai killing Lin Shucheng spread in the ruins, Yifan and his companions never encountered another cultivator. Even if they did, the cultivators would immediately flee far away after seeing him. Originally, not many people knew him, but there were indeed some cultivators who knew him among those who came in after all. His nickname, Turtle Foundation Building, was very famous during the Beast Tide, and someone sold his portrait and the iconic message of him with a 2-year-old baby. Therefore, everyone alive in the ruins knew Wang Fuguai and knew Wang Fuguai. Even the Great Witch King had a portrait of Wang Fuguai in his hands. This is a beautiful Great Witch King. She was the third-level Great Witch King named Kelly who appeared by the lotus pond after Yifan and his companions had just entered the ruins, obtained the 7-colored lotus, killed Liu Jingyan and others and left. Kelly looked at Yifan's portrait, a smile on her lips, and said something in the local language. A few days later, the owner of Treasure House No. 1, the Great Wizard King Dani Bior, killed many monks and obtained a jade slip, which contained the footage of Yifan and others coming out from the vicinity of Treasure House No. 1. Skyke scene. After saying a series of local languages, Danibo immediately passed down the portraits of Yifan, Siu Okiki and Xiaoyan Ran, and ordered all the witches in his city to report to him immediately if they saw these people, and to join forces with other Great Witch Kings to hunt down Yifan and the others. After killing Lin Shucheng, Yifan asked Siu Okiki to find a safe place, open up the caves, and then set up a barrier formation and began his days of secluded cultivation. Because there are abundant supplies in Lin Shucheng's storage ring, there is a golden pill that can directly increase the probability of condensing the golden pill, and it is a top quality one. It can increase the probability of condensing golden elixir by 20. The genuine golden pill can only improve the quality by 15. In addition to the golden elixir, there are also many materials for refining spiritual tools and magic weapons. There are 5 finished magic weapons. This does not include Lin Shucheng's 3 life magic weapons. There are even more elixirs, magical medicines, and talismans. There were even 20 high-quality spirit stones, not to mention the thousands of mid-grade spirit stones. Fat. The direct disciple of Qianji sect is Fat. In the days that followed, there were great battles everywhere in the ruins, fights between witches and monks, fights between witches and monks, fights between monks and monsters, fights between witches and monsters, and so on. Fires were flying and fighting continued. It's a complete mess. There were countless casualties. The soul lamps went out one after another. Anibo searched extensively for Yifan and the other 2 but couldn't find them. He went mad and killed a large number of celestial beings. As time passed, the 3-month deadline arrived and it was time to reveal the ruins. Chapter 228. Yifan's harvest shocked the whole audience. On this day, cultivators who enter the ruins only need to crush the special jade token in their hands to be teleported out of the ruins. Those who do not leave the ruins after today will never be able to leave the ruins again. Each jade token is bound to the soul of the monk, so even if others get the monk's jade token, they cannot crush it and take out the ruins. This prevents witches or monsters from getting the jade token and leaving the ruins. After leaving the ruins, Yifan and Wu Bao stood in line in the Lan Yu sect steam in a low-key manner. During this trip to the ruins, hundreds of people entered, but only about 30 came out. Most of them died. The upper 3 sects suffered relatively few casualties, but the lower 7 sects and other immortal cultivation families, chambers of commerce, immortal cities and other forces that got quotas suffered heavy casualties. Some families didn't even have a single person come out. 5 people entered Qinglong Immortal City, and only GZE came out alive. 25 people entered the Lan Yu sect, and 20 came out alive. A mortality rate is acceptable. 25 people entered Qianji Gate and 12 came out alive, with a heavy death toll. However, there was not a trace of sadness on Lu Xiao of Qianjimen's face. One could even see an irrepressible joy between her brows. Liu Zhiyun, who was standing at the vanguard of Qianji sect, turned his head and quickly glanced at Yifan on the Lan Yu sect's treasure ship next to him, then quickly retracted his gaze, clenched his right hand into a fist, and looked gloomy and depressed. At this moment, the disciples of all the major sects began to take out all the resources they had picked in the ruins, because the elders of the sect had special means to detect whether the disciples had taken out everything they had picked in the ruins, so no disciple dared to keep it privately. They all lined up the spiritual medicines and other supplies in an orderly manner, registered them, and divided them up. 60% went to the sect, and 40% they could keep for themselves. As for Yi Fan, Wen Chan King had already told him that everything he and Wu Bao picked in the ruins belonged to them both. However, she will go through the formalities and hand it over first, then she will privately return 60 of the resources that the sect has taken away from Yi Fan and Wu Bao to Yi Fan and Wu Bao to Yi Fan and Wu Bao. Lu Xia watched as Liu Zia Chaiyun, who was leading the charge, took out a large pile of supplies, and her face was filled with joy. She looked towards Wen Chan King and saw that Siuo Qi, who was leading the charge on Wen Chan King's side, only took out a few spiritual medicines and materials, which were just sesame seeds and watermelons compared to what Liu Zia Chaiyun had. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. Wen Chan King, your direct disciple is not good enough. He only brought back such a small amount of spiritual medicine and spiritual materials. The foundation building disciples of our Qianji sect probably brought back more than your direct disciple. If you lose later, don't deny it. Everyone is watching, and you must be someone who cares about your reputation. Wen Chan King, this is just the beginning. I've said it before, the word lose doesn't exist in my dictionary. Lu Xia, oh, you are so stubborn. I will let you deceive yourself for a while longer. The Jin and disciples who took the lead received fewer resources, let alone those who came after them. She directly attacked several treasure houses, as everyone lined up to hand in resources according to their cultivation level. Because Qian Jiman and Lang Yuzong were making a bet, the two sects did not distribute the resources to the disciples immediately after registering them. Instead, they planned to distribute them to the disciples after the bet was over. This was specifically proposed by Lu Xia, because this way, they can use the visual impact of the accumulation of resources to make the people of Lan Yu sect suffer a setback. What a great thing! Lu Xiao laughed all the way until the person in front of Yi Fan handed over his resources. Although Yi Fan was in the middle stage of foundation building, because Wu Bao was immortal, Yi Fan and Wu Bao were ranked last among the disciples of Lan Yu sect. At this moment, Lu Xiao looked at the huge difference in the various spiritual medicines and materials on the two treasure ships and laughed. Wen Chan King, you lose. It seems that your dictionary can be updated from now on. Write the word lose in it. Wen Chan King, I still have two people here who have not been handed over. Lu Xia laughed as if she had heard a huge joke. She pointed to the mountain of resources on her treasure ship arc, and pointed to Wen Chan King's pile of resources, which was only half of hers, and said, it's like this. And you still don't admit defeat. You're still pretty stubborn. You only have a person in the middle stage of foundation building and a 2-year-old baby. What resources can you provide? Can you provide more resources than my small mountain? Wen Chan King didn't confront him, but just laughed. At this time, Yi Fan took out a storage ring and put out all the things inside. During the 3 months he was in the ruins, he consumed a lot of treasures, and his cultivation level was raised to the 4th level of the middle stage of foundation building. All the resources needed for the 3rd level of body refining have been gathered, and he has also found a treasure land in the ruins that is particularly suitable for him to practice the 3rd level of body refining. The 3rd level of body refining has been completed. He even asked Sut Yanshi to refine the furnaces of foundation establishment pills, because all the spiritual medicines and materials used were from the ruins. They were particularly spiritual, and the pill-making effect was remarkable from the 2 furnaces. A total of 8 foundation establishment pills were refined, 4 of which were high-quality foundation establishment pills and 4 were genuine foundation establishment pills. The success rate was handed over to outside, and each furnace produced 1 more high-quality foundation establishment pill. He also asked Zuchanshi to draw a lot of 2nd-level talismans, and his attainments in talismans were raised to the middle level of the 2nd level. Draw a 2nd-level mid-quality transmoji or ification talisman, as well as the 2nd-level mid-grade boundary-breaking talismans, among which there are defined quality boundary-breaking talismans that can break the 2nd-level upper-grade formations. There is more spiritual energy in the secret realm, and outside Wu Bao was able to draw the energy into his body when he was only 2 years old and embarked on the path of cultivation. Although he has not officially become a cultivator, he has already entered the innate realm. Before the key training realm, there are the acquired realm and the innate realm. This is a division compared to the martial arts of mortals. The acquired realm focuses on body training, while the innate realm is when the acquired realm warriors transform the body training true ki into spiritual energy in their bodies. Thus, entering the innate realm, only warriors who have entered the innate realm can embark on the path of immortality and continue to break through to the key training, foundation building, etc. Wu Bao didn't use any elixir, but just ate a few red fruits that were within 100 years old. However, the rock rat ate a lot and reached the peak of the 2nd level. This rock rat was even more attentive to Yi Fan and Wu Bao. It can be said without exaggeration that the spiritual medicines and materials that Yi Fan used in the ruins accounted for 1/5 of the total amount of spiritual medicines and materials obtained by the other people in the Lan Yu sect. And when he took out the remaining spiritual medicines and materials in the storage bag, everyone was shocked. Everyone's eyes widen instantly. People who are short have to look up to see the supplies piled up to stories high. The various spiritual medicines, spiritual materials, red fruits, etc. dazzled everyone's eyes, especially the spiritual objects that could form the elixir and the 7-colored lotus, which made the golden elixir cultivators jealous. Chapter 229. The more I look at this son-in-law, the more satisfied I am. When Shan King burst into laughter immediately, and Lu Xiao's face turned extremely pale in an instant, and she staggered back several steps. How so? Why are there so many? He's just a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. Could it be that when Shan King did this on purpose? She deliberately let her disciple put all the things into the hands of this cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. That must be it, damn it. In this bet, Lan Yu sect won, and when Shan King got the stakes, Lu Xia, with a cold face, drove away quickly in the treasure ship arc of Qianji sect in an instant. It's so embarrassing. Moreover, in front of many sects, she actually lost to Wen Shan King again. When Shan King won the bet and was in a very good mood, not long after, the disciple in charge of registering the supplies returned the supplies that Yi Fan had handed over to Wen Shan King. Wen Shan King's spiritual sense probed into the storage ring, and the smile on his lips grew bigger and bigger. You really are worthy of being my good son-in-law. He is so awesome. He went to a secret realm and was able to snatch so many treasures with only the cultivation level of the middle stage of foundation building. Kiki has made a great contribution this time. Kiki is still sensible and knows my heart. As he spoke, when Shan King summoned Ziyuo Kiki and asked her what happened in the ruins. Later he learned that they had attacked Treasure House No. 1, and it was not Ziyuo Kiki who broke the formation of the treasury gate, but Wu Bao. Xiaoyan Ran cracked it. When Shan King was really shocked. I didn't expect that this little granddaughter would have such a good opportunity. Su Longyu told her about the incident in which Wu Bao got the bronze fragment and recognized its master. And let her look at the bronze fragments. He really couldn't find anything, but she was sure that it was a fragment of an innate spiritual treasure, and the spirit inside was indeed a bit strange. Although she was in the early stage of nascent soul, she was very powerful and had a secret treasure of sensing on her, but she could not sense the spirit of the weapon in the fragments. It seems that this time the No. 1 treasury was broken by 5 treasures. The resources that Yi Fan swept up have nothing to do with Kiki's money. Very good, and a large amount of rewards has been saved. The smile on Wen Shan King's face became even more satisfied later, when she learned that Yi Fan had killed Lin Shucheng, the jinn and disciple directly taught by the elder of Qianji sect. She was shocked at first, but then the smile on her face never stopped. Let Ziyuo Kiki go down, and give her the top-grade magic weapon that was previously lent to her as a gift as an excellent reward for her completing the task this time. After listening to this, Ziyuo Kiki was extremely excited. Master, if there are such good things in the future, remember to think of me again. After Ziyuo Kiki left, Wen Shan King called Yi Fan and Wu Bao. Looking at Yi Fan and Wu Bao, Wen Shan King's eyes became softer. My eldest daughter has good vision, and my family has good genes. Wen Shan King took out a storage ring and told Yi Fan that it contained the supplies he had just handed over. None of them matter, they are all in there. After Wen Shan King said this, she did not give the storage ring to Yi Fan immediately, but looked at Yi Fan with a smile. Yi Fan cupped his hands and said, Sister King. And the other half is my gift to Sister King. If Sister King hadn't sent Senior Ziyuo to protect Qian Ran, and he wouldn't have gotten out so safely. After hearing this, Wen Shan King's smile grew wider. The more she looked at her son-in-law, the more satisfied she became. He was such a wise man. She didn't even need to ask for anything, as he generously gave her half of his resources as a gift. Not bad, not bad. He is a good son-in-law with a grateful heart. Wen Shan King allocated half of the supplies and then gave the storage ring to Yi Fan. Xiao Wang, Sister King is very optimistic about you. If you work hard to cultivate, you will have great hope of forming a golden elixir and breaking through to the nascent soul stage in the future. Yi Fan, yes. It's great to have a mother-in-law with flaws. Otherwise, how could a mere casual foundation building cultivator like him deal with such an awesome mother-in-law who is in nascent soul ancestor? Junior Sister Wen. A voice came, and then Tang Hong Are You I came in. Tang Hong Are You I was stunned when he saw Yi Fan and Xiaoyan Ran, because he felt that Yi Fan looked familiar when he saw him before. As if he had seen him somewhere, so he specially borrowed a secret treasure within these 3 months. Unexpectedly, he was able to actually figure it out. This Wang Fuguai is actually Master Yi Dan from Yuliang Xuan. Why does this 2-year-old girl look so familiar? It seems like I've seen it somewhere before. The monk's memory was amazing. Suddenly, he thought of something and was shocked. This little girl looks exactly like Saint Su Longyu when she was a child. It's as if they were carved from the same mold. She is very similar to Wen Shanking when she was a child. But the memory of Wen Shanking's childhood was too long ago, and he didn't remember it very clearly. Afterwards, his eyes moved between Wen Shanking and Yi Fan, and he felt like he had eaten a big melon. But I can't ask or say anything yet. I only felt that junior brother Su, who had entered the Tianzu's secret realm, had a green light on his head. Just pretend you didn't see it, you didn't see anything. Otherwise when the couple has a fight, they will blame him for talking too much. Junior sister Wen is so bold that she actually dares to bring Yi Fan and the little girl directly into the Lanyu sect without fear of being recognized by other supreme elders. Senior brother Tang, what's the matter? Wen Shanking asked. Tang Hong or Ui looked calm. Even though he was deeply shocked, he could still look calm. He said, there's a meeting. I came to call you. Wen Shanking, okay, senior brother Tang. You go first, I'll follow soon. Tang Hong or Ui nodded and left. After Tang Hong or Ui left, Wen Shanking's eyes rolled around, and then he took out a blank jade slip, probed his spiritual sense into it, wrote a few words, and then handed the jade slip to Yi Fan, asking Yi Fan to take the 5 treasures and leave now. But not long after the two left, Yi Fan met Tang Hong or Ui. Tang Hong or Ui set up a soundproof barrier. Master Yi Dan, you attracted too much attention during this trip to the ruins, I will escort you back. This old man is. As he spoke, a layer of white mist wafted over Tang Hong or Ui's body, and in an instant, he turned into the face of an ordinary old man that Yi Fan had seen in Yuliangshuan before. Yi Fan already knew it was him, but he was still surprised and said, Senior, I didn't expect you to be the Yuan Ying patriarch of the Lan Yu sect. It was the junior who was disrespectful before. As for how Tang Hong or Ui saw his true face, he did not ask much. After all, the ancestor in the middle stage of the nascent soul had countless methods and secret techniques. Tang Hong or Ui, it's alright. Master Yi Dan, please bring your daughter up with me. As he spoke, Tang Hong or Ui took out a flying boat and carried Yi Fan, and Xiaoyan ran away quickly. Yi Fan is Tang Hong or Ui's only hope for curing his grandson's illness, although he does not want to get involved in the love triangle between Yi Fan, Wen Shanking and Su Changming, or any more complicated relationships. He has to protect Yi Fan's life until Yi Fan cures his grandson's illness. Sure enough, not long after Tang Hong or Ui and his companions left, a female figure emerged from the woods. This woman was Lu Xiao, who lost the bet to Wen Shanking. She already knew that Yi Fan had killed Lin Changfeng, which made her change her mind and thought that the resources Yi Fan took out were actually from Ziyuokiki. Old woman, I held you back with something, but I didn't expect you to order Tang Hong or Ui, who is in the middle stage of Yuan Ying, to escort Wang Fugui back. This time, I don't believe I can't win over you. Wang Fugui is mine. Chapter 230, Master Yi Dan, your daughter looks very much like the Moon Saint. After Yi Fan returned to King Long Immortal City, his face had returned to Yi Fan's, and Wu Bao had also returned to his original appearance. Before leaving, Tang Hong or Ui looked at Wu Bao with a meaningful look, and Yi Fan did not miss it. Tang Hong or Ui couldn't help but say something more. Master Yi Dan, your daughter looks familiar. Yi Fan? Oh, Tang Hong or Ui, she looks a bit like her sect saint daughter when she was a child. Yi Fan, yeah, she is the biological daughter of your sect saint. Like normal. Tang Hong or Ui saw that Yi Fan didn't seem to be at all nervous even after he had said so much. Could it be that he was overthinking? Actually, there is nothing between Yi Fan and Wen Shanking. Otherwise, how could Yi Fan be so calm? He even so frankly admitted that his daughter looked like the Moon Saint. Tang Hong or Ui couldn't figure it out. But he couldn't go on, so he said goodbye to Yi Fan. 2 days after Tang Hong or Ui left, Yi Fan sent a communication talisman to Tang Hong or Ui, informing him that the first batch of pills had been refined, and asked Tang Hong or Ui to come and get them. Tang Hong or Ui immediately brought his grandson Tang Feng Xuan over. Yi Fan gave Tang Feng Xuan a pill and told him that the pill could not cure his disease in one go. After taking it, he would see the effect, then adjust the formula of the pill and continue to refine the pill. Within 2 or 3 years, Tang Feng Xuan's infertility should be completely cured. The jade slip that Wen Shanking gave him said that he should not cure Tang Feng Xuan's disease all at once, but treat it in stages, preferably over 20 to 30 years. When Yi Fan saw these words, he thought of modern treatment plans for chronic diseases such as hypertension and hyperglycemia. They are all means for capitalists to make money. There was originally a one-time cure, but now people have to keep spending money on medicine. Because how can a one-time cure bring as much profit as a plan that requires people to keep spending money on medicine? My mother-in-law has a strong business sense. Thinking of Tang Hong or Ui's observation that Wu Bao and Su Longyu resembled each other, Yi Fan adopted his mother-in-law's suggestion, but adjusted the time from 20 to 30 years to 2 or 3 years. Sometimes, taking too long may not be a good thing. 2 or 3 years is just right. Although he is a businessman, he still has some conscience, although it is not much. When Tang Hongyui heard that his grandson's illness could be cured within 2 or 3 years, he instantly beamed with joy. Yifan had told him before that it would take at least half a year or at most several decades. Now Yifan gave him a positive reply that it could be cured within 2 to 3 years. It seems that building a good relationship with Master Yi Dan has a significant effect. It would be great if I could have the chance to escort Master Yi Dan again in the future. After Tang Fangxuan finished taking the pill, Yifan took his pulse and then nodded and said it was okay. Tang Hongyui took Tang Fangxuan away and returned to the mansion where they lived in Qinglong Fairy City 2 days later. Tang Hongyui invited a great doctor to come and check Tang Fangxuan's body after the examination. The other party looked very surprised. It can be said that Tang Fangxuan's body does have the foundation for fertility, to put it in words. Tang Fangxuan's body was like a piece of stubborn stone in terms of pregnancy before. Now, this stubborn stone has begun to show signs of softening. After hearing this, Tang Hongyui was overjoyed and became even more confident in Yifan's treatment methods. He touched his chin and called his family, asking them to find a beautiful and talented girl between the ages of 18 and 20 and send her to Qinglong Fairy City immediately. Yifan was only in the middle stage of foundation building, but he was able to kill Qian Jimen's Jin and disciple. He must have had some miracle or treasure on him. Yifan is also good at treating infertility, and his lineage has a special